bei mir startet.
I lost my best friend to 23. She left her body and hovered above me. I saw no shadow. I looked around, searched every building and home that I found. I saw no shadow, but felt the glow. The warmth inside me, it kept me afloat. It felt like heaven had found my bones and gave me comfort when I feel alone. Now you're gone, I'm alone. I guess it's time to get better. Through the pain, I will go alone. If I fall, break my bones, I will scream even louder. 'Cause I'm not dying alone. I lost my best friend to 23. She left her body and hovered above me. Best friend to 23. I heard the heavens crying above me. They gained an angel, I lost a friend. I felt like dying again and again. I went through hell, stared at death, but I keep fighting with each living breath. I saw no way out from where I stood. Felt like the fire had burned me for. Now you're gone, I'm alone. I guess it's time to get better. Through the pain, I will go alone. If I fall, break my bones, I will scream even louder. 'Cause I'm not dying alone. I lost my best friend.
Reese, this is it. We've got our 33 trios, the very best of the best. And this is that last shot at greatness.
We do indeed. And if you want to know how our top 33 teams made it here, you can see on the left the full way of how they qualified here. So three, obviously, all full breakdown. 2 days of competition, like we've already mentioned. We saw already 6 games yesterday. There will be 6 games today. We will be recapping yesterday's 6 games a little bit later as well. So look out for that. Remember, these points will be cumulative. So over the 6 games yesterday, those points will carry forward to today, and it'll be the total points who will be crowned our champions. And that's it. Not only are they champions, they managed to get the Axe of Champions as well for placing first. And obviously, beautiful prize money from the top.
Einfach mal ein bisschen mehr.
Ich habe dich jetzt auf 128 oder warte, auf 150% gestellt, damit man dich jetzt auch noch hört.
Ja, ich war noch 150.
Sehr schön.
So. Wir gönnen uns jetzt den ganzen Fortnite Spaß hier.
Genau.
Die Champions.
So.
Die Auflösung können wir schon ein bisschen höher stellen.
Man, and we cannot forget what's on the line. Prize money across 7
Ja, passt mal, dass man auf Preis gibt bei Europa ja 1,3 Millionen. So, aber der Erstplatzierte ist ja 300.000. Ist ja lustig.
Final trio left standing, but they will also take home the Axe of Champions. If you've never heard me say it before, well, guess what? It's gold, baby. We've digitized it, we put it in Fortnite and created a pickaxe that only champions.
Genau, die reden gerade über die goldene Spitzhacke von dem FNCS.
Ich bin echt gespannt auch, wer jetzt dieses Mal gewinnt. Also es geht ja bis morgen früh.
Ja.
Also ich werde auch...
Ich hoffe allerdings, ich hoffe Savage. Refgarth und Endritter.
Ja, ich werde auch bis morgen früh streamen. Werde das Ganze auch moderieren. Das war sehr interessant. Ich komme gleich wieder.
Da ist die Spitzhacke. Kriegt man. Wir kriegen die Champions.
and Reese an average placement.
Warte, kann ich gucken,
These guys were really impressive across all the 12 games, across
Ganz
the 2
kurz.
days we had, because
Guck
Asia
mal,
was
hier
probably one of the
bin.
closest regions coming out
Guck
of
mal
the
die
end
Einstellung.
of that
Bisschen
first day total. There was, I think, 11
Oh,
points, maybe
dann kann
20
ich mehr.
points between
Okay, egal.
first all the way down till 12th. And look who was in the first place. It was Alan, Shamoki, and Force at the end of first day, and they managed to just maintain that all the way through, placing first into the final game, and they are now our champions. So huge congratulations to these guys.
As we take a look at the top 10 for the day, or for the 2 days at Asia, it's important to note, right, the top 3 in every single region's finals at the end of the 2 days will auto qualify for the next season's finals. So you can take a look there in second place, Signal, Halsey, Josia. They will auto qualify and they will be playing together.
Das sind noch die ersten Plätze, die ersten Dinger von gestern.
In the next final, same thing could be said for Ragus, Muffin, and Curran. And Muffin, right, he won FNTS 2 seasons ago. This season, only able to get third. But look, they have another shot to play in next season's finals, and I'm sure he'll be looking to reclaim that axe.
Yeah, hey, I'm not going to complain about a third by
Da bin ich
any
wieder.
means. If we move over to OCE, our other region that's
Ich
all
glaube, ich soll mal gucken, ob ich mal die Quali mal ein bisschen hochstelle.
Speedy, the TNA trio are now 2-time champions. That is back-to-back champions. They won last season in season 5. They've come back in season 6, and yes, 2-time champions. So what an accomplishment from these guys. They basically did it in exactly the same format as well. They were roughly 40 points behind at the end of day 1 and managed to have a huge comeback. And when you see the leaderboards, you'll see how far ahead they ended up being. Incredible performance from the TNA trio.
Oder wenn die gerade mal am Reden sind, stelle ich gerade kurz mal die Quali hoch. Ich muss aber kurz mal Stream beenden und stelle kurz mal neuen Stream. Oder dann stelle ich kurz mal einen neuen Stream, dann muss ich gerade mal die Dings hier. Die Quali.
In first place, but they weren't able to hold on to that top spot. But it's all right because second place isn't too shabby.
Ich muss mal die Quali höher stellen, Mann.
As once again, that top 3 does also qualify for the next finals. Jinx, Alec, and Worthy in 7th. They definitely would have wanted to have a better performance, right? These are some of the premier names out of Oceania. But look, once again, top 10 isn't too bad. They're going to be able to hit the drawing board, come back next season.
Soll ich mal 60 FPS machen?
For the next time
60 FPS?
Ja.
That's right. And speaking
Oder wie kann man denn die Quali besser stellen?
Ja, da müsstest du Ding. Eine OBS-Einstellung.
Welche OBS-Einstellung ist für die Qualität?
But right behind them, Hen, Janice, Chapix, your trios champion from last season.
Was?
These 2 trios.
Welche Einstellungen sind denn für die schöner für? Ah, du hast die Qualität besser wird.
Da muss schon OBS rein. Aber das kannst du nicht, wenn du live bist.
Ja, ich habe gerade kurz Stream beendet.
Achso.
Gerade nochmal neu dann.
Dann gehen auf Einstellung, dann Ausgabe.
Oder Ausgabe, ja.
Da müsstest du oben ein Fenster haben mit 1000, nur noch 180 mal Papapa und unter drunter stell schau auf das höchste.
Du meinst Bitrate?
Nein, das ist keine Bitrate.
Wo meinst du denn?
Kannst du jetzt schlecht erklären.
People expect teams that are contested to not do as well, and they finished the first day in second place, and they're poised to finish in first place as long as they have a good day,
skaliert oder was? Auflösung? Ausgabeauflösung, ne?
To see who can finish that at the end of the day. But many of these teams are still in great positions, like the likes of
1920 mal 1080.
Gut, und was steht da drunter?
Even if we look at the second page, right, the teams who are 11th to 20th, a lot of talent here who has the ability to potentially make a comeback, right? You take a look at the likes of Kins or iDrop and Wakey,
Big
Joe
Top,
Stompy and Shadow,
geschärfte Skalierung 16 Stichproben.
Wenn übersteht 1090 mal, keine Ahnung, 1080, dann müsste es passen eigentlich.
Yeah, some of the best names, like I said, we saw Vigil, Rally, and Reason, who are currently 16th. Pop off winning the big victory royale in game 1 yesterday. If they come out with the steam that they had today in game 1 and continue that on, they may rise completely up. And it's definitely not something we've seen in any other region over We've seen these changes going around in the leaderboard. Some teams down here managing to make themselves all the way up to the top 3, and we could definitely be seeing that here today.
Let's take a look at the highlights though. Let's take
Alter,
you back to the
Wave.
beginning of
Eieiei.
yesterday.
Oh,
When
man.
Risen, Reveal, and O'Reilly won
Ich habe ihn
their
gerade
first game,
ausgeschlügelt von
crazy
jetzt gestern.
play. Look, forget that guy in Lazy
Also.
Lake. These were the
Aber
real
ich finde,
Kaisers to start the day because you know they started with the way you
es sind nur
typically expect them to
Superhelden-Skins,
finish, right,
weiß
with a huge
schwarz.
win.
Warum?
They
Keine
dropped
Ahnung.
straight down into the water, managed to catch themselves so clutch. That's probably one of the moments of the tournament that we'll remember the most. But game number 2 was won by Refsgard, Andrea, and Savage, who managed to win using the medkit heal-off. Remember, they're currently our first place leaders, but this game was really where they solidified themselves using the corn as well. Not something we really see very typically.
Yeah, you can see game 3,
So,
Joe,
das ist eigentlich
Spunky,
nur
and Shadow were able to win a game. We talked about it on the leaderboards. Outside of this game, they weren't able to do much, right? So they had their win from high ground, typical of them in terms of their playstyle.
Aber ist gut.
It's gonna be
Also,
about really
das gefällt
being
mir.
able to have more games like this over the course of these 6 games.
Yeah, and you know, this is the turning point in the tournament for us. This was Hein, Janice, and Chapik's
Müssen
game
wir
number
das
4,
Battleroyal
where they
Oh,
showed
das soll
that
man
you can
Anzeigen,
test and these guys
oder
can pick up
nicht?
big victory
wieder
royales. And this is where they
Ja, keine
climb
Ahnung,
really high up the
Rates
leaderboards
YouTube,
from their
wie das
first
ist, deswegen
victory
zeige ich
royale.
das euch über
Extremely
YouTube.
impressive stuff
Wir
from
strahlen
them.
es
This
jetzt
will
hier
be their
aus.
first and only victory royale of the game.
Gerade für euch. Ihr könnt hier mal alles mitverfolgen, wenn ihr wollt.
Sort of, you know, the last moments
Yup.
of the tournament, really, right? The last couple of games where things really do start to get intense. You know, we had, you know, great finish and if anything, the likes of Queasy, Trulex, and Juriki winning a game, and you
So,
can see
kurz
Trulex
mal ganz
dropping
schön
down, hitting
gestartet.
key shots
Ja,
to
das
win
ist
them the
dran.
game in the end. A phenomenal performance, but we started, or I should say, we finished with the team who won it all last season, right?
Es
The
ist aber halt
FNCS
auch
champions
lustig,
picked up that final game, and what a
wie sie
zone
noch
to do it, right?
kämpfen.
Exactly the same as
Ist einfach
Zone
nur
1
krank.
almost, and they won 2 games
Ja.
as well. So no surprise, these guys learned from that game 1, and here we go, winning game number 6.
So clean. And that package was absolutely insane.
Wen von den 3 findest du
I
so
just felt it
am
once again.
am
Just
sympathischsten?
coursing through my veins. Okay, we gotta set the stage a little
Ich
sag Sieg.
Game number
Ja,
2.
Henry,
Sieg ist
ja.
so,
Kinda curious to pick your
ne?
brain a little
Der hat
bit.
aber
So
was.
wanted to see,
Wäre der Mann
you know,
der,
some of
der
these trios are having
wow,
a difficult
ist der
time
Beste.
just landing
Ja.
and
Oder?
getting these
Ist er jetzt so.
contested POIs and making it out alive. So I'm curious to
Oder
see,
wäre dein,
like,
oder wäre dein
trios might be
Vater
changing up
ein
their
Epicgames
drop spots
Mitarbeiter?
coming into game number
Junge.
2.
Yeah, I think if you look at the leaderboard, you
Wild.
have to think,
Ja,
right,
ja.
if we're dropping,
Jedes
say, for
zweite
example, the
Kid,
two
dem
teams
sein
currently
Vater
in
arbeitet bei
retail
Epic.
row, we've got Wolfie's team going against Kiko's team.
Ist ja
Both
wirklich
not
geil.
performing too well in the leaderboards
Ja,
right now.
willkommen an
I
alle
think
im
20th all the way
Stream,
down
ne?
till
Wir gönnen
35,
uns
I think
jetzt
somewhere in that range. So
die
we're gonna take
Reaction
and have to think,
auf
what are we gonna
die
change up in our
FNCS-Finale.
strategy? And Wolfie's team during the qualifier and also during the heats have ended up dropping in Dirty Dogs and
Ich hoffe,
also
alles
in
passt
the
jetzt so.
stacks. So you've got to think if
Ja,
there's no
Auflösung,
more
ja,
games
es
to
muss
them
so
so
kurz
far in
einfach laden,
retail,
dann ist
maybe
das
they go
Auflösung ein bisschen
Dirty
besser.
and contest
Ja.
almost flicker
Stell dir mal
Nas, or
vor,
maybe even up to Steamy and contest our
Ja.
current
du bist mit
place
dem Cup
leaders,
dabei,
which has
du
potentially
stirbst
been
einfach
alluded to on
instant.
Twitter so
Du bist
far
einfach
already
schon in
by
der Luft
Wolfie.
weggelasert.
So could see some
Gab's
changes
auch
in
schon,
that
gab's auch schon. Das hab ich erst
Yeah,
auch
I
vor
think that's
kurzem
always bound
gesehen.
to happen on that second day, right?
Ich weiß aber nicht mehr, wer es war,
Maybe get a
genau.
bit nervous about how they performed on the first day, so they look to switch things up. Definitely. a
Steam ist auch
possibility.
mein Ohr, Digga. Oben.
All
Steam.
right, Levin, talk to me about some sleeper
Ja.
teams, because
Steam
I
ist
feel like
besser.
you've got one that didn't get much broadcast time yesterday, but they're still performing extremely
So.
well.
Well, yeah, Zeke, there were 3 teams in the top
Aber
10
ist ja
that
auf jeden
stood
Fall
out to me
interessant.
for contrasting reasons, right? You know, Kiriachi, Stormy, right? And
Allerdings Savage auch wieder mit dabei ist, Digga, der wird safe Steamy landen.
teams mechanically in all of Europe, and they were incredibly consistent.
Lässt sich
They
jetzt
played
sein
incredibly well.
Revier.
But the one thing that stood out to me,
Ja, safe.
2.83 average eliminations. Lowest of anybody in
Wow.
the top 10. Weird for a team who you maybe expect to be a bit more aggressive outside of Slurpee, right? Taking a look over at Misty Meadows, though.
Ja, Misty ist auch Hauptstadt, Digga.
Ja.
Wenn auch viele in den.
Also ich finde, wir haben Pleasant Park vergessen. Pleasant Park war eigentlich eines von der Main.
Second highest of anybody in all of the lobby, right? These guys were
Wenn man
Klar,
so sieht,
Slurpee,
in a lot of their points
Slurpees
by,
Benji ist
eliminations.
hier
All the way at the top of the map, right?
Benjis
This
Ort.
one is the most peculiar
Selfie
one to me.
Stronghold,
This one
ja, da würde ich nie mehr landen.
aber warum ist Stevie Stronghold auch quasi Mainstadt? Das kann, oder Main Ort, da landet kein Schwein, genauso wenig wie bei Corey Castle.
That's like
Ja.
weird. How do you
Bei Holly
get
Heat
top
landen
10
auch nicht so.
games
Also die
in the top
Hauptdinge
10?
sind Burning
Crazy stuff.
Burbs,
If they can be a bit more
Colossal
consistent,
Grubs, Pleasant
imagine where
Park.
they could finish, right? Where
Also
else
irgendwie
would
mittig
you
liegt, keine Ahnung.
expect? So
Und Spire, würde ich jetzt auch sagen. Und Bonnie, ja.
Vor allem Lazy Lake.
Holy,
Vor allem auch noch Lazy Lake, deswegen, das kann nicht sein, weil Slurpee, Misty, Rita, Dirty, vor allem Steam Stacks und Dirty, kommen keine Leute hin. Ich sehe halt bei diesen Städten keinen. Die weißen Simulanten ist ja Pleasant Park, Body Burbs, Spire, Colossal Crops, Lazy Lake, Reaping Woods vielleicht noch und vielleicht auch noch Holy Heat und ein kleiner Anteil noch in Streety Sands.
Stimmt, gestern war ja noch diese Endzone ganz unten hier bei Mount K, ne? Da unten, also da bei den Schneebergen, ganz am Hang, ja. Schlimmste Zone. Was denkst du, wer wird gewinnen?
Ja, das weiß ich noch nicht.
Ich hoffe für Savage.
Hoffe mal.
Channel mich jetzt nicht alle im Stream.
Now, I kind of want to shift
Oh, I
topics
just
really
savage,
quickly because I want to remind everybody of our predictions coming into day number 2 of the finals.
Ja, Anas Flick Thomas hätte ich jetzt auch gesagt, dass sie wirklich krass sind. Sancho, ja, ich bin da ganz der Meinung, Sancho.
Ist halt immer gewagt. Also, ich bin aber gespannt, wer gewinnt.
Tazen ist auch wirklich gut. Nate auch. Ja klar, die sind alle unnormal krass, aber ja, Thomas, Flick und Anas auch ein krasses Trio. Ja, wird interessant. Also, ich bin Sanchos Meinung, Refguard und Redder und Savage. Ich hoffe, dass die gewinnen. Ja, wäre natürlich mega. So. Alle an alle im Stream.
Yeah, and Sancho looks like a genius because his pick is in first right now with Refguard, Savage, and Andretta. So if they can just stay there, Sancho's going to take it all to there.
Absolutely. Well, we're not wasting any more time. It's time to kick off the competition. We're going over to Sancho S and Shy Wager to start our day.
Oh, es geht los, Jungs, es geht los.
Oh ja, jetzt bin ich gespannt. Shy.
Gib mir Action, ja. Gib mir Action.
When you're in Party Royale on the couch or watching along with your friends, welcome to the European FNCS. Sancho, a slew of games to play today. $1.3 million on the line for
Ja, genau, Preispool $300.000. $300.000. Ist in Deutschland umgerechnet ein bisschen weniger, ich glaube 250.000.
Nee, es ist um die 270k. Ungefähr.
Ja, Motorrad.
This is what we're talking about. The adjustments are already happening in day 2 because $1 million are on the line
Ich sind schon eine schon noch.
is at stake. And here is our defending champion 10, Janice and Chapix already trading between Highcrest.
Ja, alle Superhelden sind klar. Jetzt geht's. Jetzt wird hier nicht mehr.
Also ich würde mich da echt schlecht fühlen. Also wenn ich da drin wäre. Ich glaube, ich würde einfach quitten und gucken, dass ich wegkomme.
Das sind die Könige im Game hier. Ja, es gibt natürlich viel Eliminierung, viele Punkte durch Kills. Ne?
Ja, klar.
Und Win ist sehr, sehr wichtig.
Here we go. These are very important moments. Looks like Indretta actually gets knocked, so we'll keep an eye on the feed on that here. That is our #1 team already unlocked.
Guten Abend an alle an den Stream, ne? Die hier gerade mitsitzen und mitfiebern. Schreibt mir in die Kommentare, also in den Live-Chat, wen denkt ihr oder für wen stimmt ihr ab?
Moin, was los hier? Habe ich irgendwas verpasst? Sheila, jetzt ist gerade das FNCS-Finale und ich werde halt bis heute Abend streamen. Beziehungsweise bis es zu Ende ist. Also, großes Programm ist heute.
Ja, haben das lang?
Ist aber echt auch krass, die halt auch spielen. Die spielen halt auch ganz anders halt als normale Spieler. Ist halt krass.
Ja, ich würde sogar so sagen, Dings. Die haben Bildschirme, ja, 300 FPS Minimum.
Wo muss ich rein? Nirgends, wir strahlen es hier auf YouTube aus.
Ja, das ist auch mega geil. Ja. Das ist auch wirklich krass. Ist da einer alleine, der im Busch sitzt? Janik?
Ja.
Ich glaube, das war Janik, kann das sein? Hat sich auch im Busch gesetzt, Digga.
Das ist krass, also das ist einfach krass.
Vor allen Dingen, das Problem ist, wenn die wenn die an dem Endgame so nah beieinander sind, laggt es halt, ne? Gibt's richtig FPS-Drops für den. Das kann entscheidend sein, ne?
Ist brutal.
Yeah, usually on day 2, this team you're watching on screen really ends up popping off. They're landing at Dirty Docks, and if this is your first time watching the FNCS, the early game is just about controlling where you land. You guys probably have your spots too, where you want to go. Could be big like Dirty, could be small, like this junction sort of, you know, POI.
Da kommst du immer mit der Scout und Pumpkin raus.
Are dropping at. They have a huge split where they travel around the map. There's many different things to do. The basic rule for everyone though is just to survive. If you're fighting anyone, you gotta win that fight. So we already saw it happen.
Ja, das war mit knusprig, also alle im Chat. Holt euch was zu knabbern, ne? Chips, irgendwas.
Aber ich finde, bei manchen Stellen editieren die halt so unnötig. Weil die sind alleine, kein Schwein ist dort, aber die bauen sich halt trotzdem ein.
Ist halt Sicherheit, weißt du? Du kannst nie wissen. Kannst nie wissen. So, ich mach mal ein bisschen lauter.
FNCS squad champion alongside with Serios and Mappy. They had a really solid day. They kind of played conservatively. They were able to get a lot of placement points alongside with some valuable elims. But the thing that they have to work on is, can they continue that pace? They're pretty much playing out of body like we mentioned yesterday, and that's pretty difficult to do in a high stakes lobby like this one.
Absolutely, and for this team on screen, I mean, you can see the stat, the importance for these guys on the second day of competition. It's more monumental than any other team we're going to be watching today. For like Anas and Thomas HD, their day ones usually are kind of scraping by. They'll be in the top 10. It won't be something crazy we're watching, but on day 2, they really start popping off. Sometimes you see multiple victory royales. We see lots of high placement games. The issue is, I'm not sure looking at this lobby if it's going to be as easy as before. Just look at the map. How spread out it is for every single team, where the zone is going to be as well.
Das noch nicht erkundet wurde. Außen ist ein komplettes Lama. Und dann noch bei Retail Row 3 Stück.
It is so difficult, especially with so many good players in the lobby, to be consistent, be at the top. They can't miss out on one game, especially the first game, the one we're watching right now. They're gonna have to do a very, very good job while they're playing, or their entire momentum will be just thrown away for the day.
We already saw a taste of zone 1. It's going to be a northern zone, so you have Hen Trio looking really solid. You know, we already talked about Levin, talked about at the analyst desk. Nebs' trio has been doing really solid considering they have not been finishing in the top 10. If you go back and VOD review Nebs' trio, game 3, they ran over some of the biggest names in the region, getting 5+ eliminations, I think 8. And that is something that I have to keep my eye on the rest of the way, because they were taking out the likes of Clement, they were taking out the likes of Adil's trio. So hey, you gotta watch out for Nebs.
Ja, hier links ich konnte wieder verabschiedet.
Being able to qualify out of Southeast Stronghold, they're looking really good, already primed to have a fantastic day 2, just like in Dretta, Revsguard, and Savage. And I think you said it really good, Shio. Basically, so sometimes it's good to get contested, because now they could just go ahead and post up. You don't have to really worry about Storm Surge. And even though they didn't really have problems within day 1, this makes things alleviate just a little bit there.
Einfach nur krass, wie die ist. Alter.
Oh my! Resort to just going inside cars. Sometimes though, depending on how and where you're rotating, you can just get battered up while you drive around the map.
Ja, kann man, ja. Ist besser, wenn wir hier immer die Leitung rausfliegt.
Ja. While the game started to go on a little bit, people started to experiment, play a little bit more loose. We had, like, you know, not that many people surviving, lots of people fighting in zone. This time though, at least for this game, everyone's taking it very seriously. You're gonna start seeing a lot of bases pop up around the map. iDrop's already doing it.
Man sich auch vorstellt, dass die Zone dann immer wieder kleiner wird und die dann wirklich alles geben. Das ist halt krass.
Their actual strategy is to play around other people, make sure when they're actually lacking and not watching, they take over their position. They love the third-party fights. You can see it right now. They're bothering another trio, just trying to rotate. They have to make an entire wall just to get by this river. This is crazy.
Alter, wie sie sich da einfach eine Mauer machen müssen. Alter.
Crazy thing is though, when there's no one to actually counter, they don't actually end up doing too much. They end up.
Das ist eigentlich jemand Ventilator im Hintergrund.
Was?
Alles gut, ich höre jetzt.
Now we're taking a look at Bloomy's trio, putting pressure down on Tastin's trio. Builds are on fire because the car exploded. Gloomies trio is kind of a trio that's coming from that west coast of Fort Crumpet. If you didn't watch yesterday,
Aber ich
they've been
muss noch
doing
schnell
solid
was
work considering they've
machen.
been avoiding a lot of the kind of the scary trios coming out of that side of the map. And they did really well. They've been around that time. I expected them just to be Storm Surge tags for that side of the map. But they were able to get away, make some smart rotations, rotate early, like we said, how important it's going to be.
Jo, okay, das war's.
Yep, der gute Kanzler.
Weg.
In fact, game 5, they were kind of splitting some randomness, but now maybe they could come up and kind of shake up that bottom of the board, because right now they're affecting this rotation right here just by being here.
Hey, you're talking about randomness. What is this? This is, I'm counting like 7 different trios at the same time fighting in Storm. There's Fast Roki, the Interrupters, High Ground fighting Stompy right. Down below, Dementos is not stopping. Jamside is going down in the building.
Ja, ich meine, Kosten sind da und so. Janis ist raus.
Making it off spawn for I think the first time I'm watching, and they're looking real good with this loadout.
This is just a repeat of day 1. All the southern teams from Misty Meadows, Lazy Lake, Caddy Corner, all being late on the rotations and all colliding as you're seeing Jamside getting eliminated by Podosai. this is what's happening the entire tournament. It looks like it's gonna be a repeat in day 2. If any of these trios want to get better for the day in placement, they just have to avoid this kind of white line engagement that's happening right here, Shio.
Jetzt bin ich auf jeden Fall verbunden mit meinem Konto. Jetzt müsste ich einfach nur noch auf irgendeiner drauf, der ja dieses Ding livestreamt auf Twitch, und dann muss ich eine halbe Stunde warten.
Eating some damage, looking for an angle. Not going to really find it, but has some meat to eat, so it's all good on his end. Once again, in terms of reading what's going on screen, it might be confusing. You know, there's health bars to watch. Once that threshold thing pops up on the right side as well, that's like an extra health bar to kind of show you guys how the trio's doing. If they're about 300, 400 damage above, it's really good. Anything below that, sometimes they could be in trouble. There's even more trios, though, still inside the storm. Hellfire's so far back. Okay, never mind. It's the reverse side. They're actually in. Everyone's looking good. Oh, look at this. So many people playing side by side, close together. And like this is going to be rough rotates all the way across.
Ich muss sagen, Lara Croft Gold sieht aber auch heftig aus, ne?
Ja. Tragt auch mega wild.
Aber das Problem ist, ich finde, nichtsdestotrotz, dass Lara auf Gold heftig aussieht, hat sie, beziehungsweise die ganzen goldenen Skins für diese Season keinen Sinn.
Laut, Alter. Ja.
And they got it taken away from them, and only one of them they were able to hold on and get a victory royale. So expect this team to continuously to fight for height, to expend all their mats to hold on to height, do whatever that they can, because they're all in for that strategy. And when you go all in, you saw it already. They get down into shambles, but I'm expecting them to at least get 1 or 2.
Ja, mich immer, wenn du aus so ein S aussprichst, ja, dann zieht das übelst in den Ohren, weil es so laut ist auch immer bei mir. Es wird irgendwie schlau.
Einfach nur ein Schlachtfeld. Ja. Das hat nichts mehr mit Fortnite zu tun.
Das war gerade mal der Anfang, ne?
Ja, Anfang vom Ende, ne?
Ja.
Ist halt auch krass, wie die auch jedes Mal dagegen halten müssen.
This is just what it means, how much eliminations are. 2 points apiece, Shio. Expect people to go for more elims because they have to make up some ground to catch up to the top of the leaderboard.
Everyone's also just bunched up at the south side right now. There's a river all the way in between.
So.
Some elevation will be tricky to actually navigate.
77 Gebäude, kann er bauen.
There are some kings on it. A god trio maybe who's watching. Kind of an opposite lifestyle on this river. They're actually looking to take out people who might be drowning. And everyone's gonna have to start to swim in just a second. Jerky's already down, so Trulix and Queasy are already looking bad. And look at who they have to go by. Snazy, Andalex, Tuz Kiriachi, Shakel's up top. This is like playing a game on the hardest veteran difficulty, and you have no ammunition. Your movement speed is slower as well. I don't know how they're gonna get out of this one.
This is going to be a ruthless rotation. All eyes to see who could be able to look at all the
hard matches already kleiner, guck dir das mal an. Die haben jetzt noch eine halbe Minute und dann kommt die nächste Zone.
2 Berge seitlich und mitten im Tal, ne? Also Fluss.
Ja.
Schlecht.
Aber warum machen die das nicht? Ich frage mich, warum müssen die jetzt mal dann auf die kleinste Zone?
Ja, die sterben halt nicht, ne?
Shifting down to Camp Cod, having trouble with Storm Surge, not being able to get what they normally do. Let's see how they do here in day 2, making those adjustments.
Quiz, alles klar.
No one's holding anything back. Stormy Red already going down. Tuz Kiriachi, they need consistent games.
Stingebogen und ein Boombogen sind sowas sehr nützlich. Vor allem, wenn du siehst, dass sie sich einfach so hochbauen wie keine Ahnung was. Du kannst sie echt easy runter editieren. Yo, danke für dein Abo.
Das ist Savage überhaupt. Nach hat jemanden geholt. Ja, Thomas Trio ist noch gut am Start.
They said on social media, we have a plan. We saw yesterday they were kind of just pushing everything, getting in some scrums in mid game, rotating late, but now they're early and now they have to get beams. So now they change up their box fighting mentality for Storm Surge and they're just going to do it from a distance. Wow, I'm impressed.
And they came through yesterday with a crazy win in the first game as well, 12 total eliminations.
Ah, die wechseln sich auch ab mit der Position, das ist gut.
Because after that, it was just mistake after mistake. They fell down the board and they're in 16th place now. They used to be first on the day and they ended at 16th.
If they could just chill out a bit, just don't use the NOS, don't use the,
Das ist schon mein Ding.
and maybe they could just get on through.
So.
Because when they get to in-game, they're
Abo Philipp, danke für dein Abo. Jetzt kann ich auch schon gucken. So, ja, Dankeschön, Dankeschön. Der Kuss geht auf jeden Fall raus an euch alle. Dankeschön.
They're not looking to be in a big spot to win the game currently, but at the same time they have a max zone to rotate. So let's hold off on that for a second. Tayson getting tagged from the right side. There's even other trios rotating.
Also das Event müsste eigentlich jetzt schon starten bei euch bei Battleroyal.
They're not sure what's going to be in front of them right here. It's going to be Wakey.
Battleroyal müsste jetzt
setting a trap. Andolex uses the river and goes by fast. MXR one last pot aside. They're moving too. And right above them is Bad Sniper with Andretta as a solo player. Refgard and Savage down. How did this happen? This is your first place team.
Nein, Refgard und Savage sind schon weg. Nein. Andretta muss jetzt hier Solo machen, Digga.
Heftig. Einfach nur heftig. So, also ich kenne sofort mit überhaupt nicht. Wie sie einfach bauen, Digga.
Anders.
Alter, ja.
Andretta muss jetzt passiv spielen.
Pull that rabbit out of the hat. Maybe there's some magic here because his job is just all about getting placement as many points as possible before he gets lobbied.
So dumm. Also der hat sich gut Schaden gegeben. Ich meine, jedes Leben ist halt wichtig, ne?
Ja. An der Green Knife. Dass du in die Zone läufst, ist nichts Neues. Ne?
Und die Zone wird halt immer kleiner. Guck mal, wie viele einfach in der Zone noch sind.
Klar, der. Oh, jetzt wird's interessant. Jetzt wird's interessant. Sobald sich der Sturm jetzt bewegt, dann geht's ab, ja. Oh, Junge, jetzt. Thomas da oben, Flicker nass, Digga, auf der anderen Seite. Digga.
This is not only the most important day, but this has to be the most important game. The thing we've seen on EU, especially early, is people like to contest height. They like to interrupt Thomas, Flick, and Anas. But look how far this split goes. Thomas is back in an old zone a minute away. Anas and Flick are already
Tayson hat grad ordentlich
building a new base. So these guys have real estate on all corners of the map. Janice, Hen, and
Geht nicht bei Battleroyal. Okay, also bei Battleroyal geht das nicht. Ja, dann bleibt er halt hier, dann könnt ihr euch den Livestream hier mit angucken. Wir strahlen das ja komplett aus, also alles gut. Alter, 40 Leute, 17 Teams. Uff.
Oh, Lootball. Lootball wurde durch Sturm geholt.
Ja, traurig.
Thomas ganz oben, ja. Ja, Highground ist auch wichtig so. Von oben sprayen.
Every player playing scared, but fear gets relieved as the zone actually bounces back. Everyone on middle and low ground, even the people getting struck by this purple lightning from Storm Surge, are safe and can breathe for the moment. I will have to work overtime to try to break these builds.
Aber wenn die jetzt einmal runterschießt, Alter, dann ist er weg.
Glaub ich nicht. Die retten sich immer.
They get to have a little bit of a break. Yeah, even Andretta's alive. The first place team has one player. He takes out Sun in mid ground. Meanwhile, Thomas, Flick, and Anas are looking for anything right now. They only have two eliminations on show. I've never seen them.
Savage braucht nämlich noch Punkte.
Damit er weiterkommt.
Da ist er. Ne, wenn du das raus.
Eieiei.
Schade, okay.
Aber es war echt cool zu sehen, von so einer Perspektive, wer noch viel Leben hat, dass es also komplett angezeigt wird.
Eye-Drops ist auch gleich tot. Ja. Uff, ja, ich glaube, Thomas wird es vielleicht noch jetzt holen.
Low ground scrappy, high ground
Heftig.
free. There's so many
Ja,
different types of
Anas und Thomas und
schemes we're
Flick,
seeing
Digga.
so far in this game.
Die haben den High
Zero in
Ground.
the middle.
Die geben den auch nicht
Fortnite
auf.
down, big fall damage, no O'Reilly in his
Loot
Außer
body.
Boy.
He's in a pit of vipers and there's no chances in to survive. It's too venomous. Thomas
Du hast auch ehrlich gesagt auch keine Zeit, um Leute auszunocken, beziehungsweise zu healen, ne?
Keine Chance.
With the zone going
Einmal
towards their
tot, immer tot.
backyard, this is going to be the
Loot
game.
Boy
They
lebt
need the
noch?
signature game
Ja.
that I was talking about in day one. They already almost had it, but Hen took that away from them. They're not going to
Aber
let it
warte
go
mal,
away here.
warte mal, es gab ja doch zwei
Marvin with
Loot Boy.
a phenomenal performance, the best performance they had today.
Echt?
Ja,
Was, zwei?
ich glaube schon, weil den habe ich bis jetzt noch nicht gesehen.
Ja,
Also ich
ich
täusche
auch,
mich.
ich dachte nämlich auch, Loot Boy wäre jetzt eigentlich raus. Ja. Ja, ja. Du gegen du. Du gegen du. Oder? Nee.
So.
Solo, du.
Ding,
Marvin, ja. Nochmal
ich habe schon was
Flicke.
bekommen in Fortnite. Ich habe Mappen bekommen von dem jetzigen Cup.
Ah, geil.
Ja. GG. Riesen-Event. Gänsehaut.
Oh, wenn die Sonne noch über die Brücke geht. Oh, jetzt ist auch so Battle.
Die oben haben echt einen Vorteil. Die oben haben einen Vorteil, ganz klar. Okay, der eine ist runtergefallen. Eieieiei. Ah, der ist so, das war mies.
Und
Scheiße.
Wiesen heilt sich wieder.
Ah, oh.
Oh mein Gott.
Alter, heftig,
Junge,
heftig. Einfach nur, wow.
Was? GG, Jungs. Oha. Oha. Digga. Digga. Ich glaub, Metcalf war noch so eine halbe Sekunde, ne? Halbe Sekunde nicht mal, Digga. Oh mein Gott, Digga.
Einfach krass, einfach nur krass.
Junge.
What the heck am I watching? This is just the first game. Wow.
Junge.
Aber
Okay,
Das
wenn es
ist
schon
Game
beim
schon so,
ersten Spiel so abgeht, Digga. Uff, da bin ich ja gespannt.
Ich schwör, Thomas und Flick und so, die ärgern sich gerade so hardcore.
Ja, auf jeden Fall.
Ich schwör, die ärgern sich gerade so
What do I
hardcore.
have to do? Like what? At this point, is
Digga.
he's like, you know what? Let me just channel my Sprite energy and just roll up in there and get the victory royale, Reese. That's what I like to see.
Geil, Digga. Geil.
We cannot have Tier 1 Teams messing up Medkit.
Hey, kann ich dir mal kurz über Discord was schicken?
Ja.
Ich habe gerade ein ganzes Bundle bekommen.
Schick mal. Zeig mal. Ja.
We've seen a lot of this actually on NA East and then messing up the timings of it. We're actually really yet to see that, and that definitely was a bit of a choke, which allowed
So,
Reason just
okay.
absolutely to pop off. And you notice he was live as a
Digga. Wilde Runde, wilde Runde an
Huge,
dieser
huge
Stelle.
props to Reason for clutching that, but they did win game 1 yesterday. Will they manage to keep the steam going?
This is the story of last season's, champions, because you look at the last two teams there. This is the third place team from last season versus the second place team from last season.
Digga.
If you actually remember back to last season,
Anders,
Reason
Digga.
had some phenomenal clutches back
Anders.
then as well, and he's back this season with just the clutch genes in his veins. How has he won a 1v2 against one of the best teams in the world? Like, just frame it like that, and you start to really understand how crazy what he just did.
Oh, Junge.
Coming back in about
nur
5
kurz
games
versuchen.
and looking at that as being a defining moment in what turned their
Ich habe
tournament
einen
around. That
zweiten
victory
Stil
pushes
bekommen,
them up the
deswegen.
standings.
Ja.
Oh my goodness.
Schick
Yeah,
mal
man,
gerade
even
rüber.
just being able to say, like,
Ja, ja.
even if you just ended in second place, it's like, wow, you clutched up so hard to at least hit second. Nope. Let me just 1v2 this other trio. No problem. That's how we start the competition here on day number 2 of the finals. Now let's talk about drop spots.
Okay.
At the very beginning of the show, I
Und-
asked you if anything would be changed up. Did anything get changed
So.
up?
Hast du geschickt?
Minorly. Minor things
schick
change
jetzt
up,
rüber.
but some things don't change there, Zeke, because you know what? Have you ever watched Kiriachi's gameplay before?
Yo.
This team's been dropping here for a long
Habt ihr
time. What's
geschickt.
very, very important and very, very critical is the absolute sharpshooter
ja.
eye
Die
that
Belohnung bekommen haben.
Kiriachi has. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. The storm down instantly.
That is insane. Look,
Hier, gut, schon wieder Loot bei Fast Rocky. Und der andere hieß Loot bei Baraki oder wie der hieß.
Ja.
Es gibt zwei.
Ja. Ah, ich glaube, Lootboy ist der Klarname, glaube ich. Wenn mich nicht alles täuscht.
Naja, aber nichtsdestotrotz, es gibt zwei Leute.
Ja.
Aber
Nee, ich glaube, Lootboy ist nur ein Servername.
Warte mal, Liano hat... Jana hat sich das Crew-Paket bei mir geholt. LOL. Oha, GG, vielen Dank.
Stimmt, also die spielen jetzt weiter mit
Danke
den
für deinen
Punktenstand von gestern.
Danke für die Mitgliedschaft. GG.
Wow, ob wir dir eine Mitgliedschaft abgeschlossen haben?
Ja.
Wow, ja.
Hallo, Felix sagt noch. Es ist...
Absolutely, and this has just gone even closer. Apart from, let's be real, Hen Janice Chapik
Points,
pulling away a little bit with their
192 Punkte
eliminations
in der
off
ersten Runde.
spawn that they
Jawohl.
got. That's obviously a good few points. And you know, Chapik's clutched all the
Das
way
ist
up
der
to
Stand noch von
himself
gestern.
there.
Ach
So,
so,
two moving zones, he managed
ach so,
to
ja.
make
Gestern war ja auch schon
really big for
Finals
Team
Teil
Fighters,
1
just kinda take
und jetzt
that
werden halt nur die
a little
Punkte wieder
bit.
oben drauf gerechnet.
Felix
Und
sagt
die
noch.
werden nicht
Okay, ich gehe
gesettet.
wieder. Okay, ciao, ciao.
Great performance from these guys. So
Kein
again,
Ding. Doch,
Kevin
doch.
Archie's
Alles gut.
team,
Dankeschön,
you know, some of
Dankeschön.
these other teams down that we kind of just mentioned
Oha.
are still middling,
Was hast
right?
du
That's
dir...
7th till 8th and 8th. We did see Bubak up in the end game again.
Ah.
That's then moved them up 2 slots
GG.
as well. And then from that big victory royale, now
Kunst geht auf jeden Fall raus.
up into the top 10. So 5 more games to go.
Was?
Hopefully they're going to be able to keep
Die
this
kauft
going.
sich einfach das Mega-Crew-Paket. Was? Oha.
Junge!
Digga, die hat sich ein Upgrade gekauft. Was geht ab?
Ja, Stephen Sass, das ist normal. Spaß.
Krass. Oha. Da jetzt mal ein fröhliches Herzchen in den Chat. Ja, habe ich nicht, sorry. Liana, alles gut. Dankeschön, Dankeschön. Kuss geht auf jeden Fall raus.
I think that's how it's going to go today. It's going to go down to the last moment. We saw last season, it went down to the final game, the final rotations, the final moments.
Alter, der Hangglide ist auch nice. Alter, hast du den gesehen?
Ja.
Krass.
Der von dieser, wie hieß die Frau nochmal? Der irgendeine Totenschädelmaske auf.
Ja, mega
Also
krass.
reaktiv.
Krass.
That trio basically just averaged out the rest of the way. Low E-limbs.
Felix rostet ja auch gerade raus.
And if that continues to happen here in day 2, I
Moin,
think we'll see
Felix.
a back-to-back championship.
Ja, aber erste Runde war wild. Und auch wenn nur eine 2, Digga.
Emotes. Ich habe einmal Fortnite Champion Series KP2 SG, der sieht nice aus. Und Champion Series 2021 im Emote. Nice. Und einen Ladebildschirm habe ich bekommen. Sieht geil aus. Oh mein Gott, da ist sogar diese OG-Spitzhacke mit drauf gebildet. Und Fischi hat ihn in der Hand und Dynamo steht einfach unter dem. Ha. Krass. Krass. Einfach nur krass. Oha.
Ja, ich finde Drops sind auch geil, aber ich brauch's jetzt nicht unbedingt.
Ja. Aber stell dir mal vor, du bist da wirklich einer der vor den Besten. Du zockst da einfach mit. Was das für ein Gefühl ist.
Das beste Gefühl. Besser geht's nicht.
Ja, ist echt so.
Oh.
Eieiei.
Oh, way, oh.
They're looking for anything. They need one big shot, but even then, look at the minis in Chapix's inventory. He has so many to delay this fight. Mats are the only thing. They have 5. They've made so much investment.
Manche
in making
schwitzen.
this
Es gibt
big
wieder
bridge,
nächsten Kampf.
base.
Ja. Aber man muss dazu sagen, die schwitzen auch, also die hocken auch nur 24/7 gefühlt nur kreativ rum.
Ja. Und der Arena. Und die anderen Cups immer.
Ich muss sagen, der hatte gerade einen Bogen, dieser OVA Knight, der hat einen Bogen. Ich muss sagen, mein Bogen, also mein Aim mit dem Bogen ist auch anders heftig. Also Kumpel sagen auch, ich treffe wirklich jeden Schuss.
now has a chance for
Ja,
a big
Bogen
flank
ist
to
groß.
actually corner these
Besser als
guys. Hen
Sniper,
complete
echt.
control of the POI.
Ist echt so.
Genesis is going up.
Ist besser als
Fighting two
Sniper.
by
Da
himself.
kann man
Fighting
keiner
Vortex.
was
Chapix
anderes
has to
sagen.
peek from down below.
Sniper,
On Genesis
ne.
as well. He's gonna try to run away, farm what he can as he
Please,
moves inside a
no.
building. Yes, that's where you have the most protection. He's gonna play sneaky like
So.
while he attracts all the attention. This makes room for Chapix and Hen.
Zweite Runde läuft ja hier schon gut, ne? Sturm 1
This
zu
is a
9.
back and forth and it looks like they have the
Jetzt halt
reads on
richtig erst
Hyper's
los,
trio.
Digga.
Die übersehen alle immer diese Munitionskiste unter der Treppe. Ich finde das lustig. Ich bin gefühlt, also ich kenne niemanden, der die eins hat. Ich bin der Einzige.
Yeah, right now too, it's not only a war of HP and loadout, it's a war of resources. While Janice, I believe, was on the backside and used all his mats as a
Da
solo.
war schon wieder eine
When
Munitionskiste.
Hypers, Vortex, and Knight wanted to respond to him, all three of them had to use their mats to catch up. So they basically, look how many ramps are invested over here from
Was
all
meinst du,
three
Martin?
players. They're losing this war on resources. Only Janice has basically used his mats right here.
So.
Chapix and Hen have been just farming up the whole time. We'll see how that goes. It looks like Cerebrally is going to be Janice's team that's winning right now. At Steamy
Aber hier
Stars,
klar,
Edreda,
Edreda, Savage,
they had their early game fight.
alle wieder in
taken out
Steamy.
immediately from what I saw over there. It'll be free for those guys to keep moving on. Right now, it just looks like Knight is confused. I'm not sure if he knows exactly where these guys are. Janice was out of builds, now he's almost up to back to 200-300. It's about these resources. Just keep watching him.
Ja, jetzt hilft nur noch Boxen, ne?
Down here. And Knight up top, he can't drop down the farm. As soon as they drop the farm,
Ja.
hear that, they'll go back up.
Wird halt lustig, dass sie die Munitionskisten halt vernachlässigen bzw. nicht durchsuchen. Diese 2 Sekunden könntest du bestimmt nehmen.
Ja. Muni brauchst du immer. Muni brauchst du immer. Vor allem hier bei diesen Spielern, ey.
Ja.
Kannst du so viel. Ja.
Ja, jetzt haben sie noch, jetzt sind sie noch aufgeteilt.
Müssen die moven? Ich sehe es gar nicht. Nee, ich glaube nicht, ne?
Die Craig trifft ja gute Zone.
Ne, Craig ist Zone, die haben Glück gehabt.
Aber die unten bei dem Camp sind, die müssen aber verdammt, also alle, wo unten sind.
Oh ja. Boah. Vor allem der Witz ist, die Zone war 1:1 genau eben auch dasselbe, ne?
Ja.
Eine Runde davor.
This fight will happen no matter what. And man, Vortex is getting antsy. They're already shooting shots down below Sancho. It really, right now, it seems like Hen, Chapix, and Janice are inside their heads.
The only time I've seen a disengagement here in the tournament is Hen's trio went to Flopper Island to disengage to
jetzt noch so ein bisschen ruhig Phasen, ne? Und gleich geht's ab, Digga.
Gleich geht's ab.
The thing that's going to be different here is that Tripper's trio that usually rotates into that little clip area hasn't been here just yet. Now they're rolling in. They're rolling in right now, and they're going to send beams. And we saw Chapix get beamed from that area here, and that could be just enough for High Curse's trio to find that opening to get rid of Hen's trio.
What Sancho's calling for is basically the third party of a different team on this left
Bin ich
hill.
einzig, ich finde diese Stimmen von denen ist so beruhigend irgendwie.
Was on high ground. He was in the position
Ja, die machen ihren Job.
Die sind so angenehm, ey. Ja. Diese Stimmen, die hören sich so angenehm an, ey.
There's no chance that third party team can
Ich
actually
bin nur
shoot
der
them.
Einzige.
So they're actually sitting pretty, waiting for Knight to make a move, and they can't. Meanwhile, on other sides of the map, Lazy Lake always active, especially with Bad Sniper.
Aber es sind auch nur only PC-Spieler.
Towards the center of the map off the
Yep.
POI, chasing a fight. Bad Sniper with the big shots on the Dementos. They're still going forward.
Es gibt auch PS4-Leute auf dem Level, aber
I mean, Sancho, no one's holding anything
ich glaube
back
nicht, dass
on
die hier
day
reinkommen.
Not at all, and Marvin's trio had their best
Vielleicht ist
finish
auch einer
in
drin.
game 1 of this day here,
Kann sein.
which is 7 out of the 12. But this is just a messy rotation. This southern rotation, I call it the struggle rotation, man. The struggle of the South right here that's happened real. Every time we've already seen it in game 7, now in game 8, you're seeing all the kind of chaos that's happening. Jamside hasn't had a great tournament run because of this, and you already seen Pizza.
Da musst du alles ausspielen, ne?
Man schau ja echt überlegen, wie du spielst, wo du was playst und alles drum, das kannst du richtig sagen.
Ja. Der Witz ist, wie kommen denn da jetzt 3 Trios hin? Da unten.
I mean, you know, what ends up happening in the EU is they stopped saying, you know what, I'm done doing long-range storm surge tags. I want a box fight. It happened last season. They get up in people's faces, the more confidence is happening. It's like, we could beat these guys.
Ja.
I could hear Levin saying it.
Alle schön immer was zu essen holen, ne? Schön was zu knabbern, was zu trinken und dann
I think what it is, more importantly, I said it in the previous game, Shayo, it comes down
Was?
to elimination
Was
points.
hat er machst du YouTube? Eigentlich aktiv, dreiviertel Jahr oder ein Jahr, sowas.
Out Hens trio, kind of bolt them up a little bit. They took over first place against Resguard's trio.
Echt jetzt? Dreivierteljahr erst?
Wow.
Ja, sowas. Also ich habe es eigentlich zeitgleich angefangen mit RDW, beziehungsweise wo ich richtig RDW angefangen habe.
Denkst du, im September habe ich meine 2 Jahre.
Ja, Mann.
Oh ja.
And now he's on the chase down. Percival shaking in his boots, getting absolutely beast controlled. This is about to drop him in the box too. He's missing edits. What's going on here? All the way around, he has an infantry rifle. That's not good close range.
Chase in der Box.
Boah, die könnten ruhig wieder die einziehbaren Bodenstacheln wieder bringen oder Wandstacheln.
Boah, ich bin so ein Kampfschiene. Ja, damit kannst du mich jagen.
This is, you know, outclassed matchup right now. These guys are just working this trio, and it's good to go for these mid-game fights, especially when you're behind and try to shake things up. It's also just so risky. On the same box right now, on the walls, they're just shooting pumps at it, not even swinging their big axes, and they get in. Basically,
oh, Felix, das mir auch noch was sagen. Ich hab's nicht vergessen.
What a fight. Masterclass of a mid-game fight there from 4ZR Tayson and Nate.
It looks like Bloomy's luck has run out of that trio. They've been avoiding that engagement down to the West Coast. They were always worried that they'd be taken out. That's what happens with the Sweaty Sands teams. But it looks like Tayson's trio is taking that engagement a little bit further. We've been seeing Bloomy and Tayson's trio all tournament long, been competing for Central Zone and colliding. And right now, Tayson coming up top, who is trying to get a third FNCS championship. Now let's focus in here on Noah Riley. Reasons trio won game 1 of day 2 as well as last season. So we're seeing that they're creatures of habit. And now the changes, you're seeing the changes.
Noch 87 Leute leben noch,
They're not moving, they're not in the car, they're not hunting. They decided to become more of a, I guess one of those like little spiders that chill in those underground traps, right? They're just waiting for people to walk on by to get some tags.
They're trying to switch things up completely. Meanwhile, Shadow is basically seeing the light absolutely erased almost. Stompy right not gonna get beamed out of the air this time.
Schießt gegen die Wand, jawohl.
But not finding a way to really help out his team. There's fire low ground too. Not really landing any shots on anyone through builds either. The big Elam comes in, the Siphon.
Ich glaube, die schießen immer gegen die Wand mit der Tag, weil die Schaden macht halt an der Wand und das halt, dass du halt nur noch einmal schlagen musst oder so, ne? Du kannst schießen, ganz schön schlagen und dann bauen, was? Das ist so ein bisschen,
ja.
Wir müssen halt ein bisschen tricksen, wie das funktioniert.
Bring back iDrop into the fight here. This is actually another big fight because look at the inventory that Joe, Stompy, and Shadow have. Joe has so much shield, but at the same time, Stompy's trio has 4 peppers, and you know that's going to be a great win condition for Joe, Stompy. That is part of their game. They got a victory out by playing for height, and the zone went down to the had just met O's, and they're blowing Storm Surge, and that's why they're taking this fight. But they open up that door and get greeted by some shots.
Dangerous for Joe. This man is a
Ich muss mal ein bisschen lauter machen.
Ja, mach ich.
Golden tactical shot.
Ja, alle mich.
Talking about
Ich mach grad ein bisschen lauter.
Yes, 3 still after using one. Like, you do not want to go down if you're Joe here.
You know this has to kill the deal, right? The feeling like they
Ich zieh mein Mikrofon einfach mal ein bisschen näher.
They're so anxious. They're so HP thirsty. They want to get down there. Yeah, they want to get into that fight, but they're trying to slow down their ways. They're trying to slow down that temptation to get in there.
So, let's go there. Let's go.
People are definitely learning from yesterday. Every time a team went third party into a fight, didn't really come out with much and sometimes lost to teammates. But letting everyone just isolate and do their own thing, like us.
Magst du das auch nicht, wenn man sich aus sich selbst hört im Mikrofon?
Bitte?
Oh, der ist so schlimm.
Crazy solo performances from Endon all across the season, and now he's looking to get into this fight close and personal as well. Some teams are still on that classic game plan of invade boxes. Look for these aggressive tags, and most of them are also lower on the leaderboard. You were talking about it, Sancho. Elims are a dope way to make up, you know, some of the mistakes from yesterday, but at the same time, going for Elims, even in this spot, is so risky.
Now we're taking a look at the rest of the board here as a squeeze is being pressured by Kirachi.
Muss aber sagen, Spire ist aber echt auch ein heftiges Spot. Muss auch echt aufpassen.
Was mich auch wundert, der landet fast keiner, ne?
Nee,
Spire.
Nicht wirklich.
Ich war nur so ein Fan von der Spire. Ein Dreadout hat dann genannt.
They have an opportunity to close out that chapter here and lobby
Ich weiß nicht, ich finde Spire ist halt so. Ich finde diese Stadt einfach nicht schön.
Die ist halt da, ne?
Nee, durch diese 11 Ebenen halt, ne? Du musst halt Stockwerke hochrennen, bis du da erstmal überhaupt an dem Hauptviertel bist, ne?
Ja.
Und alles. Mats hast du auch kaum. Autos, haben wir gar nicht reden. Du kannst mit den Seilbahn halt überall hin, wo das auch gut, wenn du in die Zone musst, schlecht, wenn ein Gegner da ist, ne? Deswegen fand das war jetzt echt. Oh, jo, der wird jetzt gejagt. Und Storm Surge auch nochmal oben drauf.
So horrible. Guckst du was? Ja, wir gucken den Livestream, also wir gucken den einen über YouTube an. Dann kommt der Party Royale gar nicht. Es wird anscheinend nicht ausgestrahlt.
Sollte eigentlich. Normalerweise haben sie es angekündigt.
Ja, aber ein Kumpel hat schon geschrieben, dass es nicht funktioniert hat.
No way. Not this game, considering that you have Indreda here that's trying to take that first place spot.
Fleck ist raus. Savage lebt noch, sehr gut.
Ja, der ist gestorben, diese Gamia oder so.
Tom ist auch weg.
Ultra, der sieht auch richtig schlecht aus.
Ja. Von denen, die müssen jetzt ganz weit moven, ne?
Ja.
Jetzt wird's wieder interessant.
Ja, gut. Okay, jetzt schon 74, der heilt sich wieder, das sieht ja gut aus.
Mhm.
Yeah. Nas Thomas and Flick, they were the last team that had basically, no surge tags whatsoever, no damage dealt on the map. That lightning was just striking them over and over. It took down Flick first. Thomas went away second, and Nas could still not find any.
Savage hat halt einen sehr, sehr großen Vorsprung, weil die schon erster Platz sind, ne?
Ja.
Schon von gestern. Deswegen, die haben gute Karten. Wenn die jetzt nicht jede Runde verhauen, können sie gewinnen.
Savage's weapon of choice in this tournament has been the Stinkbow. When I VOD reviewed, they would get into a little bit of the storm
diese Bällen sind auch echt pay to win. Dafür, dass Fortnite oder Epicgames gesagt hat, dass die jetzt nicht mehr einfarbig sein können, sind sie trotzdem einfarbig.
Ja.
It's quiet now across the map too. Everyone's kind of stopped. That surge gets everyone really active, pushed into boxes. Now they're looking for position to play out the rest of the game. Savage based on Indreda and Resguard low ground. I'm not sure what happened.
Oh, and someone calls the crops on the risky.
Savage are basically taken out. Indreda had the clutch.
Interesting.
Tapix is still alive somewhere, it seems as. Hasn't gone down. Might even have the reboot cards. It's going to be tough to revive everyone right here. The zone pulls left again, so Savage, Resguard, and Indreda, it's just a pit stop on this road trip. They're not done yet.
What is done is Chapix taking out by the storm. So now first place is out. That's going to be an opportunity for Resguard and Indreda and Savage to move up. Also third place, Flick and Nas and Thomas AC we saw in the previous engagement taken out. Let's take a peek at Zone 4. It's going to be a battle at Risky Reels. And we've already seen some fireworks. We've already seen blockbuster hits already in this tournament run. I'm expecting another summer blockbuster hit here for Game 8.
Game 2 on day 2. This is very similar to what happened yesterday.
Oh
Game 2
God,
actually went to the
Zone.
orchard, and it was this trio that ended up winning the game from low ground. They popped off. Queasy was on height, so maybe Queasy, Trulex, and Jerky might have some experience being high ground this game. But Indreda, Resguard, Savage, this might not be where they drop in terms of end game. This is their home. They know exactly how to navigate the zone. They're used to the roads, used to the rivers. They take everything to their advantage and make the space.
Ja, genau hinter denen ist noch dann noch zum Trio.
Nate, Tayson, and 4ZR are looking to have some control of the game.
4ZR, Nate, and Tayson, 3 eliminations right now. They're another team that they can move up their leaderboard as well. In 4th place, one of those teams we've talked about, conservative play.
Some such ist wieder aktiviert.
Trying to get positioning, not taking too aggressive box fights.
Ist mich eigentlich aus so laut genug?
Ja, alles gut. Oh, gute Hits gegeben.
Ja, die haben halt, ne?
Ja, der Welt.
Die haben halt FPS, das ist anders von dieser Welt, ja.
So this is going to be an opportunity, a chance to kind of turn their fate and let everybody know that they still got it.
Definitely the most improved trio of the entire season. We're still looking for shots. They're not exactly in zone.
Ja, die haben sich da eine Festung gebaut. Oh, Junge.
Wenn man die einmal runterbaut, dann sind sie weg. Aber die haben sich in der Leinwand da befestigt.
Das funktioniert nicht mehr.
Bases, people are going down left and right. Exterior's taking out Alpha, having trouble, and then taken out by Royale as well. These guys are popping, but there's so many angles they have to cover.
I'm surprised. Stacy brought back his teammates. Stacy brought back that team. And wasn't he all by himself? Like, weren't they just being pressured by Kirachi?
Yeah, Excuse was a solo. I guess they brought everyone back. Yeah.
Okay, they're not.
Andretta hat wieder angenockt.
They were coming from the south
Was
side.
krieg
They
ich?
must be
Abo?
exactly where
Nein.
O'Reilly is too. Look at the zone. This is a huge rotation and builds are burning at the same time. You cannot cross that ground. No O'Reilly will have to go around. And Alex says, yeah, I guess the reboot came through in the Spire or Boney Burst.
Yes,
They'll actually end up playing out the full game. That's clutch for Msk Squeeze. Meanwhile, near the river, this is where patience is tested. Safik in Siberia haven't moved just yet. And they have the longest and toughest rotation.
Digga, diese ganz hinten, ne?
Jetzt geht's langsam ab. Also,
von Blattneu, die sind ganz hinten, ne? Von der Zone.
Ja.
Die Faustregel ist immer, kommst du zu spät, wirst du dann weggesprayt von den anderen, weil du noch in der Zone chillst.
Ja, ist echt so. Alter, die jetzt einfach so runter, einfach runterbauen. Ihr ganzes Team.
They stopped buzzsawing the lobby, and now they're flying high in the sky.
You're telling me no O'Reilly of a deal and reason.
Never heard it.
Savage geht diesmal nicht auf Heilung, okay.
That's insane.
Normalerweise machen die es immer so, die bauen auf und bauen direkt geradeaus nach oben.
Ja gut, aber die meisten ja durch schon die Taktik.
They're looking to rise higher and higher. Here is who is in their way. Trulek, Squeezy, and Jerky. They're uncomfortable right now. They're itchy. They're not used to being second height. They like being the highest in the lobby. And it looks
Das ist
like
natürlich gut für Zone. Hier Flopper.
Das ist also noch krass.
Oh, jetzt ist da.
Lorix, danke für ein Abo.
Siehst du Zone?
Ja, die Zone, Alter.
Lecker.
Ich muss sagen, das haben sie ja gut noch beibehalten von Season 9 damals. Allgemein, dass die Zone wandelt.
They're clashing again. Just look at this run, child.
Oh, Reason! I think he got hit by a bow from Trulex. They're screwing from the backside. Moving over. This is huge for Trulex. He goes up. Yep, 173 damage above. It must have been a big shot, but they're still fighting. Look at how much this costs.
Einfach runterballern, Alter. Das ist ja meine Taktik.
Two of the teammates took 100 damage, and now they have had a deja vu of day one. Can they actually end up finishing the game?
They need the resources to hold on. Day one, they couldn't hold on to.
Das liebe ich so mit anzusehen, ne?
Ja. Aber was? André, danke für den Abo. Kuss geht raus. Alter, wie viel einfach sind. Guck mal, diese Anzeigen haben, Alter.
Ja.
Die meisten haben aber auch kein Blue Life mehr.
Leute, ne?
Ja, die meisten haben auch gar kein Blue Life mehr, ne?
Ja, Jules ist auch.
Also Mr. Savage ist ja einer der wenigsten, die echt noch haben. Oh, Aura wurde.
Ich muss jetzt killen. Ja, Stormsurge sind jetzt wieder geschützt.
Boah.
Null Builds.
Der muss jetzt noch was machen.
Die müssen jetzt killen. Die müssen jetzt killen.
Ja.
Irgendwie.
Andretta Trio is getting in second place. 4ZR and Tayson in fourth place. They're making their way, but
Andretta hat einen perfekt.
Pressure coming from high.
Ja, Cheesy ist auch tot.
It's a very dangerous layer to be on. 4ZR with 3 eliminations, 12
Okay, einer hat auch.
Jetzt Savage genommen. Nein.
Sorry für Savage, aber der ist raus.
Ne, das schafft er auch nicht. Ne, ist tot.
Doch, der hat's geschafft.
Was? Lol. Ja, wenn Lack, Digga.
Was denkst du, wer gewinnt wird? Keine Ahnung, ich bin da echt noch gemischt, aber mein Kollege hat schon eine Vermutung. Was denkst du?
Meistens die in dem Highground sind. Trullex ist auch mega gut.
Ne, wer allgemein gewinnt.
Savage. Also ich hoffe für Savage. Also ich bin für Savage, also ich bin für Team Savage, ne? Also, ja. Ich meine, Thomas, Flick und Anas, die sind auch mega geil, aber ich bin als Savage mag ich schon sehr.
Ja gut, das war auch auf die Statistiken von den Spielern drauf achten. Aber Savage ist auch ein richtig gute Spieler.
Ja. Das Trio will ich.
Ja. Also könnte vielleicht der Savage werden, ansonsten auch die anderen zwei. Vielleicht.
Oh mein Gott, Junge, der Schilder so.
Floki, Deceptos, and Clement, they don't see Waze. Clement gets tagged in from the backside. Clement has to play some defense. Clement responds with the elimination.
Ja.
Trullex muss jetzt safe spielen, dann haben sie es.
Almost out of materials as well. They have to try to win this game to
Noch
redeem themselves
3
from
gegen
mistakes
3.
yesterday. They want to make up the whole leaderboard as well from what we saw before and yesterday. 2 Trullex, Squeezy, Jerky are looking for the drop down. 2 different teams, big shots below. Deceptos down. It's a huge drop. Trullex has the insurance. He has to go below. I think it might be the last one left here. One more flopper, and these guys are still in
GG.
too early. But he has the
Oh, Trullex holt den nächsten.
Hat er sehr gut gemacht. Clean.
GG.
Einfach clean gespielt.
GG, Jungs.
They have to feel good. I know they probably look at the VODs and see like, yeah, man, we had hype this many times. If we just clean up a couple of things, we just hold on, we get a couple, be a little bit more aggressive, get some elims, stomp out the low ground, we could win more games, and they just got their first victory out here in day 2.
Ich dachte mir schon, dass Trullex jetzt hier das Ding holt.
Ja, ist ja krass. Kann nichts anderes sagen. So.
Okay, all right, Queasy, Trullex, Jerky, High Ground Kings. You know, if you ever look high ground, if there's a team up there, it's them. That's it. It's gonna be them forever.
Ja.
Boys, fantastic second game on the day. And I like how the casters kind of set this up. They're looking for that redemption arc, right? They're like, yesterday, I don't even care about yesterday. Today, we're gonna show up big.
Yeah, and I think like that storyline is so true for indeed reason for deal no Riley as well, right? You got to think winning that first game, and then it looked like it was going to be their game 2's game. Taking height so early in that 5th zone, they committed so much to it, but again, it ended up being a little bit too much because Queasy, their team is so good at focusing high ground. We've seen this all through yesterday. I'm trying to think if there was a game where they haven't been on height ever in the history of them playing tournaments at this point.
Yeah, literally the whole day of yesterday, it was literally like, how's the weather down there, boys? You know, it was them up above time and time again, but they weren't able to convert it into victory royales a lot of the time, and that was the real issue. You know, we know this is how they play. You look at Queasy and Trullex historically throughout multiple Fortnite seasons, they opt to play high ground. This season, right, Jerky's been a spark for them. You saw Jerky when they were taking height, he took the Germans down, right? No O'Reilly, they'll wipe them out, you know what I'm saying? And from there, it was really great play, and they held out height, and they was able to convert into a win. More of these, and they might sneak into contention, guys. I'm calming down a bit, but it's possible. It's always possible.
Look, Fortnite's taught us, right? Anything is possible. It just depends on how you approach that end game. So let's actually talk about this end game coming out of last game, game number 1, because we saw a little bit of a heel off that was a little bit of a flub.
Yeah, there was a little bit going on here. If you remember game back to one, Thomas and Nas
Oh
on
ja,
high ground,
jetzt
very
gibt's nochmal
similar to this
Rückblende
last
an
game
den
we watched with
besten
Queasy on high
Szene
ground,
halt.
setting up the heal potential here with Reason down below on the low ground. Now, one of the things we want to keep an eye out is, look, Thomas HC's just taken a tick to zone right here. If you notice, his HP has gone down to 90 at this point, right? No longer at 100. He has the medkit in his inventory. This means he is able to actually use the medkit to stay alive a little bit longer in the zone. So notice he keeps going forward, but this is where a fatal mistake comes out, right? Next thing, you notice again.
Oh Mann, ey, wie konnten die das verlieren? Wie konnten die das verlieren, ey?
Remaining only. So this is also why Anas has to drop down, because he has absolutely zero here. So he uses those 2 builds right here, and notice the positioning. He's at the back rather than being at the front here. Will this allow Reason on low ground not to be able to see him? But the issue is he's too close to the edge of the zone down at the bottom here, which means when he starts popping his medkit, I mean, we all saw how unfortunately it ended up going for him. So now moving down to Reason's perspective on low ground, this is a thing of beauty. This is what we love to see from a fighter like this. He gets an ass dropped into his box and hits a huge shot. But this edit that he's made on the right-hand side here is beautiful, because he has a right-hand peek on Anas who is on the other side, and Anas can't see him at all. And this manages to pick up a beautiful shot for him. And this, look, 5 HP and the elimination goes through. And like we said, playing on high ground with the medkit too far to the back with not enough time, and unfortunately
Und medkit eine Sekunde verhauen, Digga.
But let's see how that last game also kind of transitioned onto these standings.
Gut-wrenching finish there, Reese. Looking at the standings though, still on top of the board, Refsguard and Mr. Savage, we got to watch them a bit, and they do look like, you know, they're having a decent day, but nothing yet that is comparable to what they did yesterday. The key thing to note here, though, is Queasy True.
Schreibt mal gerade in den Chat, Jungs, was denkt ihr? Wer wird gewinnen? Ich hoffe für Savage, Intruder und Refguard. Die sind die besten.
They are closing that gap. They are looking to try and become FNCS champions at the end of today.
Yeah, and it's looking like it could be not only them in the running, though, because Refsguard and Dress Savage, huge game for them. 4ZR, Taste and Nate, too. Look at the difference between first all the way down till third, and you can't count out Hen, Janice, Chapix, too. Look at how close all of these players are in the top 4 with 4 games remaining. And I must say, this is going to be an exciting 4 games going forward. Any of these teams right now are completely in the running.
Trio.
This is only game 2.
Kopf
You
an
guys
Kopf,
know that I stress. I feel the emotions. Don't do this to me. I mean, I'm down. Like, you know what? Let's keep making this a close competition.
Ja, Felix, du gewinnst natürlich.
Once again, man, Queasy and his trio, I don't understand why we're just allowing them to be out there. Just stop them from getting high ground. They're going to close out games if you let this happen. But again, there's all these other trios, man. It's literally like there's a feeding frenzy on EU right now, and it's just like whoever finds that window to attack, they're gonna close it out. But okay, I know, Zeke, I know it's game time.
Felix, du wahrscheinlich
This is game number
Zymon
3 on the day, aka 9 of the series. Let's get into all the action.
Ich höre gerade nicht mehr.
In EU right now, it's all about the win, Sancho, and it looks like Trulex, Queasy, Jerky, they're doing it the best.
You gotta think about it. Aussie Antics on the NAE's broadcast, it says, you know, high ground gets games, low ground wins tournaments, but so far, Queasy, Trulex, and Jerky are flipping that table on the other side, and they're looking really solid here in day 2. As I mentioned, they had high all the time, and they almost were able to walk away with
Runde 3 für heute.
Most likely decide, you know, we guys just gotta cheer up the defense. We have to make sure the backside is being protected, because that's all the time they have been happening, is they would lose it on the high ground retake coming from a flank with just normal builds, and that's what's so fantastic about this meta, is that you're able to kind of
Digga, also wer da unten landet, Digga, was ist da außer Pilze? Junge! Imagine, er landet einfach da. Er mag einfach keine Waffe haben, er mag einfach die Pilze haben. Geil, Trulex. Digga, da ist ein Haus. Ich würde erstmal am Haus landen, mir erstmal eine Waffe holen.
Hörst du mich wieder?
Ja, ich wieder. Ah, da bist du. Felix ist auch schon zu mir hingegangen. Fragt schon so.
Ja, einer sagt auch schon, dass der Mr. Savage das Trio gewinnt.
Hoffe ich. Den Savage-Fan, das wäre natürlich Menge höher. Refguard ist einmal schon genockt unter der Brücke, oh mein Gott.
Mies, einfach mies.
Ich weiß nicht, ob die noch hier die Karte holen können.
The stream match might be tough to find. For Hotties Trio, they're actually
Wo warst
looking
du eigentlich
younger.
gerade?
They understand how far it's gonna actually crawl.
Wo warst du denn eigentlich gerade?
Meanwhile, another Trio goes
Ich war
down on
anscheinend
the other side of
gestimmt.
the map. I'd have to imagine that's either
So.
Retail Row or Craggy Cliffs. There's so many big fights going down in Retail between two ex-teammates as well. It's so, I would say, sad to watch because you want to make sure everyone here is having a good day
So,
overall. I believe that's
3.
Wolfie's fighting it out, or Slender actually fighting it out with
Aber beide
Nico on that
geguckt
side,
hast du,
but
ne?
as we look at Craggy, it might
Aber
be a
beide
two-man
geguckt hast du,
operation
ne?
for this
Ja,
trio,
ja.
although they're working really
Okay.
well to get to endgame. There's always
War,
this
also
clutch,
mein
clutch,
Mikrofon
clutch.
war anscheinend
Savage tried to
gestimmt,
do it
keine
in the
Ahnung
games
wie und
yesterday.
wo,
We had
keine Ahnung.
Andretta in that last game survive as this trio went down and get all the placement towards the very end and at least one more moving zone. They're gonna have to clutch again as a duo this time, starting off early.
I think the theme of day 2, Shayo, is patience. Patience is showing what patience could work out to, being consistent, just trying to work their way in, net a couple points here, 20, 30 points right now. They're averaging 25.88 points here, so they're doing really solid, keeping up the pace. And we have to say, will Noah Riley, as you see on the bottom right of your screen, will that patience hold on? It's gonna be tested.
Ja, so ist sehr interessant. Also, Stevie's Dongle sind aber wirklich noch welche gelandet, Digga. Siehst du oben? Die können sich noch Slama holen, wenn sie gucken. Und ein Weeping. Ich glaube, da rennen die aus Holy Hitches lang. Denke ich.
Boah, die da armen Jungs, was die so geholt, weil der ist einfach ein Lama und die sehen es nicht. Das beziehungsweise. Kannst du auch nicht sehen.
So, wir lassen den Refguard ist einfach gerade raus, ne? Schon. Meine ist der Ori aus der Luft an, ne? Ah, es gibt nichts Ärgerliches, Digga, wenn ich schon. Ne? Oh, der, das ist so ekelhaft.
Das ist mega widerlich.
Used to be up top near first. Yeah, absolutely. Vortex Knight. I don't see Hikers just yet. That might have been the cost of the fight. Are gonna be here, surviving for this game and inhibiting Chapixen and Janice from getting any points.
The mental of our defending FNCS champions will be tested. They've had lost only one engagement yesterday, and every time they walked out of it, they got 2 victory royales with double-digit eliminations. The other times, they ran into Vidil. Vidil had a vendetta. Last season, Vidil's trio got taken out by
Und einfach fast sein Mate wieder runter.
$100,000 box fight. I will never forget that call. That was an intense situation. And that's what it all came down to last season. We're getting closer and closer to the final game here out of the 12. This is just the halfway point here in day
Diese
2.
Spitzhacke, Digga. Oder? Also, die kann man sich doch nicht freilich anziehen, also bitte. Guck dir das Ding mal an. Wenigstens bin ich mal umgedreht, ne? Dass die Seite nicht nach unten guckt, sondern nach oben, das wäre aber viel schöner. Nein. So richtig abstoßen, so nach unten, ja. Junge, also wer sich die Spitze gekauft hat, Digga, schlimm. Schande.
In terms of High Chris and Vortex and Knight being in 30th and being inside an endgame, you might not be thinking totally of the comeback. You might be thinking about, you know, taking more risks.
Steht so ein bisschen Aufwärmphase und gleich geht's wieder ab.
Doing the most consistent and expected plays. It's gonna be dangerous for everyone else.
Ja.
This game might be a lot more trickier to
Wenn man einfach zu faul ist, um mal kurz 5 Schritte zu machen. Einfach Harpune. Brauchst du vielleicht fürs Endgame, aber nee.
Ja, moin. Ey, Ding, ich hab ja voll was zum Essen bestellt, ne?
Ja.
Jetzt habe ich einen 10-Euro-Gutschein gewonnen. Geil, ne?
Boah, das ist auch so schlau. 2 gegen Looten, der eine lootet noch für den anderen mit und der andere geht dann nur mal angeln.
Ja.
Das ist auch. Das ist Team. Ja, das ist ein perfektes Trio.
So, jetzt ist er voll krass so. Aber die nehmen auch jedes Mal, jede Metz mit. Das ist echt so.
Ja, klar. Brauchen die.
Weil die looten auch an den Stellen, wo du für dich denkst, brauchst du nicht. Aber der Kollege scheint dann da anscheinend ja voll zu sein jetzt mit dem Metall. Der hat nur nämlich Handteile gebraucht.
They're endgame mannequins. They don't do anything when they're alive. They don't get any
elims. Ein bisschen lauter.
They survive. Maybe getting 1, 2, or 4 elims a game. The thing, though, I feel like you know, this might be a situation where mannequins come to life. Last game, 9 eliminations, 4th place. They're definitely switching things up. Their win condition
Boah,
today,
Skablaub haben
eliminations.
3
They're playing
BGs
the right type of Fortnite game.
geschmeckt.
They need to
Ja,
play the
brauchst du
other
eigentlich auch
side
nicht.
of it though and actually have an impact in their zones and lobby. And Nos is by himself too walking around right now. But yeah, Hiriachi needs elims. They're doing it off the start of the day. Need to make sure they keep it up.
Mannequins Coming Alive is totally an 80s movie reference right then and there. And now we have no O'Reilly Reason and Vadil. It's so interesting though. I thought this trio would be able to push out to coast. I thought they would go back into being more aggressive.
Ja, wir bauen
being
dann
more
interessante
that
Taktik.
ruthless
Minis,
trio,
Pump,
you know, taking out those legions
dann
of
die
players, but
Pepperonis,
I don't
dann
know who
Biggie
Ja,
und dann die Eier.
I'll
Ja, mehr brauchen die eigentlich nicht.
I'll tell you what, I was talking about
Yeah.
emotions before, right? These guys
Yes.
feel really good and they're happy when they're pushing teams and it works out. When that doesn't happen, you start to get negative emotions associated with that push, right? Now
Yes.
today, they're playing patience and they're getting points. You get
Right.
points, you're happy. They're
Yeah.
just riding those emotions, and now
Yeah.
the patience is coming naturally. So very emotional team. What they're doing is making them very, very happy. They know it's working. They're getting points. They're gonna keep doing it.
They're going to the gym, you know, this is like their second week. They're seeing the abs kind of pop out a little bit. They're like, okay,
Yeah.
maybe I'll stick with this new lifestyle. And at the same time, I'll stick with this diet. But these guys, they love to eat. And right now they're just holding on, you know, they're just, hey, they're calorie deficient. They're making sure they're leaning out because when they get lean, they are dangerous and they are mean.
Dings, bei dir hatte ich schon einer gefragt, ob Dings wegen der neuen
Other side of it, we're
Season-Stream.
watching it
Also,
ways
ja, das,
actually in the
hab ich
distance.
schon.
They also like fighting a lot, but the patience sometimes comes at an
Also ich bin nicht da, ich bin in Schule.
Sometimes too patient
Also ich
when they
würd
should be
streamen.
aggressive.
Ausgerechnet
They're
Ja,
still learning
also ich würde die
that
neue
type of
Season auf
game,
jeden Fall
and they're
streamen.
actually very similar, I would say, to
Ja, ich
Vadil
nicht,
and
leider.
O'Reilly and
Vor allem,
Reese
ich
when
hab,
it comes to, you know,
ich hab die ganze Zeit
coaching and
Homeoffice, ne? Aber dann,
But
wenn
also,
neue
kind of the same
Season ist,
spot,
dann
maybe
muss ich
also
natürlich in die
bring it
Schule
up
und dann habe ich
7th
natürlich
place,
wieder auch 8 Stunden, ne?
rolling into,
Ja.
they're looking
Aber
really
auch
good
nur an
throughout
dem
the
Tag,
day.
ne? In den
The
restlichen Tagen habe ich weniger Stunden, aber
completely,
dann am
but,
Dienstag, da
you know,
muss,
they're very consistent at just making games.
dann
Two-thirds
gönn's
back-to-back
mir echt
from
diese 8 Stunden,
Evs,
ne?
Lubak and Waze rolling through actually gets them all the way
Das
into the
ist
top
so
10. They can get
asozial,
another
Alter.
third.
Also ich werde
I
halt
mean, lucky number 3 for
pünktlich
this year. They're looking
streamen,
real good. Meanwhile,
auch beim
408,
Update schon.
Tayson, I mean, there's so much to talk about with
Ja.
these guys. Top 3 right now.
Also werde ich auch über den
Lots of
PC
doubts
streamen.
in the preseason,
So.
lots of doubts while we were watching them.
Da kann auch jeder mit dabei sein.
And once again, they're
Ja,
surviving.
dann können wir
Now their win
gucken, okay,
conditions
was
kind of written
Neues,
down,
was
and we talked about it
dazugekommen
last
ist.
game a little bit as well.
Megamall kommt
Also for
bestimmt
the
wieder
tournament.
zurück.
They need to start owning these games,
Ja, so
making
sieht's
it their
aus.
own. What are the things we've been talking about in the last few games? We said Trulix a lot.
Ja.
We said
Also,
Savage. We're talking about
laut
Henry. Feels like
Informationen
once
soll
again,
Megamall
4ZR,
wieder
Tayson, and
rauskommen.
Nate are paint on the wall. Definitely there, but they're not the talk of the town so far. They need to
Ah,
be
ich würde
that
es feiern,
way.
wenn
They need to
Megamall
make these
wiederkommt.
flashy plays if they
Ja.
want to win this tournament.
They can do it. 22 elims in the heat stage.
Yeah.
It's in there. It's in there. It's in there. Mappy, Red Rush, Asterios, not kind of having the same success that they had in the previous day. Slowly slipping out of the top 3. And right now coming in 8th, Shio. It's just right now their style is about playing center. So they're coming out of the Cami split. Now Andreas, the Savage, and Rescard now back and full.
Oh, Refcard hat der hat überlebt, Digga.
Back to
nice.
teammate, so that's looking good. It's slowing down though, so they may not have strong
Sehr
weapons, or
gut.
they may not have all the mats and resources. So expect this trio to be a little bit more aggressive.
Ai, ai, ai,
Orion
oh.
is now sending in the Sting Post to open up their rotation to slow down the peak. And so what you gotta do, man, you gotta send in those Stink Bows. just
Sowas
open
regt
up
mich
a
halt
little
auf,
bit,
dass die
just make the signal
dass
for
der
Rescard
Stinkbogen
to
keine
send
vollen
rotate-
Radius hat, ne?
rotate through to Lazy Lake, which has
Sondern
been a
nur
battle
halbe
for
Kachel.
them
Ja, aber
in this
trotzdem,
tournament.
die ist einfach
These guys
okay.
have to have extra health or something. They survived so many crazy situations. Refs started going down off spawn. They have to travel to get the reboot. They do it in enough time and then have a chance to
Wenn
actually
du so
have
denkst,
some
dass die
type of loadout. You're
5er-Ticks
right,
macht,
Sancho, it's
dann
kind of
kriegst
weak,
du halt
but what
dauerhaft
does this
damit
mean
Schaden,
for
ist halt
Refsguard being rebooted?
anders.
This trio allowed to play this game.
Ist der Savage ist auch noch dabei und
Them
sein
alive,
Team ist, ist echt
this
auch gut.
mean Queasy, Trulex, and Jerky, they have a tough
Nur
Komm,
so
wir machen
Creasy.
jetzt gerade
taking
übelst.
hold of this game. They're on screen right now too. This is perfect. You know, they're gonna have a tough time kind of taking over first if that team's alive. Same thing for 4ZR, Nate, and Tayson. They'll have a tough time if Savage is alive. It might even look like Trulex, Queasy, and Jerky might not stay this way the entire game. Snazy's here. This is Southside and Alex's home. It's been invaded by multiple teams, and now they're looking to just fight one off for the moment. I'm not sure how far this fight will go, but you never know right now. These things are still being thrown in.
Oh,
This is a wrestling match that's getting sweaty and is getting dirty right now between the old guard and the new. This Trulix's trio is a newly formed right now. Trulix, of course, playing last season with Pink and Stormy, or I believe it was Stompy. They had a fantastic run. Trulix arming that RPG. Jerky and Queasy, of course, forming with their respective trios here. Queasy playing with Rasco and Paco. And wow, I mean, for them to be able to hold on right now, look at this. There's a 3-trio kind of standoff right now with Fast Roxy, Ardent, and Pizza coming from Misty. And then you have this team from Camp Cod. You know, Snaze's trio, they're going to want this fight because they're low on storm surge. If you come from Camp Cod, you know this is your opportunity to get those tags in.
Ja. Ist aber nicht so schlimm.
He's still finding a way in these bases with 2 teams around him. Shoot off on another way far away on a hill. That's crazy. That's huge for the tags as well. And man, I wish Ardent, Pizza, and Fast Roki had a theme song. It feels like every time there's a third party coming through, these guys roll in with a jingle and they're the ones to cause chaos every single time, whether it's at Lazy Lake, now it's down below at Camp Cod. I always have some type of song playing in my head when I see Fast Roki on screen.
Also nach Lazy würde ich jetzt eigentlich nicht gehen, aber in meiner Heimat.
Lazy ist neu tilted.
Lazy Lake ist meine Stadt.
Lazy Lake is where they like to push on through. So they're seeing some opportunities to get some tags here on the storm line edge.
Muss aber zugeben, Lazy mag ich einfach gar nicht. Lazy Lake, der Ort, finde ich, ja, ist wie Tim Haus. Mochte ich auch damals nicht.
Also wenn die alte Map noch da wäre, ich hätte mein Mainspawn war damals immer Haunted Hills.
Ja, Haunted.
Now this engagement is opening up just a little bit more. Just like Pistachio Nut just opens up a little bit more. Before you know it, they're going to be able to gobble that up and get some confirmation and some 2 Elim points.
Yeah, Fast Roki down, the third party trio not going to be able to operate today. For this game, the one trio to watch has to be Red Rushes. They ended up coming second all the way on low ground, played it really well. They're kind of the kings of navigating Lazy Lake, but what it looks like right now is they're actually under Surge. This is going to be a very crucial pump shot map. He has to hit. Surge actually goes away.
Oh,
15 HP, ja.
At the last second, Surge stopped 70 players. Mappy overstepped the trio that clutched out this zone yesterday. It's going to be 1 man down. Mappy is also the most consistent in terms of surviving and being able to support his teammates too. He's not going to be there. This is looking tough on day number 2 for
Aber ein bisschen am Mappy.
That was a big refresher in
Menschen, wie heißt du? Mappy.
Knowing that they had a reboot teammate, now they could take his loot, Mappy's loot, and be able to move on through right now. That was always a question.
Mich gerade ein bisschen stört.
You're gonna have to hit your tags. You're gonna have to find people in the rotations, because if not, Storm Surge will be knocking on your door to collect that build.
Bei mir sind die Stream-Elements immer noch nicht drin, ne?
Kann ich sagen, weil der ist so auf deinem Kanal. Der muss das alles regeln.
Kannst gucken, kannst auch gucken.
Gucken wir später mal.
Ja.
They might be looking to play a little bit more mid. They're kind of trying to take it over from Red Rush, it looks like right now. And they know they're, at a man advantage, 3 versus 2, but no. They're going to sit up, they're going to build up. They know that low ground might be a little bit tough. Actually still trying to hunt down Red Rush and Exterios. Not going to find it just yet. But yeah, for this zone, they're going to have to switch up their playstyle. They're going to be aliens in terms of how they're playing. Very used, though, to being height. They're going to be in situations, not bad players in other spots. And there it is, a Red Rush elimination comes in. Gonna have so many more materials as well to work with. Once again, though, it will be a very different game plan we see this game.
The game plan will all determine where zone 4
Aber die haben noch alle denselben Skin,
is
ne?
really close to them. They could work through these kind of natural builds, the ones that are set and find their way in. Now we're looking at Tayson, Nate, and 4ZR, who's made their way in from sweaty stands here on a very
warum in weiß überhaupt?
That Misty Meadows trios have already rotated through. We already saw Pizza way down there, and it pushes south. So Andrea's trio has to work to do a couple trios along their way. But Tayson, 4ZR, and Nate don't have to do any work, but Shio, look at how much of the
Weißt du, was mich auch verwirrt? Vor allem meistens baust du ja nur mit Stein. Warum machst du deinen Skin nicht irgendwie braun oder Kaminrot, weißt du?
Ja, ist echt so.
Ist so. Bringt dir doch viel mehr oder einen grünen Skin, wenn du auf der Wiese läufst. Okay.
Ja, gut, ne?
Ja, oder grün.
Es ist halt immer noch erstaunlich, dass Fortnite gesagt hat, dass die Helden nicht mehr einfarbig gemacht werden können. Und dennoch sind sie es.
Not a flaw or a medkit, it's fine. But yeah, for a lot of trios, you have to be very careful at how much damage they're taking getting to the zone.
Ja, so
is absolutely correct.
Naja, also ich muss sagen, Fortnite widerspricht sich ja mit dem, was naja.
And then every single opening there is
hellgrau und weiß ist fast identisch.
No terrain in the way.
So that will say, Queasy's trio, known to take height If they could take it here in this in-game, that is a really strong probability for them to walk away with the victory royale and catch up to Resguard and Dreda and Savage.
That's all it is right now. People trying to catch up to Savage, but Savage has to go down alongside Andretta and Resguard for that to happen. No O'Reilly, Vidil, and Reason. Mid-ground this time, I don't think Reason wants to get headshot, bow sniped again. They're looking to play defense and make sure all three are alive. They're so good when they're a trio. Looking at the waterfalls on the right, they're on a higher layer. It's tough for them to do their classic box-to-box beam, but they'll find a way. Bad Sniper on the receiving end. They're going to be really cornered down here.
Das war jetzt ganz gut, hätte ich sie gepusht.
They were born in Lazy Lake, and right now they're getting molded by Noah Riley, Vidil, and Reason.
Yeah, it looks like all the tourists from Lazy Lake are coming in and kind of changing the neighborhood that they're known to. You know, people like, the neighborhood was never the same. Everything's different now. I wish it was back in the old days.
Aber es getraut sich auch keiner hier irgendjemand runterzubauen.
Everything's been infiltrated. All the people that are moving on through in ways right now. 22 below has some work to do to be able to
spielen so, wie sie halt darauf trainiert sind zu spielen.
Being in the middle of the packet in game, just getting there, but barely one above, and so many people have to go down. 14, 13 people now, and now they're dipping into the rest of the hard mats. They're all
Aber Fortnite könnte echt langsam, oder Epicgames könnte das Spiel Fortnite zu Bockmeister umnennen.
Oder einfach mal ein Upgrade geben, oder?
Ja,
komplett neue Sachen, ne?
Nicht Fortnite, sondern Fortnite.
Ich rede nicht von so verdammten Primal-Waffen, die dir den Spaß in diesem Game verdirben.
Ja, ist echt so.
Primal-Waffen sind das Schlimmste, was... Also, Roboter, ja, waren schon damals extrem schlimm, aber die Primal-Waffen, das toppt ja anderes Level, ja.
Ja, moin, die Roboterwaffen. Oder die Roboter, die waren anders lustig. Ich habe damit mal ein Kill, oder ein Kill, ein Sieg geholt.
Die waren halt eben ein bisschen innovativ, aber... diese Primal-Waffen, oh mein Gott. Ich kann mich den ganzen Tag immer nur drüber aufregen. Unpräzise. Also,
mal gucken, wie sich das entwickelt.
Just an alpha ramp right out to Bloomies Trio. I've been there before. I know what it feels like to be ramped up to. It's a scary sight, especially when you have Noah and the deal going right up to your door.
Da müsste man langsam eine Linie bekommen.
In a second when we went back to Bloomy, but I was gonna say they have had height in other games. Their weakness is literally god ramps. There's been multiple games. I think it was True Lex who god ramped them yesterday. They're on height. They get bow sniped or something. This time, Reason no Riley of a deal. I think they understood height wasn't being that active.
Bauen hier ein Palast auf, das glaubst du nicht.
A little bit new to looking at how to actually play it, and boom, they're up there. It looks good. 4-0 Nate and Taysom though. Once again, lost at sea. This is just so bad. The only true all the way on the backside too. What a horrible situation for them to be in so far. So close to the top of the leaderboard too. Can't go down here. Nate trying to catch it up. 6 HP. Looks like it's the 9th zone for him right now, but the moving zone's
Nate wird gerade übelst bombardiert, Digga.
He's shooting at him. I count at least 15 ARs. Somehow he still finds a little bit of levity in the situation, a little bit of peace. He'll survive for a bit, but he's on borrowed time.
Nate is gonna have to turn into a Houdini to survive that max pull. He's gonna have to go through the entire lobby. We'll keep an eye on the feed, but now all eyes are going back to our first place team of Resguard, Dreda, and Savage. Zone thankfully pulls their way. Nate gets taken out by Jerky there, so that run is over. The Magician could not get out of that trap. Now, Resguard, Dreda, Savage, just focus in here. Let's tell you the gravity of the situation here. Throughout the entire time, they've been getting as many placements here, getting just enough elims just to be able to stay ahead of the push from Queasy, to stay ahead from Hen and Tayson. Now Tayson's gone. Now Hen is gone. They just have to avoid Queasy here. And look at how much damage Noah Riley and the deal and Reason are. Over 1,000. Now this is where they're traditionally are in the early game, but now they're doing it at the end game.
And this is one of the easiest zones to maintain height. So many top buildings, so many old builds to connect to. No Riley, Vidil, and Reason have a huge tarp they can operate off of. No one should be able to really take it down. They could get stuck on from the back in these earlier zones. If they make it to zone 8, I feel like they can't be stopped. Meanwhile, though, on low, Stormy right above Savage. Snazy also moving in. Floki rolling through. 4-0 gone and Hen is gone. That's third and fourth place down. There's a
Aua.
lot of room to move up.
Mies erwischt. Mies
Second
erwischt.
place is on a lifeline right now. One last teammate left alive. Height is just punishing everyone. Trulex, you have to stay alive for this placement, my friend. Your tournament run might be at stake over
Aber so
here.
ein Problem, du hast echt keine Zeit, die Leute zu
He's
halten.
looking to see what he does next. Zone actually does pull away. It's all of the Trulex to hold on to spot number 2 right now. He's not gonna be able to get the revive. Meanwhile, Vidil's still popping all the way up top on Height. Joe Shadow moving down below. Refsguard and Savage is still ahead of Zone.
Immer 15 Tritte zum Leben. Das ist einfach emotionell. Ja, das ist brutal.
Ja.
Aber es ist irgendwie auch aufregend und spannend zu gucken, wie die gegeneinander spielen. Das ist ja gerade der Fall.
Ah, manchmal würde ich mir einfach wünschen, so wäre auch normales Gameplay. Also normales Solo oder sowas. Ne?
Ja, moin.
Ich lebe nur noch 20 Leute ab zweiten Sturm oder sowas. Ne?
Ja, aber
Ich weiß, es ist extrem so anstrengend irgendwann, aber
das wäre viel zu anstrengend.
ich würde es aber feiern.
Komm
Ich glaube, die meisten auch.
Da komme ich mit Botlobbys.
Hast du beengten Platz und musst so, ne?
Ja.
Geil.
Aber ist gut, die Leute können hier.
Und Savage steht auch noch durch. In so einem Trio. Geil. Ja, die spielen noch safe. Die wollen noch den Sieg haben.
Alter, solche Sprayer.
Klar, Triple Power, ne?
Klar.
Oh.
Ja, der liegt schon.
Musst du aufpassen, Digga. Ein Edit,
Mr. Savage. Der ist tot. Schade.
Nein, Savage. Ja, die gönnen sich einen Highground. Junge. Odini.
Ja.
O'Reilly are the dogs are sending down there to get some big bites on the low ground. They're going up for some air and they're diving back into the mess that's on this low ground opportunity here.
Ne, die verteidigen ja Highground.
Stompy gets bopped. Here we go.
Die wollen's wissen.
It's a top 4 situation and I'm just taking a look.
Und jetzt noch schnell den Sieg holen.
Still holding on. This is going to be a big game for them, but if Noah Riley, Badil, and Reason could get some eliminations and the victory royale, they're going to be able to get into that top 3.
Sehr schön.
Slow burning game going to max.
Die sind wieder gesnackt.
All still alive. 3 different teams left, 8 players, and they have 3. A majority of the pie so far. They're looking to drop down in just a bit, but there's a big retake coming through. Is that Fury randomly going for height? You can't do this against the best aggro team. They're looking to take him down, but no. Vidil.
Sehr gut, Refsguard wollte noch ran.
Oh, Alter.
Der Junge. Digga, wer jetzt im Fallstand verreckt. Oh mein Gott. Oh, ein Dreader gegen Dings, ein Dreader und Refguard gegen den.
Ja.
Oh.
Refsguard has the last tick of the zone. Reason
Nee.
right now too. He's going straight for that drop down.
Tot.
It's not gonna be
Leider.
enough.
Ah, aber zweiter Platz. Geil.
Ist immerhin der
Zweiter
dritte.
Platz, sehr gut, GG.
Textbook game. That was absolutely crazy to watch.
Was that 10 elims, 17 total for that trio? Was that and the victory royale? I thought that was going to be a top 3. They're going to the moon. They're
GG.
going to the moon.
Jawohl.
No, they're
Yeah.
going to a different galaxy. They're going to
Digga.
we don't know where they're going, man. Yo, see, Levin Reese, give us an astronomical chart. Where's this trio going, real man? Show me the desk. Show me the desk.
Bro, we're full warp, dude. We're going to a different galaxy, a different time zone, a different timeline. It is just not even in the same realm any longer. And by the way, boys, Vidil's trio, that's a new elimination record. That's right. We're seeing action like you would not believe, Reese and Levin. I just cannot understand how these games just don't stop. It is just constant action.
Ist einfach Action pur, ne?
Ja, aber so ist auch gefühlt jede Runde. Aber die war, also, war richtig gut.
Like, this was an incredible game from these guys. Record-breaking actually for FNCS Finals overall. 17 eliminations, the most amount of points in history so far. This is something that we do not see often. And we've called this yesterday and today, saying that these guys are going to pop off with a 10, 15, 20 elimination game. Insane.
Bin mal gerade auf die Tabelle gespannt.
The FNCS Championship going into that final game and things didn't go their way.
Ich meine, zweiter Platz mit von Savage, ja, ist schon stabil wieder.
Ja, da bin ich aber gespannt, ob sie es bis heute Abend schaffen.
And it's a very different game, right? When you can dethrone that #1 team going into the game, I mean, without Hen, Janice, and Chapix, I feel like everyone else just had breathing room, right? They were just allowed to operate without this like pressure, Levin.
Yeah, 100% right. Hen, Janice, and Chapix went down early, and we'll get to show it to you, right? Because the key thing for this team was the fact that coming into today, right, or coming into yesterday, people were scared about this team here, High Chris Vortex, who are landing on them, and people said, if you guys can't sort of get rid of them off spawn, there's going to be big problems. But you'll see here, off spawn, moments before disaster, screenshot this, right? We all know this feeling. You're gliding in, you see your enemy has picked up a weapon, and you're still gliding in. There's no hope for you there, right? And although Chapix eventually is able to pick up a weapon, at that point you could argue it's almost too late, because you can see High Chris there is able to go and do significant damage to his teammates. Similar thing here for Janice. Janice here, he lands his he thinks to the chest, oh, I'm fine and dandy. No, you have Vortex here, he has a primal shotgun, and he gets Janice down to 31 HP. What can Janice do at that point? He's so low that it's just going to be incredibly difficult for him. And the big thing is like, this was the question we all had. Off spawn, what happens for this trio, right? Yesterday they were able to avoid it a lot of the time, but if they're just 50-50, we know what Fortnite is sometimes. Fortnite, sometimes you don't get the weapons you need.
Oh mein Gott.
If this continues to happen, they're not going to be able to back to back.
Ja gut, da kannst du eigentlich auch nichts mehr warten, wenn du nur einen Bogen hast.
Kannst auch nicht.
Yesterday, so this could be their one today, and if it's only one, that's fine. But they can't keep doing this at all. They can't keep losing the games off spawn like this. And that is, like you said, the issue of the 50-50 play early on. You can see Hen eventually being...
Das ist gerade ordentlich Minus für die, das ist echt jetzt ordentlich Minus.
You can see that they have actually ended up moving down the leaderboard down until 7th. That's where they are right now. So they're going to have to play a little bit of a catch-up game coming up forward. But some of these teams...
Junge, halten die vor. Jo, 20 Punkte Vorsprung, ja. Wild.
Every single game we see some ridiculous stuff happen, and yet they remain first place every single time. Phenomenal stuff for them, but look...
Ja, Trulex hört auf, ja. Tasen, klar, dass er immer top ist.
Weiß immer nicht, die Jobsbelohnung bekommt. Ja, die Jobsbelohnung habe ich zumindest mal bekommen. Du musst dein Epicgames Konto mit Twitch verbinden und bei einem Streamer vorbeischauen, der die Drops aktiviert hat. Zum Beispiel Image GG, der macht das, musst eine Viertel oder eine halbe Stunde lang gucken. Wenn du das gemacht hast, bekommst du die Belohnung.
Oh, Standplay macht auch.
Und er
Standplay, Amar macht auch.
Amar auch?
Amar auch, ja.
Habe ich Amar geschaut. Ah, okay. Da müsstest du eigentlich die Sachen bekommen haben, keine Ahnung. Dann standen wir dann Fortnite neu.
Oder bei Twitch müsste noch irgendwo ein Button stehen für Drops einlösen.
Stimmt, ja. Also ich musste was einlösen. Auf jetzt einlösen.
Ja, dann kommst du auf so eine Seite und musst du das halt aktivieren.
Genau.
Also wie einlösen.
Genau.
Dann kriegst du es.
Guck nochmal bei Twitch, wenn du irgendwas stehen willst mit einlösen, dann löse ein.
Zur Not einfach irgendeine Anleitung schauen. Davon gibt es ein paar auf YouTube.
Genau.
In just a little bit. I know, but listen, you're not gonna miss a single thing. We're gonna start game number 4, aka game number 10 across the whole competition.
Stimmt, es kommt Game Nummer 10.
So you're not gonna miss a single thing. When that timer hits 0, Shaw Wager, Sun to us, they'll be there. They'll pick it up and we'll keep the ball rolling. So go quickly, find water, come back, and we'll keep this going.
Ja, nehmen wir kurz Pause.
In Europe. See you guys in just a second.
So Jungs, 5 Minuten Pipi-Pause, let's go.
Genau, 5 Minuten ist Pause.
Hol dich noch was zu essen, zu trinken, geht auf Klo. Und in 5 Minuten gibt's hier wieder richtig Action her. Aber ich muss ehrlich sagen, Refguard auch so in der Luft geschreddert, der.
Ja, also ist krass bis jetzt. Bei dem hat es immer noch nicht funktioniert. Ich stand auch irgendwie links. Hast du dann überhaupt ein Epicgames Konto verknüpft oder sowas? Vielleicht liegt es so daran. Guck dir
oder musst kurz oder hilft die Verbindung trennen und nochmal neu machen. Also anmelden.
Ja, genau. Weil das habe ich auch vorhin gemacht, die Verbindung nochmal stark erneuert.
Ist natürlich verlassen, ne? Drops sind nur aktiviert, solange der Dings läuft, FNCS.
Richtig.
Ist FNCS vorbei, sind die Drops weg.
Genau. Und die gibt's dann halt auch nicht mehr.
Mhm.
Uff.
Das habe ich auch mal gerade auf Klo, ne?
Ja, alles cool.
So. So. So, gleich geht's los mit Runde 10.
Mhm. 1 Minute 15 noch.
Na, Hälfte haben sie dann. Es gibt jetzt wahrscheinlich auch wieder 7 Games. Und dann Schluss. Oh, Schiller in der Tür.
Oh, zu dritt auf einen.
Das habe ich verloren.
Das war immer mies, zu dritt auf einen.
Mhm. Kannst auch aufgeben. Bist nur so gut wie dein Team.
Na gut, aber man sieht auch, dass die kein Deathmatch spielen. Springen und so ist nicht dann ihre Stärke.
Mhm. Und let's go. Pause vorbei.
Welcome back to the
Nächste
European
Runde.
FNCS Finals. It's day number
Ach
2
lol, ich
on
dachte, das
game
wäre
number
irgend so ein
10
Replay
of
gewesen. Das ist
12,
schon
and our previous
Runde 10.
FNCS champions on your screen right now, and Janice Chapix finally allowed to play this game. They've been contesting off spawn 24/7, all 10 games. They've lost 2 so far. The last one we just watched, but this time, if you're watching during the break, that fight ended in what, 3 seconds, Sancho?
And more importantly, they've been chilling in their lobbies respectively for about 25 minutes or so. So we all know that gave them a time to kind of chill out for a little bit, reset. We've been saying countless times, when they get out of Craig Eclipse, they have the potential to win it all with a victory royale and double-digit eliminations. So now where they're getting into it, we have 3 games left here. of the FNCS EU before we crown either a defending champion or we crown a three-time champion in Tayson.
Spielerkonto verknüpft. Genau, und jetzt musst du halt nochmal auf einen Kanal, der die Drops macht, musst du eine Viertelstunde gucken und dann bekommst du die Ding. Lass einfach den Stream weiterlaufen und guck mal ein.
That's all they have to do. Now, for people like Badil, Noah, Riley, and Reason, who have been on a terror, making their way up, they just have to now slow it down just a little bit more. I just don't know. I can't get a pulse on that team. It's like a team I've never seen before, you know?
They have 3 VRs, and today we're watching them, and I feel like we're kind of getting tricked. Their entire game plan has been good, but they've gone down at 27th place. They've gone down at 16th place as well. They're a very flip-floppy team. Every time they win, Sancho, their next game, they don't get that many points. So we just saw them win another game, right? Game number 9 rolling in. And now for game 10, if the pattern continues, they're going to be looking at a game with no points again. They have to break this curse if they want to make it all the way up top on the scene. Chulak, Squeezy, and Jerky 2 have been attempting to beat curse breakers today. The first 6 games, ended up getting taken over. It was tough. It was rough for them overall. Today now, they're in 2nd place. They're right behind this trio on your screen, Savage, Andretta, and Refsgard. They've had a great day of games so far, but they've also been a little bit flip-flop. They have a win, 17th place.
Ich hab den Backbling, ne, also diese Hand Nummer 1, ne, habe ich ja schon von damals, das war Season 2, Chapter 2, wurde das ja eingefügt, ne, und ich krieg halt für jede Season die Farbe mit hinzu. Das ist ja das Geile, also ohne dass ich auch irgendein ja klar. Streamschauer.
Ich glaube, ich habe
die Hand reicht mir.
Ja, ich habe auch schon 4 Farben.
Engagement's going to matter for them in these next 3 games. I can't imagine feeling the pressure. The only thing I've had that's close was playing in a local video game store. That's it. And my prize was a $20 gift card. So hey, that was the top of my prime, and I can't imagine playing for hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, 1.3 million total dollar prize pool when it comes to Europe.
Das habe auch 4 Farben. Sehr schön.
Was rolling in first place. Squeezy, Trulex, and Jerky could be that trio, but once again, they cannot afford to make any mistakes from here on out. Those last 3 games, they kind of shape exactly how your entire tournament run looks. If you're behind, you have a big chance to get ahead. If you're ahead, you have to play defense. And these guys are caught in between, Sancho. They're ahead of the rest of the lobby. Behind Titans, they can't seem to shake down completely in these games. These rotations have to be perfect, and the end game has to be crisp.
And they absolutely earn their spot.
Ja, das leichte Beute.
They're going up against an up-and-comer in Jules right now, getting tagged on their rotation. So they're clawing their way, trying to hold on and avoid anybody that's trying to pull them down and slip them. Now, we're talking about movement. The deal, Noah, Riley, and Reason, 6 places they moved up. They've had 2 back-to-back games that moved them up their leaderboard.
Ist ja geil, wenn die live in der Luft einfach so switchen können.
This kind of reminds me of, at first we were watching like Unknown, and where all the question was, what would Unknown look like in in-game? If Unknown down there in the NA, what will he do if he just slow down, be patient, that chaotic energy, that be able to box fight anybody? He was doing some things in the past that were just phenomenal. The same thing like as well, like Face Sway, right? What would Sway look like if you kind of got to in-game? What we're seeing right here, a game that they just flip-flop everything, the script. They were getting like these 10 elim games, right? In the early game. Now they're getting those 10 elim games at in-game, and they're getting those bonus placement points. That's why they're moving up the board so fast and ferociously.
So.
For Vadil, Noah Riley, only really is wins that are keeping them in this game. If they're not winning, they're having very, very, I would just say, middling performances.
So lazy,
11th or 17th rolling in throughout the day. It's not looking too good when you look at their team.
Mappy is auch schon down.
And to talk about it and put it in EU respect, like it's like
Nicht
what will
Mappy.
Wolfies look like in game? What would CRR look like in game? What are those aggressive known players? What will they look like in game? And we're getting a taste of it, and we're just seeing that.
Imagine du hast aber Mappy,
VOD review. They kind of tweeted out, we figured out a plan, and they're executing that plan so beautifully right here.
We're joining in slightly late also onto this game number 10, the 4th one of the day. So a lot of people have already moved off of their spots. They're rotating and the zone's coming in fast. I was thinking to myself, wait a minute, Forza are in Lazy Lake and we just started casting.
Wird auch gleich aktiviert werden.
Bitte?
Stormswitch wird, glaube ich, ab 75 Spielern aktiviert werden. Wenn mich nicht alles täuscht.
we're desperate right now, looking for more points, looking for a way to get back into the competition.
We're talking about what does a trio need
Oh,
to come back.
ich glaube, Endzone geht so Richtung Berge, siehst du?
Have to have that pop-off game. They've been
Haha,
denied
nicht so wie gestern, Digga. Gibt's hier so einen Hagenkampf. Und das ist eklig.
This trio that they're facing is no slouch. They've been taking out big names throughout the past 2 days. And if they add Noah Riley, Reason, and Badil, which they have done in day one, that's going to be the big blockade, slowing them down from making their movement. This is
Simon, das können sie. Der fragt mich, das können sie. Von allen Seiten werden sie beschossen.
This is just so scary from all angles. Multiple knights on the low ground. They're so tough. No chance on anyone else to kind of escape. There's a trio on all sides. Siptos on one. Nas firing away from the backside all the way up top on a hill two.
Komm, Domi, was denkst du, wer wird gewinnen? Ich glaube, gerade hier nicht plan.
Boxfight, ganz anders definiert.
Ich meine, was anderes ist es, glaube ich, nichts mehr, außer Boxfight.
Ist es auch.
Boxfight XXXXL, ja. Keine Ahnung. Ah ja, ich bin für Savage, Ravguard und Inverter. Du kannst du für Anas, Thomas und Flick, oder die du hier gerade siehst, die sind auch unnormal gut. Oder Truelex oder sowas. Ja, schon, ich bin gerade noch mit Zymon noch in dem Discord. Ich werde auch nicht rausgehen. Und werde auch hier weiter gucken.
They were looking a little bit worrisome as well. 4th place overall. They needed to come up and they got second.
Oh, Reason's down.
They're looking for that climb up as well. We'll see if it's possible.
Reason is down.
Too much to handle for Noah Riley, Reason, and Badil. They go down once again, and it feels like the pattern will be true.
Thomas auch umsingelt.
It's always a win followed by an early knockout. Noah Riley is still once again hanging on the ropes. You can try to see if he survives and plays for a little bit of placement, but we're kind of deep in this game. Reboots are very difficult to kind of take away.
Deswegen liebe ich FNCS. Das ist einfach Gameplay, was du niemals siehst.
There's a solo that you want in that trio is Reason. Reason finished 7th place in Chapter 2, Season 3. So that is going to be interesting to see what Noah Riley can do as a solo. But Anas Flick and Thomas HD, who have a great day too, have yet to have that. They're doing okay, but not by their standards. Blasters who just finally survived down there in Weeping Woods, not make it into the middle game right there. But Ryan,
bei dir oder bei mir?
Now have to deal with 2 of the titans of the region ramping right
und raus.
Piece of this pie, but oh no, Chapix and Flick are colliding right here, and Chapix gets knocked. That's Hen. They're trying to move up the board, but Thomas AC is trying to catch them from their ankles so they can't climb any higher.
6th versus 7th. They're really, literally clawing at their ankles right now. Anas, Flick, Thomas HD, making sure there's no chance that they get any higher. They're going to keep moving forward, and this is going to be such a tricky rotation, Sancho. We've been looking at wide shots of this entire zone. There's so many trios that heat angles and locations. There's nowhere to really stop. Flick and Thomas, you have to keep going. They can't slow down.
And the ramification goes beyond just elimination.
Auch so, obwohl, ja.
The solo champion here has to hold on as much as possible.
Jetzt oder was?
Say Chapix is that in-game leader. He kind of puts Hen close to him, but now Janice is feeling the lobby pressure, and it's just too much. Nas, Thomas HD, take him out.
They got the elim. My question is, if they stolen the energy too, there's always one type of pop-off game that comes through with Flick and Nas, Thomas HD, and it usually happens when a top team goes down as well. This could be that game. We're on their kind of home territory on the right side of the map. We'll see if it's possible. But
und Enzo geht auf die Berge.
Shoulder to shoulder, side by side. Savage, Red Guardian, kind of gatekeepers here too. That's Thinkbo. Sancho, you were talking about it. It's rolling through.
Noah Riley gets an elimination, so
ich schnuppere schon, dass du gleich wieder richtig intens.
Valuable points to the board here, especially now that we're seeing the top of the board a little bit in shambles right now at the moment. So
der wird chillt an seinem kleinen Fischhäuschen, oder?
We all know
Zymon
there's a
ein
game
bisschen,
on
oder?
the line
Ja, ja.
and you are the home team. There's just a little bit more pressure considering that the
So,
zone
wie wir da alles
sometimes
halt
won't
klar
favor
André.
you. And I think for the longest time,
Jo.
this is the first time we've seen an East Coast zone.
21 Leute nur noch, Digga, das ist vergleichsweise echt
That's
wenig.
very, very tough. Last time we were watching yesterday,
Oder?
when Game 4 rolled in, it was Lazy Lake we were looking at. This
Vor wundert mich so, das
very
ist echt
Knox
nur
kind of,
wenig.
or at least the mountain where the grotto used to be. Savage
der
and Jenna
kämpft noch
Rescott
quasi
trying to
so
take
in
away
der
the
Zone.
life raft that was basically thrown to Anas, Thomas, HD, and Flick, trying to get them out of the top 10. They're saying, no, I'm going to deflate it. There's no way we're letting you sit in this base rent-free. You're going to have to pay a little bit of tolls with your HP pools. And yeah, those things really bled through these builds. You can see Anas's HP, it's still slightly low. Thomas was on at 40 at the pop of medkit to get all the way back up. They have to make this rotation now too.
Ja,
All that
man.
healing lost them a lot of time, and now every
Ja, aber
single
so
trio
noch so
looking at
lange
this,
für
but
3 Jahre,
because they
ne?
move first, and now these guys are moving late. They have a lot of different builds to kind of block the sight lines. They can just reuse them over, save on their mats as well. This is a pretty good angle as long as they don't get shot.
And along their way of this rotation here, very treacherous. You see Savage right there in the distance. We've been seeing Savage just rain down those think bows, getting those valuable Storm Surge tags that way. Triple, Elocrass right in the distance here. Shakos and Gray close to height, but I'm just guessing. EMXRs at height actually with Potosite. Very,
Giftbogen
very
immer.
cool
Ja,
to
ja.
see them again.
Whoa.
Welcome to the tournament. Now you see
Feuerwehr
Jerky
ist
Truex
moin,
as
was
well
geht?
at height as well.
And if you look over at height for just a second too, that
Stinkbogen,
split
der
is
ist auch einfach
absolutely
zu
insane. You have, I think,
overpowered.
MXR on one of the mountain peaks,
Yes.
and then Potosite and One Last on the very other
Nur
one.
gut,
too,
dass
so
sie
they have so much
den
control.
Feuerbogen entfernt haben,
Endless
Digga.
off against Nate in the
Das
feed.
würde ich
That's
so
the
gerne
top
auch mal
three
sehen,
team.
Digga.
Getting
Einfach
affected
alles
by some people who
brennt.
are way, way
Der
down
Der
in their
gesamte
leaderboards as well.
Sohlen
Now,
an sich
True
haben
Lights
sie den
underserved,
entfernt,
so
aber
they're
den gibt's noch.
big tags.
Den kann man
Ja.
sicher herstellen.
Looking okay for
Aber nur
now
nicht in der
in a
Arena, ne?
desperate situation.
Digga, ich würde so gerne sehen, wie die alle
Here,
am
when the
Brennen ist, ne? Wie
emphasis
so
on
eine
the line for
riesen
teammates.
Festung
We
am
go back and
Brennen
forth
ist.
here, of course, Alex
Ja.
Nate being the duos champion. Now
Felix,
they're
warum
gonna
Discord,
go into
Digga?
this battle here. Now we're
Ja,
getting
ich
closer
guck,
and closer to the
Felix,
endgame.
ich guck
It's all
Discord, wenn
determined where Zone 5 pulls.
Kingsley
Hey,
vorbei ist.
all you people
Also wenn
that
hier
invested
die
in
Runde
this
vorbei ist.
mountain real estate, you're gonna have to sell it.
Oh, die
You're gonna
Sonne
have to
zieht
bubble.
einmal schön über den Berg drüber.
Absolutely, and every time there is a mountain inside these end games, it's always the top trios that end up suffering, who are pushing for that real estate, who get kind of trumped down and then don't actually have their builds worth anything when the zone moves back and forth. So I'm really looking at the top 7, the top 8, and how they handle this zone. Historically in EU, every time high ground's a thing or there's a big mountain in the way, all those big trios suffer. You saw it happen in Game 6 yesterday. You saw it happen in Game 1 as well. It's so unexpected on what you have to do to survive these big zones. The big height is going to be tricky. We're alongside Kuriachi, Stormy, and Toos to see how they rotate.
Everything's going to be low. Builds are going to be low. If you hold on to height, you're going to run out of builds. If you're on low ground, you're going to run out of builds. If the zone keeps pushing further and further away and there's no bounce back, expect this game to end up and wrap up early, as you already see Queasy's trio already making a stamp on height. No surprise here, but let's go back into the ground. Look at the gravity of the situation that Flick and Thomas AC and Nas are facing. Now Thomas AC and Flick have to go as a duo, Shile. This is not going to be easy because it is Savage and Dreader there at their front door.
Oh,
So big shots and wow, pulled before the
einfach
ball comes
Rapune,
down.
Digga.
Siberia
Imagine.
knocked down by Flick. That's a huge
Mein Game ist einfach zu
elimination
einfach,
for the
Digga.
points. Big for the
Ey,
next
ich
two.
schwör,
This
ich wär jetzt der
trio
Erste, der da
has
hingerannt
been
ist
on low
für diese
ground. Ever
Goldscanner.
since Savage saw them, they haven't stopped the stinks. They haven't stopped the pressure.
Ich hab mir gedacht,
Not to
Lila,
mention that the builds
nee,
so low.
Gott.
Their teammate down, Anas, one of the clutch gods, not gonna be there
Krass.
to see the
Digga, guck, das meine ich damit, Digga. Einmal Feuerbogen.
Alles in Brand.
Not bleeding the floor just yet. It is.
Brennt.
And then you go all the way into a corner. They can't really build another box. Look at Flick's mats. There's just 140 to work with between both teammates.
Oh, die haben
my
Zipline, die
goodness.
können gar keinen
This is
Fallstand
not
kriegen, wenn sie
fine.
sich noch
This
zu
is
Zipline
not fine.
brauchen.
Now the zone does pull
Das
their
sind sie
way,
auch
but
geil.
they're gonna have a
Also,
tsunami
Glück.
of trios pushing right over them.
Ja, da bin ich
And
jetzt
the
mal
one
gespannt, wer
that's
da
riding,
gewinnt.
surfing the
Bei der
top of
also
that
beim
weight
Berg.
press is Queasy's trio.
Queasy,
They've already committed to this last year,
ja.
but they have to go back and chop out who's holding it. Now it's Potosite.
Die wollen aber wirklich die Menschen einfach alles abbauen.
They're setting it up. They could possibly actually remove all of Bite here. It might be
Savage
just
ist
one
noch
more floor
da.
that's connecting, but
Da
no.
muss pennen. Alles
Quick
klar,
drop
ciao,
down.
ciao.
Smart from MXR. This man must have the best headset in the world to hear that from that distance. He reconnects. Meanwhile, you're talking about surfing. We're not going to be surfing waves. We're surfing on the side of a mountain right now, Sancho. This is going to be a very tricky zone for all these low ground teams to play. I'm worried for Savage. We're already stressed about Flick, and they also have no mats. So
crazy.
He's still trying for it. Here comes the big retake. Blocked by a floor. He has to waterfall down. MXR was hit, though, by Trulex, and oh my god, he's completely down. Marine picks up Floki on low, but it looks like Crazy, Trulex, and Jerky have height again. The retakers on EU. They might be the best in the world in doing it, but their mission's not done yet. Kiriachi wants a piece of the pie, and he's going to the sky.
Denied by Trulex, though.
Also, wahrscheinlich sitzt hier gerade am Links noch hier FNCS-Reaktion.
And they're right now in second place, but we all have to keep an eye on the low ground. Revsguard and Dread and Savage are still doing well, and when they're on their feet,
Dings, Dominik, komm rein, wenn hier das zu Ende ist, ne? Also,
but the story is going to go back up to the height here.
Die Finals.
They've only had 3 eliminations, and they could hurry up. If they could get into the front, they could stop everybody that's trying to get to the front.
Oh, Revgard hat nur noch so 1 HP, Digga. Flick ist auch genockt. Durch die Zone. Thomas auch.
Ja, Zone ist schon halt heftig.
Ja, genau.
It's going to retreat back into the shadows and just hope that the storm just gives them a moment just to breathe a little bit longer. It is the first place on the line, and there is that big sigh of relief as Savage gets a huge siphon from Mariah.
Der weiß, wie es geht.
Das ist blau ausgetauscht.
Raus, ey. Nein, Savage. Steh auf. Queasy. Aber Highground, keine Metzen. Oh mein Gott, der fällt runter.
Au.
Okay, never mind. Digga.
Alter.
You got greeted by the big shots right here, walking out of Storm, and now Queasy's just gonna get enough of the little builds. It's a top 3 situation.
The 25 HP rock shot, Queasy, what a big strategy right there to get that elimination.
Der hat's echt noch drauf.
That, more elims and siphons come through. 2-man situation on height right now, but they're
Crazy und Rave. Crazy, ja, Crazy. Guck mal, ich sage, hier. GG, Jungs, GG.
Queasy, Trulex, and Jerky are amazing at this.
Mega geil, mega geil. Savage hat wieder bis zum Endgame überlebt, ne? Der hat wieder fett Punkte gekriegt.
Ja, schon.
Ich guck mal gerade Discord, das hat mir längst
the low ground teams is getting these high number eliminations and the victory royale.
Oh, das ist ein TikTok, oh, das kann ich
Air is a
nicht.
little bit cleaner on height. They're able to have that endurance. They're able to outlast the low ground, and that was a phenomenal performance from Crazy's trio, Shio.
Yeah, and that was just such a strange game for all the low teams. It was so tough to play. Zeke, Levin, and Reese need to break that one down. There's definitely things to talk about in that game.
Zeke, fühle.
Guys.
Fühle ich, Bruder.
I said it a couple games ago. These guys are the high ground kings! Okay? I don't understand!
Yeah,
thanks
Felix,
okay?
let's coach,
It's
man.
like, all right, this is it, the tail of the competition. They're like, oh yeah, look, there's a trail above us, no problem, yeah. The moment they start to move, that's it. Queasy, he's up.
Let's go with
Piacho was
Mount,
like,
man.
oh yeah, I'd like high ground, that seems like a good idea. No! Queasy's like, no! Here's 1 floor! Stop! Don't move! And they were like, all right. Sounds good, man.
Rudolph's kapiert, du haben einen Grund. Okay.
I don't know how.
It was the chop play that really
Ich bleib unten.
they saw they weren't on that fifth zone. They chopped it out. They managed to just get it from there. And like you said, we did see Kiriachi's team going for that, but you noticed that
Ich bin schon nochmal gespannt auf die Platzierungen.
Flew ahead. If not, he was just ahead of the game. Flew up to Kai from there. But one of the big notes to know about that game is we've been talking about this team repeatedly having low eliminations over and over. Every single time on the first day, these guys had 3, 4 elims, pretty much none coming to movement. I think that was an 11 or 12 elimination game there, which is significantly higher than normal. They were 25 points behind first coming into this, so that could be a huge clutch. They may have actually overtaken first place there.
Yeah, that is a genuine possibility as we sort of get into the final stages of the tournament. It's crazy to think that's possible, especially with how long
Marty war eben da, ne?
Savage's trio has been above. But looking at these
Sehe
guys,
gerade bei
man,
der
all season long, when
Chat.
we've seen them get an opportunity to shine in, you know, these sort of final formats, there's literally been nothing that they've like done that suggested they wouldn't be able to perform like this. Like before that sort of run they started to have, it was always unlucky player, always having hardware issues, never able to play out a tournament fully due to some issues. And now that they don't have these issues, they are solidifying themselves as one of the best teams in the EU. Their style is so recognizable, and it has just been so fun to watch.
And you know what? To win the FNCS potentially, maybe all it took was Queasy to buy a new PC.
That's all it took. That's all it took.
There we go. That's all it took. That's all it took. The second VR on the day, but third of the competition. Absolutely insane. Now, boys, we only have 2 games.
16 Ilims.
To teams 4, 5, and 6.
Savage
Coming into
ganz
this
oben.
last game that we watched. I mean, we kind of have to set the stage here, Levin. What do they need to do?
Oh,
to strike that number 1
mies,
spot?
Alex.
I think the big thing for all of these teams is that they have been incredibly consistent
Digga,
to remain at this point.
uns
Right? All
easy.
of these teams seem to have been in this position for quite a while.
Klar.
If you look at Stormy Right Reaction 2, it's weird, I don't have much critique of them. I think they just really need to have that game where they do just get a victory.
Ich weiß nicht,
out,
was
right?
spinnen die
They
nur
are
ohne
still
ihre
lacking
Harpune
that
tun, ne?
victory out to sort of solidify themselves, and so maybe that's what they
Harpune
need
ist
to
aber
focus
Hauptwaffe.
themselves
Aber
into
jedenfalls jeder hat auch eine Harpune dabei.
I totally agree with you on their team. They're really
Kannst
consistent,
halt
just
in
not
so einen
managing to
Fischen
have
gehen,
those
ne?
big games
Die
that
mehr.
they
Ja, klar.
need. But again, Flick and Aston Thomas, kind of in a similar boat, but they've had maybe one good big pop-off game, which obviously we saw was
Denkst,
the
Zymon kannst du
game
wirklich
where
auch
they
mal
didn't quite manage to
Mod
get the
geben.
victory out, game 1 today. So, you know, they were down kind of in that 5th to 6th range, and, you know, for these
finde
guys,
ich
they obviously won
besonders.
first, but I think top 3 is really where they're looking at right now.
Yeah, and the reason the Riley Vidal went down in 21st that game,
Oui.
right? So they need to get back to what they were doing just before, where they're getting these massive victory out games, because they have dropped down to
Was?
but look
Zweiter
at who's
Platz?
taken over
Oh,
first
bye.
place.
Jupp,
Just
sehe ich
five
gerade auch.
Was?
guys.
Was?
Aber trotzdem auch gut, aber jetzt müssen sie sich halt anstrengen.
5 Punkte, Digga.
Joining Norani Reason and Vidal
Oh,
in that free
Junge.
group, like this is some crazy
Kopf in Kopf
stuff.
rein, Digga.
This is actually
Ja,
really
Trudex
insane,
ist
'cause
auch
I think this is
mega
the first
wild.
time today that we've seen Rescard and Dread and Savage lose the first place
Also die
loss,
zwei
right?
Teams
This is the
sind
first
echt
time
gut.
they've gone
Entweder
down.
gewinnt
Again,
Team
only 5
also
points
mit
between it.
Lupe
And
oder
if you
also
look at this,
Uff.
you see Queasy,
Mm.
Trulex, and
Wird
Jerky
schwierig.
all the way with 3 victory royales. Every time we look at a match, Fifth Zone, we talk about them, they're relevant. It's hard to say that they do not belong at the top of the leaderboard based off their performances these last 2 days.
100%. Now let's take a look at 11 to 20, because some of these teams will still need to have big games if they want to push themselves into that top 10. Look, if first place becomes out of grabs, you still want top 3, right? You want an auto-call spot for the next finals. Some of these teams may be able to do that. I feel like we have the same conversation about Joe, Stompy, and Shadow. They had that one victory.
Digga, wir
yesterday.
konnten ja einfach so
Not
hinten
much outside of
rutschen.
that. I think a
Ja,
big
was also hinten
disappointment
rutschen,
here is
5
Red Bull
Punkte, ja
16
gut,
and
ne?
Mappy, who came into today in what,
Yeah.
2nd place or something?
Ja,
Now
müssen sie
they're
wieder
in,
aufholen, dann wird
third
es wieder.
place, and now they're sitting in 12th,
Ja.
right?
Die
Things
werden
are
wieder
really
aufholen
falling
haben.
off for them. They need to sort of pick
Ja,
things
ja.
up. And Floki coming in the
Ja, der
Sixers to
Fletcher
me,
ist noch Platz
right?
2.
They're what, the second best team today.
Ja,
if you
Digga,
just get in
5 Punkte
establishment
Unterschied, ne?
today. They've been like a top 3
Holt's
team
auf.
today.
Mhm.
But because
Ja.
of their failings from yesterday,
Auf jeden Fall,
it's
also wenn
still an uphill
Trulex
battle for
jetzt
them.
eine schlechte Runde hinlegt, also direkt stirbt, und dann Savage schon mal bis ins Endgame kommt, sheesh, Junge, der zieht dann durch.
14th right now. Definitely, that's still a huge achievement, but these guys were looking for a top 3 finish, let's be real. Same with some of these other teams on here, you know, Flowis, Kaiser, and Hellfire. If we're going to talk about a team that has potential to pop off, thinking back to their qualifier where they managed to drop 17 eliminations, had 2 other games in double digits, you've got to think that Flowis, Kaiser, Hellfire, if they get going, if they get situated on a low ground situation where Savage is not already there, these guys must be able to pop off a huge amount. And yes, they're currently in 20th, right? They're not in there. But again, every time you climb placements higher from here, more and more earnings over and over again. So it's definitely worth, and obviously the bragging rights. Came 15th sounds much cooler than 20th.
Bragging rights. Yeah, 100%. You always want the bragging rights. And the extra dosh does help a bit, doesn't it? So,
Little bit.
not bad. Yeah.
Oh,
2
man,
Runden
boys,
noch.
we only have 2
2
games left to go.
Runden
It is
noch.
a battle
Pibe Damen
between
20
first
Uhr.
and second place. How is this all
Dann
going to
noch
go?
Schluss, ne?
How is this going to unfold? Hang on to your seats.
Dann
Fortnite
geht's,
fan. We're going into the next game on the day. Sancho is
Nordamerika.
back over to you,
Kommt
friends.
danach.
Ja gut, wir machen hier nur
Thank you so
Europa.
much, Zeke, Levin, and Reese.
Yep.
2 teams at the top with 2 more games left to play. Sancho could not be more perfect. This game matters the most for everyone on the board, though.
It's a 2-trio race, and it's going to come down to the final moments. 2 more games here for the FNCS EU region. Thousands, hundreds
Ja,
of thousands
vorletzte Runde.
of dollars. Over $1
Das ist jetzt die vorletzte
million
Runde.
prize pool
Jo.
is at stake.
Jetzt geht's nochmal Punkte
Now,
raus, ne?
Trulix, Queasy, and
Wichtig.
Jerky, The only thing that concerns me
Die müssen jetzt nur noch einen Fehler machen, dann ist der wird schon für erster Platz.
Qualifier stage
Mhm.
numerous
Ich
times.
hoff's natürlich.
Somebody random just hiding and waiting out, where they go to that character down there in Flush Factory.
Ja,
Look,
was mit der?
Bad Sniper Marvin trying to be the kind of spoilers here for a moment, looking to all that they can to kind of return their fate and maybe net themselves a little bit more scratch.
Trillux is hyper aware. They've been interrupted so many times in unique ways. They're done playing it, you know, risky whatsoever. They always leave one person behind. This time it'll be Trillux. To make sure no one's flying in, he always ends up landing early because this kind of generator building is on the upside, a higher point of landing. So everyone else on their team, Queasy and Jerky, they end up going a lot lower. They're still gliding. Meanwhile, Trillux can be active and defend the team. Save it already down in the feed to Nikoff. That Weeping Woods fight is just going over and over and over again. Past that, no O'Reilly, Vidil, Reason. I mean, this has to be the game to watch for them. Every time they have a good game, it's followed by a bad one. Every time they have a bad game, it's followed by a first place, at least today. So patterns are correct. They could win this game and have a big showing. Meanwhile, at Craggy Cliffs, 11th game, Sancho, the fights don't stop.
This is going to be monumental for Chapix and Hen and Janice. They have to walk away from Craggy Cliffs for them to have a chance to catch up.
Alles ruhig.
Right now, they slipped down one spot. Now they're in 8th place. This is what happens here when you're being contested. Hi, Chris, Vortex, Knight. The thorn on our champion's side here. This is one of those teams that just haven't been able to, you know, discourage them from dropping. It was that one loss that they had in the previous day. Take a look here. The winner of the last 2 EU finals had 3 victory royales, and we had 2 trios in this tournament here from Vidil and Jerky's trio having already accomplished that. But there's still 2 more games left. We'll all have eyes on these engagements and, of course, our elimination feed.
Man, the slow burn type of game just kind of ruins the game plan for Chapix, Janice, and Hen. They like having control of the map as well as fighting this kind of big battle off spawn. It's going to be tough, Sancho. We're talking about they need this game is because they're in 8th place rolling in. About 90 points away from first place. They definitely need a double-digit elim win to catch up for the win. In terms of catching up, you know, to top 3, they're about 30-ish points away. So once again, a game of a difference. They're going to disengage. Haven't seen this happen today yet. It did happen yesterday. They go for the fish. They're going to be looking good so far. Going to have less loot, though, overall, and be bad on time. The last time they disengaged, I believe they had a little bit of a closer zone. This time, we're going towards what looks like Holly or Slurpee. It's going to be rough for them on rotate. They have to do this fast. And already, I feel like Bodasai or MXR from Stealthy Stronghold is already on this island. Or my apologies, Booback, actually, who's over at Stealthy. And he's on this island. He's already fished up a little bit. I think Janice and Chapix know on the top right. They might hunt him down, but he's already leaving the island. And look at Chris in the water. The yellow arrows on the map. We're at Slurpee right now, but they're chasing down our previous FNCS champions. They're not letting them get away for free.
We're here at Slurpee to keep tabs on the 4th place team of Kiriachi, Stormy, and Toos. The team that have just been having a really solid run, free rotations. Usually you have Slurp Factory contested here, and now going up against, that is Shadow's trio there, who are doing that Shantytown split. Now we have eyes here on the 2nd place team, who have been holding on to 1st place throughout the entire tournament. And they've just been kind of just putting in kind of like a points, like a really solid, you know what I mean? But when you have the teams that have been putting in some astronomical numbers, some huge performances like Vidil and Queasy, who has just been just as consistent, but you're just seeing the 2 clashes of meta, Shiloh, right? The high ground and the low ground. And right now the high ground is just winning it out. And they have the advantage, but it's only by 5 points. So look at the gold number. Right now, that is just in this session, 118. On the other side, Queasy is at 136. So if Refsguard's trio could get those 5 points, they automatically close the gap in the cumulative.
Digga, aber 2 Kanister.
Ja.
Absolute 5-point difference. At the same time, here is the catch up. We're fighting this fight on a brand new map.
Digga.
It looks like usually Craggy Cliffs. Now we're on that Flopper Island.
Digga, einfach alle da reingeworfen, Digga.
All the high points, but high points actually made a little bit of a base on the right side. Gonna be looking for a shot, but he's playing it sneaky. They're not letting these guys extend these builds whatsoever because they might be able to find Chris on his spot. Very smart from Vortex. As he does that though, gets bopped. Low on shields. Janice down below 2, and he's almost down with no HP.
What a great adjustment from Highcourse Trio. Last time they let this trio disengage to Flopper Island. This time they decided to take the fight to them right on the island.
Yeah, exactly. This is going to be the wrap-up of the tournament as well. There's no point really for this trio to roll in and disengage. They're going to keep chasing down, but Chapix stops their chase at least a little bit. Knight's 1 HP too. If he drops down and sees him with a quick flick, he can end his big run too. He's going to stay sneaky. Meanwhile, because of this, there'll be enough relief of pressure for Janus to get revived back up. A medkit in play too. They're going to be looking fine for now. Once again, though, Sancho, zone is not here. And these guys are already running through their meds and loot. Look at Chapix's inventory. This is not a Chapix loadout. Makeshift AR, blue pump. Finally find the sneaky man. Good night. Good night, literally, and that's gone. So these guys get to play their game out for the rest of game number 11. The thing is, though, they had to invest so much here. Look at all the hard mats. They barely got the fish, and zone's coming in.
It is vital for them to find a vehicle like you see on Gnosis Trio, put some chunker tires on that, which is a new introduction here in the season that just allows you to move like right over the terrain a lot faster. So they're going to sit there and flop right.
Oha, man, Superhelden-Skin immer komplett grau ist. Auch mal was sehr Seltenes hier in diesem Game.
And they're going to be able to move on through. It's so exciting to always see a Rift. It just makes me so nostalgic. Oh, Rift to Ghost, I love you.
They'll be able to rotate fast. Meanwhile, Savage, oh my goodness, almost thrown off course. It's good.
Yo.
It's a little tough. The tires a little bit, the suspension's a little high, you know?
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're able to literally jump buildings, but Refsguard makes it happen.
There you go.
And while he does that, they're going to look for tags as well. This is a mobile surge of vehicle, and they're looking for it. They'll try to go for it. They'll move out. Refsguard will be able to heal and drive at the same time, or at least be in the car at the same time as he heals. Tulek, Sweezy, and Jerky, though. This is kind of the perspective. Second place and first, back to back. They got twos. I think they'll look to just hit that bow shot with the pump shot. Yes, they combine it for the big first tags too. And that's going to be looking good for them overall. Stinkfish, 6 of them in play. You saw before, Sancho, Stinkfish kind of ruined one of their games. Now they're going to look to actually use them to get ahead of the competition.
Sometimes the Slurp Factory team used to go out into these fishing spots. They become fishermen for a bit. That's a big part of Kirachi's game plan. They have about 3 slots. That's all.
Dieser Spot ist auch so eklig da oben.
They had a spicy fish. That's what they used to overtake height. So that's why you found, you know, 2's way out there by themselves. So that's a great adjustment by Trio deciding to push, which has been so far a chill ride for that team coming out of Slurp Factory.
Yeah, if you're in the top 10 right now, you're also looking to grab mountains or grab guardian posts. We saw a Nas at one of them. Refsguard's going to be up towards the middle of the spire as well.
5 points, bro. 5 points. This is good. You know what I mean? That's what separates them from first place. And we already saw Queasy got another one, so it's actually 7 points, right? The elimination, 7. We have yet to get to that placement threshold in the top 25, so 7 points right now separating first and second.
Meanwhile, everyone's trying to catch up. They're kind of in a little bubble of their own, about 50 points ahead of everyone else. Nas, Flick, and Thomas, even the team all the way up top with Alex Nazy, they need wins. They need wins right now to get all the way up top, but only one team can walk away with that victory royale.
Ja, jetzt kann auch nicht still, ne? Man kann gerade nichts so viel sagen.
For double-digit elims and be safe at the same time. So, Nas, Flick, and Thomas will try to keep rotating away.
Aber viele, es kämpfen auf der Zone.
They're coming back slowly. They're in the top 10. In the previous game, they moved up from 13th to 10th place. They have 190 points. They're slowly turning their fate. It's one of those teams, just like in the playoffs of any kind of sports. They're a veteran team. You don't want to see them. You know they're going to be a tough out if they're along their rotation. So no doubt, seeing an Andelix trio sitting in front of you, that's not good news for Anas, because that trio is going to continue on their rotations. As you see, Reason actually knocking Pizza in the feet.
Pizza going down. Reason feels like these guys are already hot off their step, looking to have another great game. Zyku-san and Jules, I would say one of the most surprising performances of this FNCS. Rolling in, they look so good on height. They look so good in their heat as well. They just lack that experience of control, but so far today, 7th place. They're right behind Flickanos Thomas and ahead of Janice Chapix and Hen. They're next to legendary names rolling in on one of their first FNCSs, you know, looking really good too. They're just having a very stellar performance. Excited to see how they look in future seasons. The games aren't even done today. If they figure out how to make up for their lack of experience, take more risks, they can get even higher on the boards today.
Sind auch so
They
warm,
didn't even
ey.
make it into round 4 of any of the qualifiers, so they are
Schmilzt diesen
progressing
Käse
right. And
dahin,
you're
ey.
right. If the career trajectory, if they decide to stay together as a trio, they could definitely keep having a better performance in the next finals.
Astroki looks like he's back up with Pizza and Ardit, so the full elimination didn't really come through. Savage, although, has kind of invested a lot into this game. Must be medkits or something that are already down, maybe big pots. Still has that stink bow, is going to be moving over.
Ooh.
Wait for the threshold, wait for it, wait for it.
I'm waiting.
Boom,
Okay.
214.
Okay.
We learned the lessons, yep.
Yes. Yes.
They're looking real good. 214 above, and they still have chances to do more damage. Who's right next to him? Yeah, but it's Fast Strokey. They don't like letting a trio getting away for free. Fast Strokey, a lot of the times, if they're down on Surge, they like having these box fights. But I don't feel like in the last 2 games they're going to be playing that super risky.
Just showing you there, they take a lot of like moments here to fight this engagement. You have Wakey's trio out there, you have Vidil's trio just a little bit further, so this wedge is already being filled with big names of the EU region, and 7 points is all they need right now. So that number gets to 222. They catch up to Queasy. Placement points haven't been doled out. 5 points we're going to be doled out in about 4 places, and the lobby focus is coming in. This is second place here on the ropes. They might get KO'd, and that's Noah Riley applying pressure on the other side. That's Asterio applying pressure on the other side.
Ja, das wollen wir auch sehen. Jetzt geht's los.
Too dense for them, and Dreda now down without any shield on the sliver of life. Savage is on the same way and able to get back to 100 HP, but Repcard goes down. Too much pressure from all angles, as my boy Shio will say. Left, right, up, down, doesn't matter where they look, they were just getting too much, and now it all falls on Indreda's shoulders. This will be by far one of the lowest finishes they had throughout the entire tournament, and this is second place once again. 6 HP and a dream, and that dream is being turned into a scary nightmare. Can they get it?
Jo, war das knapp, Digga.
Hold on just for a brief moment. That's what
Savage is
FCS
down.
comes all about, the brief moments.
Oh nein, Savage is down.
And Dreda, the classic duo, now have to hold on tight. It's not a Savage clutch that they need, and now it's a duo clutch of Indreda and Rescard.
They'll try it. Red Rush Mappy Exterior still looking from the outside in. Indreda, their second place ship, caught in a Bermuda Triangle of pressure.
Digga, jetzt das wollen wir sehen.
Might be a shipwreck here in
Jetzt
just a
wird's
second.
interessant.
It's going to be so tough to get out of here, and they're not sure what's outside these walls. You can hear the footsteps too. The shield for Rescard, he went down to Stink, so it's still
Oder
safe
nicht
for him. They get to
Mappy.
save a lot on resources.
Nicht
Because of
Mappy.
the meds they have, they can see,
Ich
I
weiß
feel like
nicht,
Rescard through these
Ich
walls.
weiß
No, they're
nicht.
metal walls, and it'll be tough. Here comes all the pressure. They have to move. Edit out right, but there's Trios waiting outside too. 65 damage above, and they're still getting tagged. This is rough for Indreda and Rescard for the moment. They're caught right back on Storm Line 2. Third zone moving in 45 seconds. This survival story has a
Entweder schön
timer.
und Biggie
And
trinken,
not
ne?
only have to
Also,
escape this pressure, but then move in a time limit too. So this is going to be really strugglesome.
Lieber du
10
als
kills
Gegner,
on
ne?
Indreda 2. This is just too rough.
Da liegt auch ein Lonely irgend so ein Mini rum,
We
über
saw this
Baum.
engagement down in Lazy Lake, and we saw Indreda, Rescard, and Savage get a big key refresher off of
Das wird
Mappy's
maximal
trio,
noch bis
and
20
Mappy
Uhr
just
dauern.
disengaging
Ja.
right now, leaving this trio on the island all by themselves with no life raft to be able to survive, and Storm Surge is raining down terror. 55 below, not enough minis to hold on, but Red Rush, he sees that, he's trying to capitalize, but some tags on Red Rush here. Rescard and Dreda here, it's all
Der
but a
Dino,
matter of time
der
for them to
FNCS
be
Dino.
eliminated here and win the two of the second games, and
Der
the
FNCS
Raptor says
Dino.
hello, but
Der gewinnt
Asterios
immer.
is the ultimate king. He takes them
Ah,
down,
schade,
and
ja.
now Red Rush,
Savage
Asterios,
ist
and
raus.
Mappy get
Savage
revenge,
Trio.
and what an almost bad timing for
unlucky.
Dreda, Rescard, and Savage to go down, because Queasy, Trulix,
Tulex lebt noch, Tulex lebt noch.
looking good, feeling good, breathing in that fresh air.
Pressure, first place right now, watching in the
Savage
feed,
hat jetzt noch
second
eine
goes
einzige
down.
Chance. Der
Repstar,
muss
Indreda,
jetzt in der
Savage.
letzten Runde
They're gonna be one of
richtig
the only top
richtig
trios in the
rasieren.
game right now not to be playing out this specific
Die
endgame.
müssen vollzeitig
This is a
verkacken.
chance for a lot of people to catch up, but at the same time, a chance at the second last game of the
Tasen
EU
hat noch
finals for
jemanden.
Queasy, Trulex, and Jerky to really solidify that first place spot.
The only trio I think they have to be have to keep wary of is Vidil's trio. Throughout the entire day, they've been playing height. They've already defended them once. They already got a huge bow shot to stop their push. So we have to keep an eye on what kind of position does Vidil trios have, but let's keep an eye on here on a third place team, Tayson.
Kannst du Roman.
Third place looking to take over
Meinst du
second.
Flamesy
It's a
oder
50
was?
point gap they have to make up. Looking in for a big fight too.
Sorry.
So Tomzy, Bloomy already a little bit affected. I think Percival's down. They're not going to be trading lives either. It's just
Warte, wen
damage.
meinst
Pick up
du damit?
another. Find Percival. Looks like they found one more as well through the entire engagement. Haven't taken out the full trio, but they'll take those points. Let's talk about patterns and weaknesses for the two trios we were just talking about. Sancho, Queasy, and Vidil. For Vidil, once again, they're having bad games and then a victory royale, back to back to back. Their last game was just bad. They're slated to get a VR right now, especially we've been seeing them picking up eliminations all throughout the map. Now for Queasy, Trulex, and Jerky, their biggest weakness is having height like they have right now and not being aware of the lobby getting overtaken.
Ja, Fleck Thomas an aus, die sind immer noch gut am Leben. Gut, werden gerade zerschreddert, aber okay. So.
Löbisturm ja, das ist auf jeden Fall so.
This is not a pattern we've seen for an entire season.
Ist ja richtig spannend, deswegen kann man jetzt erstmal nichts sagen.
They love the
Ist
pressure.
einfach
They
viel
like
zu
being in
krass.
6th place all the way behind. Now, it's a big gap. They're about 80 points away or 60
Weil die
points
Action
away
beginnt nämlich
from
immer
the
erst
first
am
place,
Ende, ne?
Queasy,
Ja,
Trulex,
klar.
and Jerky.
Du kannst einfach wenig sagen,
If
ne?
they can
So.
catch up now, it has to be the time. They'll have to take them off of height as well.
Let me introduce some other foes of Queasy's way. You have Shadow's trio, who are known to be aggressive at height. You also have a trio in Hen right behind them, who in game 4 yesterday were able to flank them and sneak up here. So it all depends where does zone 5, half in and half out. You already see Noah Riley already invested here in about 0 seconds. Here we go. In about a minute, we're gonna see
Jetzt
zone
wird's
5
lustig,
revealed.
langsam.
And let's
Jetzt
see
ist los,
if
ja.
Queasy or Noah Riley
Storm
or
Surge
Shadow
activated,
gets that
plus
first moving.
Zone zieht
We'll talk
durch.
about the zones in the map too as these guys
Jetzt
drop
wird's
down pressure. You'll
interessant.
see a bunch of eliminations come through. The more important thing is we haven't seen a Slurpee endgame zone just yet.
Guck mal, die
in these
Mitte ist
FNCS
einfach
finals.
komplett leer.
We've seen Caddy multiple
Alle
times,
chillen nur
Lazy
an dem
Lake
Rand.
multiple times.
Ja.
The
Junge.
Orchard, Spire in the middle as well has
What?
been big and Vidil Noah Riley like to
Guck mal, die da
operate
unten
there.
da,
Everyone has
auf dieser
experience
Mini-Insel
all
alleine. da
sides of the
unten.
map. Over here though,
Ne?
the
Ja,
bottom
die
left
machen
side
es
of the
gerade
map,
noch
we have
gemütlich.
not seen any of these teams have their takes so
Ich hab
far
auch keine Metz
inside
und
this
kann
lobby.
hier-
Oben ist die
It's gonna be a
Hölle los
brand
und die
new,
chillen ja
fresh
noch.
game. Noah Riley's looking for
Mhm.
picks already.
Ja, die
Thomas
warten bestimmt
HD
auch
got
auf
some
den
in the feed.
richtigen Moment.
Splendor is still alive
Ja.
in this game. All the
Furious
trails we're used to seeing go
raus.
down are up and ready. This is a completely fresh experience.
Ja,
What
da
a
brauchst du halt
solid
Metz, ne?
position right here. Look how much lobby
brauchst
is just
Nerven.
coming their way from Noah Riley, Vidil.
Dementos
They haven't been able
raus.
to get there. There is finally a good knock on Dementos right there, but those are the valuable elimination points they could to close the gap because they have a lot of work to do considering that Queasy's still up. Here we go. Zone 5's
Das
about to
war
be
auch
wie viel einfach in
revealed.
der
This is
Zone
going to be
liegt.
huge for the second to last game here of the EU Finals. Let's see where it goes.
Checking out all sides of the map. Looks like people are starting to rotate in. It's towards this top right of Slurpee Swamp. Noah Riley basically have the gatekeep position, at least from their trio. I see one on absolute height. It might be Trulex. No, it's Exterios, who's all the way on high ground. With Mappy and Red Rush, somehow they found a way to get all the way
Mal
up
gucken, wo
top.
grad
The
die nächste Zone
consistent
ist.
trio coming in throughout the day have kind of, you know, had a leg
Ja,
back.
Trulex chillt immer noch so rum, Digga, der kassiert seine Punkte da.
Ja.
Savage muss jetzt richtig buttern, ey. Nächste Runde muss er richtig buttern.
Da bin ich auch gespannt.
My oh my, we're used to seeing the low ground. As you're seeing Trulix, yes, the defense they saw in the VOD how they got flanked on. They're trying to discourage that high ground retake because we all know it's basically so much free. That's to be an economy type of way to take that high ground from because they don't have to use all that. That's what Chapitz is getting
Ja.
out for. But look,
Gehen einfach mal
actually
kurz auf
Flick
Highground,
is pushing
so
on
die
Noah
Beine.
Riley. They're trying to take
Flicks
this height
knockt
away from
und
them,
aus.
and Noah Riley's doing all that he can to stop it.
Every team from 3rd to 10th is trying to find a way to get back into this tournament, get back to the
Mine
first
is
place
down.
slot. Right now for Nas, it'll be going
Thomas,
straight to
Thomas,
Noah Riley's
Thomas,
box. A
Thomas.
big pump comes in to
Ai,
trade
ai, ai.
Thomas
Der
HD.
kassiert
He's
auch.
keeping this team's dreams alive, but he's the only
Anas
one
ist
left
auch
up
raus.
with 19 HP. Landed a big pump, didn't get a full finish on the Elam either.
Hen ist
This
auch
high
raus.
take did not work out, and their
Jetzt wird's
chances for
lustig.
first
Jupp,
place
das
are
stimmt.
definitely
Ja.
on the line.
Jetzt.
Thomas HD could
Jetzt
definitely
geht's
clutch
los.
that situation. He's done it in previous season. He's gonna have one of the biggest clutches. But look, Height's in trouble.
Digga.
Trulix Jerky goes down, and Queasy has been put down to low ground. He is in shambles. Queasy doesn't want to be down here. The air is not just too dense for them. His lungs are used to clean air. Queasy now, he has to do all that he can to hold on. This is the first place team going down, and placement points are well out getting doled.
This might be the most important clutch of Queasy's career in general. The longer he stays alive, the more of a gap he makes between him and Savage, who went down so much earlier. It's all about placement points for that team right now, but for Exterios, Mappy, and Red Rush, it's all about the catch-up. If Queasy goes down as well, it basically becomes a foot race for every top 10 team to close that gap, but it's all down to him. 15 different teams alive right now. That placement will come in every single time one goes down. Queasy moving forward, only soft maps. He's looking to harpoon any type of materials, but every end he opens is an invitation for more beams to come from any direction that he's looking at. A big shot right in front. He dodges it, goes towards low ground. He's still moving in. He is getting more placement. Thomas HD's down. He has a little bit, but he's taken out now. For every other team, up right now, it's a chance for contention, a chance to catch up to the first and second place team. This is that gap game.
Reason, sein Team lebt noch iDrops und natürlich ganz oben im Fireground.
We're taking a look at Kinzel, 16th place going to this match here. They have some chance to move up their leaderboard, but Tayson, who have been passive at in-game, are now looking at height to see if they could take it. As Tayson, 4ZR, Nate could take height, they could move from 3rd place and close the gap that the first and second place team are. You talked about it, Shayo. 50 points, but the deal gets a knock on Joe.
Shadows, Stone, Joe,
right now as Tayson's going to the front side of the storm here, just to make sure that they get as much placement as possible. We're getting closer and closer to the top 10 situation. Kinzel, Wake, and iDrop have the advantage here, but now we're taking a look at who has the advantage on the low ground. It's Andalex. We talk about the veteran trio. You do not want to see controlling the low ground, but now we focus here back to 3rd place. Shayo, Ken Tayson right here, the ultimate solo star. Find the impact frags. I think he got that one. Maybe we'll see.
Reasons auch eben raus, habe ich gesehen. Houdini ist raus.
Wraps up the deal. One of the other top teams in 5th place. Tayson is trying to make that gap all the way from 3rd to 5th place and catch up to 1st. He's looking possibly for a high retake 2. Surveying the area. Meanwhile, Marine down in the feed. Wolfie's going away too. That entire squad is getting taken away. He's done the analysis. I feel like the team might be going for it in just a second. They have a little bit of those materials, but no. Kinzel, Wake, and iDrop are way too high. We're going straight to the ocean as well. Low ground's going to be a little bit of trouble.
Boden setzen plus nochmal links
Wand und Dach. Holding all the way left and right. Shaco's going down in the feed. Snazy on low ground also gets taken out by Nate. This squad is active. They're looking for box-to-box fights, and they're winning them all.
They need all these points right here. A 50-point gap going into it, like I said before. And if they get this, Tayson now is in trouble.
Tayson wird auch nicht lang überleben.
He's going to have to move on out, but I think Tayson was able to survive that pressure here. Tayson, 4ZR, now getting pressure from height. Tayson down to a sliver of health here. 6 eliminations from Nate, the former FNCS champion.
Ich habe gesagt, iDrops.
So quickly. Now it's 4ZR here. He's in the back of the storm. 4ZR holding on. 19 HP, and he goes down as well. This is going to be a victory royale for Wakey, Kinzel, and iDrop here. And Clement, old names, old guard here on the line. Clement diving into the water here, holding on as much as possible. But iDrop, Wakey, and Kinzel, too much to handle, too hot to hold. 7 eliminations and the victory royale. That's big for them. They were 16 plays. Get up closer. We talked about all it takes. 2 games, 2 pop-off games. You get a lot of movement on that board, child.
So, jetzt kommt das letzte
Spiel. Definitely a catch-up game though for the majority of the server, right? A lot of those top teams going down early.
Eine Pause klatschen wir jetzt auch nicht rein.
For the victory royale. I'm wondering how that shake-up looks.
Ich bin
what does the
gespannt,
catch-up
ob
look like?
Mr. Savage gewinnt, beziehungsweise noch
how that
aufholt.
game's results throw down.
Schwierig.
Boys, we're in the back, just screaming our heads off. All right, we're just yelling as all of this is happening. Trios falling left and right. This is absolutely insane. Now, we'll take a look at the standings in just a little bit, but this was game number 5 on the day. 11 of the overall tournament finals here in Europe. Gentlemen, at this point, it's a battle between 1st and 2nd. Everyone else is playing for 3rd. And when we're looking at these like spots, we're talking about a large amount of prize money, okay? And all these trios, they're looking to climb as high as they can to walk away with more of that pie. Reese, Levin, this game is way too tight right now.
Look, You said it's a battle for first and second, but it almost was a battle for first and second. This was a full southwest zone. It looked like Queasy completely had it in them. This is basically the worst possible zone for Savage's team. From Steamy Stacks all the way to max distance.
Stimmt, die sind ja
not work out for them. But at the same time, it looked like it was going to be Queasy's zone. As soon as that fifth zone pops, they're situated on height. No way to build over. They can't do their signature height play, and it all falls apart on the rotate. So both of our top two teams eliminated early in this game, which means that we saw 4ZR. We were watching 4ZR tasting and Nate through that entire end game. I think that was a third for them there with, I think, 7 eliminations, which is a ton of points, which means it was a battle for top 2. But I think with that game, those guys are going to move all the way up. And now it seems to be a 3-way battle for first coming into the final match.
Yeah. I wanted to come out and say, look, the top 2 teams made their lives a bit harder coming into that last game. But it's really unlucky. Right? It's a Savage issue where you have the max distance zone. It's not even a max distance zone, the max distance zone for that team. And even in Queasy and Trulex's case, they don't pull 50-50. That height different, it just wasn't going to happen, right? They just weren't going to get height there. And so you saw they were posturing for it, right? You know what they want to do, but they just couldn't execute it. And so going into this last game now, it's a 3-horse race. And what a race is it? What a race. Like, this is going to be crazy. Ultimately, one of these 3 teams is going to be in the sort of closing moments of that game. And that's probably going to be the team that takes it. And so what happens now if there's all 3 of those teams in that situation? Like, then things just get...
We have a good game!
We're getting all different levels of crazy right now in the final game.
This is absolutely insane. We'll take a look at these standings in just a second. First, we got to talk about our top 3 going into that last game. This battle at the top. We got to highlight the 3 trios that are closest to the Axe of Champions.
We literally just talked about these teams as already. We set this up saying let's go the top 3 teams coming in. I think they're still the top 3 teams in contention right now. 4ZR, Tayson, and Nate had a good first day, but not anything amazing. They were 4th coming out of that first day. Now they're in 3rd, so moved up a single point, maybe even push their way up the leaderboards a little bit more. But Rescard, Savage, and Drea, after the first day, they were in 1st. It was all looking really, really good up until that, what was that, game number 10, where they started to get overtaken then. And then here we go, 11 games deep. They've kind of moved down a little bit. The gap seems to be changing a little bit more. This is one of the best 3-way races coming into the finals that we've seen in a long time. This is so tense.
And you look at Queasy and Trulex, both incredibly experienced players. Juriki, this is only his 2nd time playing in an FNCS finals. Is the pressure going to get to him coming into that final game? He tweeted out just before the last game. We need to focus now. And so is this going to be the opportunity for
okay, man hat 20 Punkte bekommen.
FNCS Championships collectively.
Schwierig.
308 points, sitting on top of that standings. Queasy, Trulex, and Juriki, they need to hold on going into this last
okay, wir können uns festhalten, ne? Wir können uns festhalten.
Also jetzt müsste Lootboy und so richtig Scheiße bauen, damit die anderen noch aufholen können.
Dings muss man so sehen. Wenn Savage verliert, bleibt da 2. Wenn Tayson noch eine richtig krasse Runde hinlegt, gegebenenfalls 1 oder 2. Aber wenn Trulix länger lebt als Savage, was ist für Savage?
And Queasy, Trulex, and Juriki will need to have one of the worst or equally worst games they've had throughout today when they're extremely consistent already, which is very, very unlikely in order for them to win. Watching Queasy, Trulex, and Juriki's early and mid game is going to be so critical because if they go down early, it's an absolute open field for any other 2. Potentially, I'm going to go on out on a limb
Trulex hat 3
Recent
Siege.
Deal no O'Reilly. If they win with a huge elimination game, which we've already seen them do, and the top 3 don't perform, which again is possible.
Genau wie Houdini und Reason, ja auch 3 Siege, 3
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Right? We are all focusing on who's going to be the one to clinch first place coming into this last game. But of course, there are still stakes that need to be set in terms of looking at who can get top 3. You want to auto qualify, right? So all those teams that, I feel bad for Sancho and Shire in a way because they're going to have to keep a track of everything and let us know what's going on because there is going to be so much riding on this final end game. Like, I just want to sit back now and just enjoy the action.
Listen, I just checked, okay? Queasy has just tweeted, this decides it all. Good luck to all. Juriki, Good luck, everyone. Good luck.
Sogar.
They are aware. This is confidence coming into this game. Will they take it home? Will they be dethroned? We're about to find out. Fortnite fam.
Los
One
geht's.
final game in Europe. Sancho, what Shia wager? Bring us home, boys.
So gucken.
3 teams, 1 dream, and the best reason to do it in it's
Wer kann sich den
Europe. The
Titel
last
rausholen?
game, Sancho
Sieger.
West is on the line. And we're going
FNCS-Sieger.
straight in with Savage,
letzte Runde.
Refsguard, and Andretta. Second place, about 20, almost
Aber
30
seit
points
2
behind.
müsste es ja
Can
schwer
they
eigentlich
do
schon
it?
schlecht.
Can they catch up to
1
first
wäre
place
top.
and triumph
Aber
in
ich
the
denke
final game
mal,
of EU?
2
There's
können sie sich
only
auch.
4 words
äh,
that
Ein
can
paar
capture
Dollar
this
weniger, ne?
moment. Good luck and have fun. This is the final game of the FNCS EU region. Will we have a new FNCS champion, or will Hen
macht
Dennis
ihr?
Nö, wer hat
Titus,
das
I
jetzt
don't know,
gesehen?
do the astronomical
Wer hat das
performance?
jetzt
But
gesehen?
all eyes are on our top 3.
Vielleicht kennt er einfach die Spots.
Refsguard and
Kann
Tayson
sein.
all have a chance to win. And it all went down to the final
Let's go.
moments last season. Will we get a repeat
Guck mal oben immer auf
finish?
den Killer zeigen, ne?
They have been the most consistent all throughout the day. You can see the stat on screen. The thing is,
Oh, ja,
though,
die
it's
ersten
not
sind schon
about
raus.
consistency anymore.
Mhm.
They're on the catch-up. They're playing defense. A majority of this tournament, we're sitting very, very chill in that first place spot. Now at second, they need to actually be proactive this game. They can't just stay waiting on low ground. Maybe play for height. Depending on where the zone
Oh,
goes
Hydro
to,
16 zu
that'll be
looten,
huge. You know what
hingezogen ist.
happens in the final games of the day on EU. We end up in the mountains, we end up in the sea. It gets crazy. Meanwhile, though,
Einfach
regardless of all
Raptor
the
einfach
Ja.
vorbeilaufen sehen.
Jerky, first place. So good
Schon wieder
throughout the
dort
whole day.
gelandet.
Reset it best just to show you how
Ja.
dominant these guys are. Their worst game,
Der mag
Sancho,
nur diese
they get
Pilze haben,
10
kann das sein?
points. You have to count on this team to have a good game no matter
Der
what.
farmt erst an
Every
XP.
team right now in the lobby is preying on their downfall.
Ach, wir spielen ja FNCS-Finale. Ich brauche XP.
Ja,
They
ich
have
will
a
noch, wenn die Pass hochkommen.
24-point lead right now. If you want to keep tabs on it, you want
Ich
to
gewinne ich hier $300.000, aber
Durch den Pilz sammeln.
Challenges.
You're looking at Indretta's
Da
trio
können wir ja
still
kurz zur
locked in at
Aurila oder wie die
118.
heißt gehen und sich
Third
die
place
Scar
right
holen.
now is 118 as well. So you're looking about 24 points
die
difference
Popcorn.
between first and second. Third place right now is at an 11-point difference between third and second. Good luck doing math.
And in this final game, we pulled up an extra chair at the table. There are 3 teams neck and neck, close by, looking for that top tier first place spot. The champions of Europe, to be 4ZR, Tayson, and Nate
Alle
rolling
drei
in
Lavas leben noch.
273 points throughout both
1,
days.
2,
They're
3,
also very,
4
very
Lavas.
close. They have to do so much
4?
and hope that Queasy, Jerky, and Trulex
Ich muss sagen, wenn du jetzt auf der Karte guckst, bei mir waren 2 in der Nähe, also zwischen Bones MC und Holy Heat waren wir 2 nebeneinander in einer Runde und dann bin ich rüber nach Lazy in Richtung Kitty Corner und da in der Ecke habe ich nochmal 2 nebeneinander. Ich habe ja 4 Lamas in einer Runde gefunden, die standen so alle so nebeneinander.
Savage, Refsguard, and Dretta, this is really close. This is a very winnable situation considering Zone 1 pulled
Lucky
away.
boy.
Last zone went all the way across the map.
Yeah, I mean, it's close to them, but
So.
not
Die Ansicht da
really
gucken könnte.
pull the zone into their domain. Everyone's gonna have to move a little
Einer
bit.
fragt gerade, der erste
Especially
ist.
4ZR all the way at what he stands. Even Steamy Stacks, you see that white line? They
Wie
have
heißt
to
denn der nochmal,
eventually end
der
up
erste
leaving
war?
this POI.
Mit T.
They're on a timer, and they have to make sure their game is efficient.
Trulex.
Cannot forget
Trulex,
fourth
genau.
place. The deal, Noah Riley
Der ist der
Reason,
erste
making
jetzt
a
gerade
return
aktuell.
back into the top 3.
Ein
That's the
Punktevorsprung
only
von
team that are within the striking
Digga.
distance, within being that auto qualification as well. And that is what a phenomenal performance
Na
from
komm.
them, no matter what.
Ah,
It
von
lets
Mr.
them know
Savage,
that they
genau,
could change
mit
their
20
playstyle.
Punkten.
If for some reason the placement points or
Haben
elimination
die,
points changes, they
Vorsprung.
know they could be aggressive, they could be that buzzsaw. But this is what's been so impressive throughout the day.
Ja, genau,
is
Trulex.
Trulex
Sind Fieber Daumen
Jerky
25
been
Punkte
playing
Unterschied.
height aggressively.
Ja.
And who knows?
Ja,
Imagine,
Trulex.
imagine if day 1 they were
Weil
able
wenn
to get those
Trulex
victory
jetzt
outs
gleich
when they had
stirbt,
height, how much of a runaway
Dann
performance
hast
Seven
du
ist-
so Savage,
kann Savage
oder was heißt?
aufholen.
Yeah, I have it down in my notes. This team was literally supposed to win on day 1. The positions they were in, you're absolutely correct. Like, they literally were dominant and no team could, in theory, really catch them. In reality, though, they definitely did get caught. Going back, though, watching the VODs, making sure everything, all the
Sieht
mistakes
Gold
were
Sky
fine.
nicht da
They came in
hinten?
into day 2, the
Bitte?
fresh mindset, and now they have a
Gold
huge
Sky
lead
nicht da
on many
hinten?
teams. All they have to do this game
glaub schon,
is
oder?
survive.
We
Oh,
already
da
talked
geht's auch.
about a lot of numbers, but let me throw you the big numbers that's
da
happening
geht's ab.
here. But let me put a pause on that.
Auf
As the
ganz Wiese
defending
brennen, Digga.
FNCS
Auf
champions
alles
are in
brennen.
trouble.
Ja,
Lanute's trio here
die wollen's
has
wissen.
put so much pressure on them. Now that
Ich glaube,
Janice
jetzt
is
geben
in
sie
a
noch richtig
defensive
Vollgas, bis
stance
wir
here.
es
Does get hit, is cracked right
verlieren.
now, and that might be just enough to kind of slow down this push that's happening from Slicks, Marine, and Lunef.
Gonna be trying to go all the way in. At the same time, every team right now, they
Draußen
might
fahren
not
die
be
hier bei
holding
mir echt
anything back. In the
krass
last game, we
rum.
might need a lot of eliminations to go a
Klar.
little bit higher.
Zerstört
The
man's.
prize thresholds there are for the entire tournament we're watching so far, for the whole finals, for Janice and Chapix, it might not be possible for them to level up the whole way and get top 3. They're about, I would say, 40 points behind. So they definitely would need the win. High Chris is here, still chasing them. They disengaged over and over again yesterday. And, you know, both teams got to play their games out. If this is the first time you're tuning in for the day watching, Hen's team, you're watching on screen right now, Under the Bridge, has been contesting High Chris's team for all 12 games. They're trying to run away too, just to play this one out. High Chris does not care. They're coming through, chasing all the way. They're trying to have this fight towards the very end.
This is so heartbreaking to watch Hen, Chapik, and Janice.
Janice, oh nein, Digga. Also wenn er jetzt ausschaltet schon. Der ist auch mega, mega gut.
To breathe, they essentially need a double-digit elim and a
21,
victory
16,
royale,
15,
and a
6.
lot of other teams ahead of them to go down. But I'm not
Er
seeing it.
stirbt.
As much as I would love
1
to root
HP.
for a repeat, the repeat is looking like it's in
1
shambles.
HP. Junge.
Also der hat auch wirklich gerade Lack des Todes. Uff,
They have to do
der
this
hat grad Schaden
absolutely
bekommen.
raw. Vortex jumping all the way in. Hen gets taken out. Chapix 1 HP.
Ja.
Both these teams, both these players
Ja,
have such a
das war's
history
mit
throughout
ihm.
these entire finals.
Ja.
GG.
And although Janice, Chapix, and Hen have been winning off spawn entirely, it might just be High Chris who gets the last laugh.
Das
Janice
war's
on his
auch.
wall. Champions fall.
Zweiter
Their
Platz,
run so far
Platz
for the
2,
top 3
nee,
is
Platz
over.
3, ne?
Phenomenal though.
Janice.
Contested for 12 games. They had a very good showing.
Ich glaube, die waren gerade eben noch
And
Platz
somewhere
3,
within the
ne?
top 10
denk
or
schon.
15 at the end of the finals.
Savage schon zu leben noch, das ist sehr gut.
Sehr gut, sehr gut. Oder war das Tazen gewesen?
Comes down to this moment. This is what it is
War das
all
Tazen
about.
oder war das Janice gewesen?
FNCS, we still have 3 teams that are just separated by a victory.
Ah, nee, Thomas.
royale.
Thomas und Flick waren das
Payson,
gewesen.
4ZR, and Nate. As a team, they're in 3rd place.
Wichtige
Only
Hitgeber.
11 points behind.
Ich würde mir
Again,
vielleicht drücken.
118. Keep an eye on that number. It needs to be added
Aber
by
wir so
11
Blitz so
more
spielen
points,
wie
and
nie im
they're
Leben.
tied for
Ziehen
2nd
einfach eine
place.
Mauer bis nach keine
It's all
Ahnung
gonna
wo.
come down to tiebreakers and things of that sort, but
Die
this is
ziehen
why
ihre
I'm
Lines.
casting and I'm not an admin.
Ja.
Right now, we're all eyes right here. Focus. Everyone gather around. We're getting into
Gibt es den
the final
Assassin-Typen
moments
eigentlich noch bei
of
das
game
Bio
12
bei
here.
Arena? Ja,
And you
ne?
may think, Sancho, this game just started. This
Glaub
feels
nicht.
like the
Mythische
finality of
Waffen
it, you
gibt's
know what I
glaube ich
mean?
nicht.
This is it.
Also die wurden
It is.
deaktiviert.
It is. It's the last game. Jerky, Queasy, Trulex.
Außer die Spy-Assassinen.
And with the
Die sind noch
champions
da.
from last
Die sind-
season gone, it's like we're at
Aber
the
ich glaub, Res
coronation
ist
for
nicht
this
da.
team so far. If it was a movie,
Auch mal gut zu
right,
wissen.
there could be a possibility of hijinks happening.
Ich weiß
at
nicht,
the
aber
ceremony.
mythische Bogen habe ich
People
bis
are
jetzt
still in
noch
contention
nie
for the top
gesehen.
2 teams to interrupt.
Oder,
Once
oder
again,
deswegen geht auch keiner
for
zu
these guys to lose
der
their first
Spy
place
hin. Ne?
slot, they would have to go down before kind of the 8th or 9th zone.
Ja, gut, in
I
normalen
don't see that
Runden hat man
happening,
die
especially from
Tempopunkte
this spot.
gesehen,
There's no
aber
teams near them.
in
There's
Arena
no
und so,
shots really hitting
schwierig.
this big guardian outpost. There's no chance that these guys flip up right
Der
now.
NT-Bogen ist
As the
gut.
game goes on, it will get scarier. Here's the team that wants to make it happen. Savage and Dreda, Refsguard once again, second
Gönn dem Jungen
place.
noch mal Medkit.
They need to catch up. They
Gönn
need to
Savage schon mal
win this
Medkit,
game.
Jungs.
I was mentioning big numbers before. Let me hit you with those numbers right now. First place, $300,000. Second place, $210,000. Third place, $135,000. That's what's at stake here between the 3. Not only that Acts of Champions, not only
Komm,
be able to
Savage,
put that
schaffst du
social
doch.
media post, not only to be able to make that
glaube
video
nicht.
that's going to get
Ich glaube
thousands and
nicht.
thousands of views and your clout's going to go up because everyone's going to call you a champion. It's all about that life-changing money as well. And then you go down 4th and 5th, 6th, still thousands of dollars. That top 10 is going to be a threshold that you want to break because if you break that top 10, Shayo, that's going to be $10,000 a piece.
27 Teams, 80
You wanna make sure
Leute.
you can catch up. The other thing on the line as
Ups.
well for every
Ich
team
geh mal kurz auf
behind the
Toilette.
one on screen right now, Jason, 4-0, and Nate, basically
Wahrlich.
everyone from 4th place below. You hit top 3 this FNCS, you're automatically invited to the next
So,
one.
während Simon gerade
Be
hier ist,
inside the finals as
moderiere
well.
ich einfach
So
gerade zu
Tayson,
ihm.
4ZR, and Nate have their own gate to keep while they try to get further and further up inside the top 3. They have to make sure they don't go down and they get an auto qual all the way. You saw how rough it was for their
Der
season.
Highground ist
All the
größer,
qual
ja.
weeks, issues,
Mit
errors, and heats as well. They kind of fixed it up, but they had trouble getting all the way here. They look amazing today. Amazing right
Mist,
now,
der
but they
neue
don't want
Zymon,
to
okay.
repeat the process.
Still, other teams that are in this match have a lot to play for themselves. We cannot forget about that all-star game that will happen later on. The top 15 will be able to get into that match.
We're looking for big qualifications on all sides. Queasy, Jerky, Trulex. In a little bit of trouble right now. These are the spots that you can't make mistakes at. And these are also the places where every other team who was playing normally might be slightly hungrier, understanding that, hey, we might need to get the top 10. I want to get to the upper portions of prizing. I might have to push the team in front of me that I usually would in Sun and Jules, a passive team. Might make that choice, but no, this defensive base, Queasy, Jerky, and Trulex will be fine. They're used to being free, though. They like walking around. It's not going to be the case right now, and on Surge as well, there's just 18 damage above.
Yeah, yes, exactly what
Ja, ich schau gleich mal nach wegen dem Scammer.
and 10 players have to go down here very soon in the next zone. So every shot's mattering. They're gonna have to get this important task. Press hard and
and more desperate for shots. Squeezing always hits things, but no, doesn't get a single bullet on the head. People now. Everyone should be really push their game to the and get into the top 3. They're in 4th place currently. Tayson has to defend this right now inside the same POI. They're 192 damage below. They need to go for a fight. They're pushing for it. Ardent inside this building, but no, Tayson is moving with no protection all the way up the side of this ramp, and he gets beamed down, has to heal all the way up, and 21 damage above. Outreach was worth it,
Jetzt geht's los.
but they're still not off scot-free.
Jetzt geht's ab.
The monster that's
Jetzt geht's
underneath
ab.
the bed of Tayson's dreams of a
Finale heute
3-time
Abend.
FNCS championship is now haunting them and giving them some nightmares because look, they're only
Felix,
9 above,
schreib den Namen
and
dann
throughout
nochmal
the entire
bei mir
tournament,
auf
we've
dem
seen
Discord in
Storm
die
Surge being the
Scammer
bullseye, the
rein.
target, and so many trios right now are looking for those easy eliminations.
Wenn du noch
to
ein
get
Bild
those
hast, kannst du auch
thousands
gerne
of
noch
dollars as
ein
they
Bild
keep up
ranschicken.
more and more on the leaderboard.
So
A lot to play
Welt.
for everybody else on the field.
They can't true up the Surge now. The entire run they've had this season,
Sag mal,
it's
wieso
been
geht er
Surge
nicht in der
issues.
Zone raus?
Every
Wieso
single
baut es
time.
sich hier
There's
ein?
no
So.
way in this game,
Ist der doof?
the finale,
way.
will they just trip up for now? Yeah, they go all the way up, build the bases, 86 damage above. It's looking good. And now with 69 players alive, Surge will stop still. They're not kings of their spot right
Gleich
now.
jetzt wieder
Joe
geile
Stompy
Action.
and
Ja,
Shadow
auf jeden
can
Fall.
have better peaks right below them. Fast Roki and Ardent will look to cause trouble. Meanwhile, Trulex Jerky trapped beside a river in a shed. They finally broke free and are moving on their way to an empty zone where no one's really claimed that much ground. This could be huge. Get them into a spot to survive
85,
and
ja.
not really have a team interrupt them. Wow, Jerky, a big bow shot. to get
Junge,
Surge. Remember,
was
they
für...
were barely up
Ja,
on it.
der verteilt Stellen aber auch noch.
This
Ja.
is so
Die geben
huge
jetzt
for
alles.
Jerky. They don't have to make as many edits now. They're going to be relaxing for the moment too. The issue is they've bullied two teams on mountains and caught their attention. One of them being a team that might
Ja,
be
warum der
looking
gerade bei
at
mir
them.
abonniert hat.
Stop their run. Savage and Dreader ref scar.
This is like one of those things right there is you're seeing that they're usually being really chill on Surge. They can make those kind of aggressive plays for height, but when you have that Surge parasite weighing you down, that anchor, you're not going to be as free to crank up to height. Those knives just become a little bit heavier. In fact, Shio, everything is heavier right
Ja, Felix,
now.
ich guck mal wegen
I
dem
bet you their
Scammer.
mouse or controller, whatever input they're playing on, just feels a little bit more heavier. It's like a 5-pound weight sitting on it.
Definitely a lot of pressure. 8-4-0 Tayson, though, no strangers to it. We know how decorated Tayson is. We know the powers of Nate and 4ZR too.
Oh, ich spüre schon, es wird so eine Retail Row Endzone.
Hätte ich noch Savage.
The trio prowess of
Ist der
4
bestimmt noch,
CR
ne?
as well. Tayson so good in
Ich hab
every
das jetzt noch
das
nicht gesehen.
You
Deswegen,
guys
ich war
can
gerade auf Toilette.
definitely do it, but once again, they're the
Da
team
stehen
that
halt
the
immer aus
majority of
vielen
players in
da
this
oben,
lobby
da
are
kannst du
looking
leicht
to take
übersehen.
out. I know first and second are having their own battle, but for third, they are on the line. Fast Roki beats the Ardent above them, want to break
Ja,
in. And
lebt noch.
Alex in 8th place wants to roll
Let's
through.
go.
Kiriachi, right below them in 5th. They're trying to get through too. They had a chance to meet up with Vidil, No Riley, and Reason. They're right below them in 4th place. Meanwhile,
Und
in
haben noch
second,
guten
Savage
Highground
is
und haben noch
starting
guten
to
Highground.
looking
Das
at the
ist gut aus,
server,
das sieht
trying to
wirklich
pinpoint
gut
where
aus.
that first place team
Jetzt
is,
musst du noch
or just trying to get tags.
Trulex
They're looking
sterben.
good though. Center zone.
Und sein
Everybody
Trio.
that's in the top 3, everybody in the lobby that's still alive has been doled out 5 points. So that's why they went from 118 to 123. So far, no movement yet in the top 3. No one's gaining ground. No one's lost ground right now between Andretta's trio, 4ZR, and Queasy. All looking good. The only thing that I'm really concerned is this right here. What does the Storm Surge look at? We saw 2 big bow shots, putting them at 85, putting 160 into that HP bankroll. But is that going to be enough for them to last? Are they going to have enough financial Storm Surge to be able to withstand all this pressure that's happening right here, right now?
Talk about pressure. This is a very similar position we saw, I believe, Anas, Thomas, HD, and Flick at last game. A team focuses you,
Nee, das ist auch noch
but
dran
you
mit
can't really
Tasen.
move between the 3rd, 4th, and 5th zones. You start running out of your materials.
Doch keine
completely.
Berge.
Fast Roki's not
Diesmal.
letting this one go. They're
Letzte Zone.
dropping down all their ammo into this position. They ran out of shields above them.
Ja, jetzt geht's
They
los.
ran out of gas. They ran out of mats
Alter.
completely. And it looks
Jetzt
like they're
geht's
looking
los.
to all in an 8-4-ZR and Tayson below before this storm starts to move.
We're seeing that a knock went through for Reason now. They're at 169 for this
Der auch
session here.
noch.
They
Der
closed
botzt
the
sich
gap
die
just a
Brücke.
little bit. They're still 17
Sauber.
points behind 3rd place.
Look, Anas, Thomas, HD are also used to winning at least one game, I feel like, inside these finals, having a big pop-off, and they haven't done it yet.
Komm,
They
komm,
could
komm,
steal
letztes
away
Game,
the
Digga,
BR.
jetzt.
They're still
Komm,
alive and
Savage,
looking
was
really
hol
healthy
dir.
as well.
Wichtig.
Savage, wide open edit. Good job closing it after all that.
Fury ist auch raus.
I was expecting a bow shot to come in. That would not
Interesting.
be good for just the inventory management and loadout.
Shadow
Joe
auch raus.
are still all the way up on their high ground position from Lazy Lake. They're looking to dominate this game. They did one
Jetzt, sehr schön.
yesterday, but once again, they're looking for repeat
Und
performances,
noch
trying to get
Storm
up in
Surge
the
ist auch
pricing
aktiviert.
thresholds. Oh no,
Jetzt
4 down.
wird's
That's what I was
ekelhaft.
talking about. Fast Roki did not want them to get away for free. Nate now stuck behind the wall. It's not his. He can't edit it. Pizza looking for the big shots, but he goes down. The Storm and a lot of shots inside the circle as
Okay,
well.
das war jetzt ein bisschen dumm gespielt
as
von
a
Nate.
result,
Und tschüss.
getting
Wollte
the
ich
Elam or
zugeben.
not,
Selber
will
schuld.
fall privy to them too. Tayson
Dann
wants to leave him
läuft wieder dann
behind.
zurück, ne?
And look
Keine
who
Ahnung,
they're going to
ja.
be running into. Reason, Vidil, No Riley. He's caught their attention. The 4th place team right below them might be the ones to
Toll.
take him out, but he might be actually affecting them in moving
Houdini.
by. I think
Oh
yes.
my!
Digga, auch alle der hohen
That the Elam
Kaliber.
2, 4th place now in shambles. 3rd place
Menschen
just
einfach
has one teammate left
Einfach
over.
das.
Tayson is not going to go out without a big bang. He's looking for the big shots. Reason is going to be taken down
Was
on
der
shield.
Tulex
So,
eigentlich?
17 seconds. Still moving in. They're really desperate. They pushed up on these
Eye
girls to
Drops
move
ist
forward.
hier,
But this,
Tasen
they're still not
im
in zone.
Gebäude.
This is trouble.
Tayson, the two-time FNCS
Das wird
champion,
echt jetzt knapp
a
werden.
trio champion, and a solo
Savage ist immer noch
champion,
komplett
is
cool.
gonna make his way to
Aber die
hold
anderen
on as much
sollten
as
sich mal hier
possible.
gönnen.
A lot of ground to move on through to make sure they could get closer to the
Savage hat
top
Gottes
here. But we're
Position.
seeing there
Ja.
still
Gut.
are 2 places here of Refsguard's trio and Queezy's trio are still
Tulex
in, and we
eigentlich.
saw
Ja, der hat
Savage
Schaden
was
bekommen,
able
aber
to
ganz
get a
gut
couple
Schaden.
eliminations. Reason and O'Reilly, who are sitting in 4th
Oh,
place, who've been
Tasen.
moving up the board
Tasen
slowly
raus.
but surely
Tasen
here,
ist raus.
now have to continue the rest of it, and
Oh,
Tayson
oh, oh,
is
oh.
out. Locked in 3rd place, but we already
GG
know
an
there's
der
going to be
Stelle.
a lot of movement because there's a lot more game here in the final 12th game, Shio.
Savage still
Ja,
acting like a
sein
neck
Element.
lizard right now, really puffing out his chest.
Komm
and
bitte,
looking for
Savage,
big
komm.
positions all the way inside the
Nicht verkacken.
circle.
Schafft ihr, Jungs.
Every
Das
team
schafft
right now
ihr.
is doing their best to be intimidating and make sure no other team steps through
Komm,
or
komm,
gets in their
komm, komm.
box. Meanwhile, Queasy, Trulex, Jerky, the 1st place trio is not on that wavelength. They're more so operating like a jack in the box. Low
Aber
ground,
die schwitzen
being
gerade
very low key.
um ihr
They don't make
Leben,
any
ne?
over edits. They're hiding from the rest of the lobby. Meanwhile,
Oder
when
so,
that
man.
game actually goes through, we get towards the end game, you'll see them pop out. A big scary trio who loves to go for height. They'll still be
Reason's
on their
auch noch
game.
da
There they
oben.
are, side by side, 1st and 2nd place with a very different
Muss
play
noch
style.
aussehen.
And with a full metal base, basically, a submarine
Die anderen
base,
haben
looks
echt
like
so
all the way on
komische
low
Namen,
ground.
aber
No
egal.
one's going to be
Yeah.
penetrating it whatsoever. No shots will really come through. They'll be fine all the way till endgame.
let me just
Da
make
kommen,
things
da kommen, da
simpler
kommen.
right now. I know all of us are trying to do math, but
Auch das
Queasy,
Trulex.
if they could just
Trulex lebt
outplay
immer noch.
Andretta,
Also.
then they're gonna be able to have a great chance of winning it all. It's basically a
Oh.
victory out for Andretta. That is the win condition for the FNCS Championship.
This is a 2 trios race. You're absolutely right.
Simon.
Whoever survives longer.
Trulex und sein Trio lebt immer noch.
Ja, ich weiß.
Die müssen sterben. Und
We're getting set and ready.
Müssen
In 3
irgendwann
seconds
sterben.
we'll have the zone and we'll be ready
vor
to
allem, die
go.
müssen sterben, damit Savage dann noch die letzten Punkte noch anreißen kann. Ich hoffe, das sind noch 20 Stück.
Reason of a deal are on height. They're so good at just punishing every low ground team. This could be trouble for Savage
Ja,
and
also sonst
Queasy as well. None of them
blöd.
looking to take height really. They're looking to survive. Same place, same boxes, and they both don't really pull zone completely. It's a pseudo max rotate, and they might be right beside each other.
Savage, the in-game leader for this situations right here. His prowess, his clutch factor is all on the line. He has to lead Refsguard and Andretta. Savage joining this duo to form this new trio is performing out of their minds right now. Only 13 above Storm
Das ist ja
Surge.
eine geile das ist eine geile Verhandlung gewesen für RDW.
Ja.
And Jerky, they're actually box to box, side by side. It feels like, and right behind their tails, they actually end up on different layers. That could have been so
Aber auf jeden
dangerous
Fall
ahead of them.
sehr aufregend und spannend, die ganze Geschichte.
And Alex on low ground and focusing on the bottom right now for
Frag mich,
Savage.
wann der nächste
Queasy is way ahead of
NFCS-Cup ist.
zone. They're looking really good right now. Savage, meanwhile, is walking
Ist
by,
Season.
burning trees, a forest set ablaze, and working through builds that aren't even his own. This is not normal. He likes having his own lair. They found ultimate low ground though. They're free. Green pastures,
Savage.
and they're moving forward. Meanwhile, Queasy
Oh,
slightly elevated up top. It's a
Gefressen.
battle of who can survive. They put out some fire,
Bekommen.
but the rest of the builds catch. Savage's feet are hot. He goes all the way back, and it's time for a med kit. Meanwhile, Queasy going all the way a
Jetzt
little bit
geht's
for
ab,
height.
Digga.
It's
Jetzt
interrupted
geht's
and
ab, das
down
haben wir
below.
gesehen.
Both teams trying to survive
soll sich heilen.
in so many different layers of pressure.
Queasy trying to go back to his playbook to go for height, but was denied by Flick and Nas and Thomas HD. All eyes are on the right side of the screen.
Nee,
Let's
Storm
see
Surge
what
für den
happens right
töten,
now.
wenn er
Savage
jetzt
is in
vermisst.
trouble. Savage is down to 7 HP without any
oh
shield
Gott, oh
here.
Gott.
This is going to be a moment right now for the tournament run is on the
Da muss ich
rise
heilen.
right now. Can Queasy, Jerky, and Trulix just hold on? But look at the
Junge.
push that's happening on the bottom right.
Wow.
Savage, the trio picks up elimination, and they have so much space control right now. They're pushing through the builds.
Sweezy's
They're getting
out.
the E-limbs right now. But can Queasy, Trulix, and Jerky just hold on? That's all they have to
Er
do.
muss sich heilen.
Okay.
Ah, perfekt, Fische.
Komm, Savage, komm. Komm, Savage. Endlex ist raus, Endlex ist auch raus.
Every edit they look for could be on the front of a pump shotgun going straight to the face. Queasy backs up. The full trio still alive, still healthy, and have a reasonable
Flick
amount
an
of
Nas
materials.
Thomas ganz
Savage,
oben,
though,
Digga.
hot the med kit, he's looking good all the way on the bottom right side of your screen. Nas Thomas, Flick are still doing their thing on high
Andretta's
ground.
genockt.
They're not
Nein.
over
Wir
and
müssen
ready to
jetzt
give things
sauber
up completely
safe
this
spielen.
FNCS. Andretta
Andretta's
has
down.
gone down on the bottom right side of the feed. Second place might be getting left behind in the dust.
Trulex
And
lebt immer
fire
noch.
as Queasy,
Nee, ich glaub,
Trulex,
Trulex
and
ist
Jerky
gewonnen.
are looking to control low.
Es sei denn, die haben jetzt
They're
noch viele
right on
Kills
the
gemacht,
same layer
Savage.
at the low ground, just a small layer separating. Savage and Refsguard as a duo have to work together against Jerky and Trulix. A knock goes through on Queasy, getting Clement. That's going to be a more points on the
Sehr.
board right here.
Trulix genockt, Digga.
Ja! Trulix ist weg!
Ja.
Yes!
Ja, Junge. Das will ich sehen, Digga.
Das wird's.
Aber ich glaube, nur Problem ist, Thomas und Flick und Anders sitzen noch oben auf der Skybase. Na, Savage ist noch. Ja. Junge, Junge.
GG.
Ja, Flick wird das jetzt holen. Safe. Und Thomas. Die haben Baba High Ground.
Team Tate. Jawohl.
Guck mal, da bist einfach du.
Ja.
Baseball.
Ja, eben, den Team ist rocken, ja.
They'll roll into the end game. You can never count them out when you talk about EU. Slated to win everything.
Flick ist down, neuer droppen wir weg. Anders auch down. Thomas ist der Letzte.
Both teammates down. It's up to Thomas to clutch things out in the final game. 2 final teams left, but it's looking like almost, yes,
Was?
a
1 gegen 3.
The impossible task is in front of Thomas HD. This is going to require everything he's done so far, all the experience. 130 drop down, block the shot, but it's not going to be enough. Thomas gets taken down, and and Joku are the ones to win the final game.
Das war
that
aufregend.
two-legged race, the two-man 3v3 that happened in the end game, Sancho, looks like Trulex came out on top.
Wow, what a great finish to our 12th game. Congratulations to Endon for getting that victory out with that trio there. You can definitely build on that performance. But hey, the soda's gonna be popping right here, right now.
Und die beiden haben einfach immer noch so hardcore weiterüberlegt.
Congratulations, you are
Trulex
this
und
season's FNCS champion.
Trulex hat gewonnen.
Absolutely, what a phenomenal run on
Trulex
both
hat
days.
gewonnen,
The
GD.
first day looking like they should have won the way they were playing. They couldn't confirm anything. They had their card in the register. Was gonna pay the cash. This time though,
Und die haben jetzt so die Spitzhacke gewonnen, ne?
thousands of dollars, winning out
Ja.
the day. 3 VRs. The second game
Also
survived
wenn du
all
die
the way
Spitzhacke
through.
siehst, Liebe.
333 points. I guess
Da
lucky
weißt du,
number
du hast keine
3 is
Chance.
the way for this trio season for this squad, Sancho.
That was really cool. This is a newly formed trio. You know, they kind of
Hey,
had
guy,
middle of the pack
guy.
performances in previous seasons, and for them to put it all together when it matters the most in day 2, making those adjustments. You said it right there. $300,000 being awarded, $100,000 life-changing money
Aber
and
2 Plätze
respect
ist auch nicht
from the
schlecht.
FNCS community.
Ja, das
Absolutely. That's it though.
werde das erstmal, ne?
Das ist echt so. Schade, dass ich die Spitzhacke nicht gewonnen habe, aber
The craziest zones we've seen in the EU. I wouldn't want to cast with anyone
ich glaube,
else.
die haben die sogar
Not
schon.
at all. It's been a pleasure.
Bin ich mir
Thank
mal
you
nicht
so much
sicher.
for having me, and thank you to
Sehr gut.
production.
mit jedem Cup, wie
Let's go
settet
ahead
sich
and
das?
kick it to the boys out in the analyst desk.
Oh Moment, wir haben ja auch noch 280.000 gewonnen, ne? Dollar. 280.000 Dollar.
There was 5 threes, there was
Das war wild.
3 eliminations, there trio which is 3, there's 3 open qualifier rounds, there's 3 reboot rounds, there's 3 active champions. Wait a minute, it's all lining up. Queasy, Trulex, Jerky, they won it all. And all I could think about the whole time was, what if Savage clutches it up? What if Sancho West's prediction came true? But it didn't matter, because Queasy, Trulex, Jerky, they said, no, Zeke, I'm sorry, I love you and Sancho West so much, but we would like the active champions this season, and they walk away with it. Oh my gosh, boys, what an incredible day!
There has been absolutely
zweiter
no
Platz für
doubt in my
Savage.
mind this team has been one of the best and the best, on the day. Anytime you watch an
Trulex
in-game,
hat echt,
Jerky,
der war echt
Trulex
hart, ne?
have been
Ja,
there. You see
der
them
wollte
on
drauf
height,
gehen.
you see them not on height, nearing height, whatever their strategy has been, these guys have always been in
Trulex
play.
wollte echt
When we're
nicht
looking at the
draufgehen.
matches, I am in no
Hast du
way
nehmen
surprised to
lassen?
see these guys up in first. 3 victory royales total, and like this is just about time for Queasy's team.
Yeah, I'm so incredibly proud of them. You know, you look at the journey all 3 of these players has been on. Queasy and Trulex as
Ja,
a duo,
dreimal
you know,
gewonnen,
they've
Trulex.
lasted the test of time in EU. We've known them to be a top team within the region consistently season after season, but they just couldn't push it over the line. They couldn't join that list of the elite within the region, and they finally have done that today. Juriki as well, the pride of Croatia, has come through, and he's really been the spark for this trio. He's been the Kickstarter that's helped them push them over the line, and the FNCS Championship to round things up. Look at how consistent they've been over the course of the season. Across all qualifiers they've played, across the semi-finals and these finals, an average placement of 7.5. No one even comes close to that in EU. These guys have just been so consistent to a different level.
Just remember, I want to harp on about that a little bit, because qualifiers, semi-finals, and now on the finals, their average placement was 7.5.
Immer wieder
That is
unterhaltsam, ne?
incredibly consistent.
Geil,
That is the
zu
most
sehen.
consistent team today in the finals for the placement, but incredible how that manages to span across so many different tournaments, so many different stages of all of these different kind of moments. Incredible consistency from these guys, and these guys have been absolutely on fire. Note at the bottom, lowest points game, 10. Their lowest point game, I said this earlier, was 10. But that wasn't only just today in the finals. The lowest point they got was 10, but that was included through the semi-finals
So, das
and
kann ja
through the
echt mal,
qualifiers as well.
mal
So
öfters
just
machen, oder?
absolutely nuts. These guys are clutching every single game that they managed to.
And it's so,
Spannend,
you
hat
know,
echt Spaß gemacht,
you
ne?
love to see the stories that you
Ja,
get out of
geil.
it. And Fortnite is a game we all enjoy
So,
to
jetzt
play.
kommt
It provides us such
FNCS
levels of
in
hype and
Nordamerika, aber
entertainment.
den
But
gönnen
you
wir
know,
uns
when you
jetzt
see
nicht mehr.
Jericho talking about,
Den
you know,
Spaß.
family matters and wanting to win everything
Ja.
to provide for his family, to help get his family out of
Außerdem, die
hard
klatschen
times,
jetzt sowieso noch nur
it
50 Minuten
touches the
Pause
heart
rein.
really. And I'm so happy for these guys. I'm so proud of them, because this is a great achievement that will never be forgotten.
Look, we're happy, we're proud, but I guarantee He's proud, his teammates are proud, his family is proud, and that can go on for every single one of the members of these teams. This is a huge accomplishment. The champions of the region, also obviously the money to their name, which is fantastic, and of course the Axe of Champions. It probably could not have gone to a more deserving team in this season from Queasy, Trulex, and Juriki.
Once again, congratulations to the new Trios champions in Europe. Well fought, an entire season, and now you can hold your heads high. With the Axe of Champions in hand, they will look to defend that title going into the next FNCS. We got to relive the BRs from the day, boys. There's standings we got to look at. There's all these things we got to talk through rather, because it has been a nail biter, heart-stopping action, heart-pounding action.
No.
I can't even process. I'm trying to process this in the moment, but I can't, Reese 11. I just can't. But we got to take a look here at this next little bit. My goodness.
You gotta remember,
Ja, dann haben sie wissen.
it was a battle, right? All the way down to the
210,
number
bis zum
one,
nächsten Mal.
333 points, $300,000
$210.000.
split each way, 100,000 each.
Digga,
I'm certainly not complaining about our name, let's put it that way, but
$210.000.
going into
Ja,
the
kann ich
final
denn
game,
zwei
it
Jungs.
was all between Resguard and Dread and Sandwich.
Oder
They
ich
had
bin
the
drei.
ability to clutch up.
Kannst du eine
You know,
ganze
it
Villa
looked like it
mitkaufen,
could have been
oder?
their time as
Du
well,
kannst
but
dir
our
ein paar Wände
seconds were just
kaufen.
falling a little bit short. But again, you can't be upset with a
Alle
second place
mitkaufen.
finish. This is
Yep.
incredible, and they played out of their minds throughout the last 2 days.
Guck mal,
They
stell dir
were
mal vor,
in
du bist
first
einfach
for
so
pretty much the
Jugendliche, ne?
majority up until
Zockst
the
ja mit
last
dem,
2 games. So really,
verdienst auf
Queasy,
so
Trulex,
hier
and
mit deinem
Juriki just took
Trio
away with it.
$210.000.
and that third team that will auto qualify for next
Aber das ist mir
season's
fett
FNCS finals
gegessen,
is
ey.
Tayson, Forziar, and Nate. And look, of course, all
Nacken.
the attention right now is going to be going to the
Und
winner.
Jason ist
But
auch
it's
Platz
very
7,
important to
3,
know
meine ich.
that this is
GG.
Forziar and Nate's first FNCS finals. In
Flicker
over
nach
2
Thomas,
seasons, the past 2 seasons of trios,
120.000,
they've
ja.
missed the finals. And look
Reason
what we've been missing out on.
105.000,
We've been missing out on
ja.
2 of the best players in the game, 2
Ja.
players who in particular will get results like this. Top 3 in an FNCS, not too shabby if you ask me. And Tayson, renowned as the best player.
Oder allein $30.000, ne?
Was auf Rock ist die OG-Spitzhacke weiter im Shop. Aber da kann man sich sagen, morgen gibt es bestimmt Springpakete.
Kann sein. Genau, Earnings in US-Dollar.
Ja, so ist es auch nicht.
Also links, wie gesagt, Dollar ist weniger wert als Euro, deswegen sind Dollar weniger wert, als es hier steht.
You guys have performed incredibly well to even get here to this stage, performing through the qualifiers, performing through the semifinals, and now making it here today. And I don't want to see these teams on this page splitting up by any means. I want to see them improve, fix their mistakes. There's so much potential here from all of these teams that you've seen. You know what? It didn't work out across this weekend, across the 2 days, but it 100% can if they fix that across the next season.
Ja, die zeigen es gerade noch in ihre Highlights. Ne? So, dann würde ich mal sagen, stellen wir hier den Stream. Ne? Ich finde FNCS mega geil. Ich finde, das kann man sich auch mal geben. Ne? Das ist wirklich mega geil. Auch schön, dass alle in dem Chat dabei waren und auch dann mitgeguckt haben. War wirklich geil. Und dann ja, würde ich hier mal Stream beenden. FNCS ist vorbei. Für Europa. GG an Trulex, unseren Trio, dass die Platz 1 sind. Und Galle auch, dass Savage auf Platz 2 ist. Unserem Team. Ja, ich würde sagen, abonnieren nicht vergessen. Ne? Like, wenn es euch gefallen hat, den längeren Stream jetzt. Und dann ja, sehen wir uns dann jedenfalls im nächsten Stream oder im nächsten Video wieder. Ne? So, Zymon, hast du noch irgendwas zu sagen? Alles gut. So, dann schönen Abend euch noch alle, ne? Dann
Yeah, 100%.
Ciao,
They were
ciao.
one of the strongest teams, and it's fair to say, as much as they weren't able to be the best team across the 2 days of competition,
So.
they were the second best team today. If you would just get the
Oh,
points
ich
from
hab grad
today's
Stream, ja.
games, they were the second best team.
Yeah.
But that best team, Queasy, Trulex, and Juriki, to win the amount of games they won, 3 victory hours across the weekend, you know, the victory is deserved. These guys were absolutely phenomenal to watch. There's not much, you know, players who can say they can play at such a high level. in Fortnite, period, across any region. These guys are at the top of the iceberg, and I think the sky is the limit for them, right? They've already won an FNCS, but moving forward, you could definitely see them winning another because they have just been insane.
Yeah, and I think
So
what was so interesting to watch about them is we watched a team who was so tunnel visioned on
Aber das
high
mit dem
ground, so
Stream
tunnel
Elements,
vision,
wieso
but in
funktioniert
a
das nicht?
positive way. Usually we see teams who are just trying to chop out, trying to cycle height, use peppers, whatever they can to get that high ground in like kind of fifth zone, fourth, whatever it is earlier on. But this team has done it like I've never seen any team execute high ground as efficiently in my life. In watching many seasons, many regions, these guys just kept getting it, and whatever the situation was either, because if they had it early, cool, they maintained it.
Das war noch
If they
nicht
didn't have it, they
offen,
always
4
managed to grab it
Stunden und
late.
40
It's just, if
Minuten
you
jetzt.
want to watch how to play high ground, go back in the VODs and look at how these
Stabil.
guys play it. Incredible high play.
Man, an absolutely insane season. Chapter 2, Season 6 now comes to a close for
Ich guck mal
Europe.
gerade, was hat.
As always, Fortnite fam, we love you guys so much. Thanks for hanging out with us. Follow Shy Wager, Sancho West, Reese 11. These guys pour everything they have into the broadcast. Now, before we say our final goodbyes, how about a little bit teaser of what's next to come? How about an all-star event?
Was machst du jetzt noch? Mizzy wird dann vielleicht grün sein sogar.
Now, I know you got a lot of questions, but don't worry. We'll be posting things to our social
Simon?
media, more information. So keep your
Hast du
eyes
grad
locked
gesehen?
on there, and I'm gonna have to answer their questions
Ist da gerade
now
die
after
Post
that. Well, don't forget, guys, we're going over to NA East and NA West for more Fortnite.
Ich glaube, der nächste
action.
FNCS wird
But
dann
if
grün
not, then
sein.
we'll see you on
Ist er gar nicht.
23rd. Until next time, Fortnite fam, we love you, and we'll see you on the battle bus.
Beep beep.